I'm ready.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Geek First podcast. I am the Captain, Travis Snail.
I am the Adam Hartcaster, Dylan Moss.
I am the Spirit of Vengeance, Taylor Field.
I am your friendly neighborhood caster, Kirkland Patzer.
He's not even in the MCU.
He is.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Fuck off.
He's not making it on this list.
No. So, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're having a good Comic-Con weekend. If you are listening to this right now, there's a chance that what are you doing? You should be on Twitch. You should be on YouTube. You should be on Facebook watching us play some Marvel Ultimate Alliance stream. So I don't know when you'll be listening to this, but that's happening this weekend. You got tons of stuff. Superhero draft. There's Comic-Con panels we're breaking down. The Marvel panel is on Saturday. Because I'm not sure when you'll be listening to this, but we're breaking down the Phase 4 kind of announcements or whatever they're teasing there. We got tons of stuff. So just go listen and watch and come join us for that Marvel Ultimate Alliance stream. If you don't know, July 19th, 9 a.m., 24 hours for your celebration. We are so close, and we're very excited for that. So that's where you should be. Do we have anything to say before we get in this?
No.
Is it set in stone that we're doing at 9?
I know I shouldn't have said that. It's not. Follow social media.
After
Twitter,
this
Facebook.
cast, I'm going to call EB Games to say, hey, can I get my game at midnight? If they say no, I'm going to get the game digital.
You should tell
and
them.
Hope it unlocks at the same time, and then we're good to go at 9 a.m. That's the dream.
I was going to say you should tell them that we're doing a 24-hour stream, and then they might just give it to you early.
We need it, and we'll sponsor you. Yeah.
Right.
If you get
I
it
doubt they'll do
digitally,
it.
I am assuming that it would actually open up for download at midnight. Because I think that happened with Mario Maker 2. Ruben got it, and he was able to download it the night of, and I had to wait till the next day.
Well, you can download it right now, the game, but I think it unlocks. The question is, when does it unlock?
Unlock? Okay, for him, with Mario Maker 2 at least, it unlocked at midnight
We'll figure it
the
out.
day of. So
We'll figure it out.
Hopefully.
So that's why you stay tuned to Twitter and Facebook, because the plan is 9 a.m., but if we get a little delayed, we'll let you know.
At the latest, like 10:15.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So,
15.
there you go.
But what
All
we
speed.
are doing today in honor of Comic-Con weekend, and if you've tuned in Marvel Retro, we've done this before, but now the Infinity Saga is officially over. If you don't know what that is Iron Man all the way to Spider-Man Far From Home. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, it's done. Feige has named it the Infinity Saga now. It is over. Next, we assume is going to be Black Widow, so that will kick off a new saga. So today, we're going to do kind of a final goodbye to it, a final rankings, the definitive Infinity Saga rankings. We're going to be ranking 5 Stan Lee cameos, 5 of our favorite scenes, the top 10 villains, top 15 characters, and then ranking all 23, maybe 22 for some people. MCU
shots fired.
MCU films.
I ranked them all.
Okay.
Have you seen them all?
That's for another cast. Travis?
I think we had the conversation about 4 times. I don't think we ever clarified what we were starting with.
I think Taylor said scenes. I think that's a great spot.
I have a question on scenes.
Sure.
I saw on your list you had scenes/fights. Is that just it doesn't
all
have to be a
scenes.
fight?
I have 2 category scenes. I cheated and I did
Ooh,
action
cheater.
and then I did comedy, acting,
Yeah.
emotional because
I-
I wanted to
course.
shout some other stuff.
Breaking the rules. That's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, do you consider the Battle of New York like a scene? Because it's like, that's like 35 minutes or something of
Not
screen time.
necessarily.
So, I don't know. Whatever you consider top 5 scenes,
Okay.
I think it's
That's
cool,
what we'll do.
right?
That's
It's just
what we'll
like,
do.
at the end of the day, it's just to celebrate these great 3 phases
Number
of
one
movies.
scene,
That's
End
fair.
Game, the whole, it's a one big scene. So we're doing top 5. Taylor, lead us off. Give us your fifth best one.
Or if you have honorable mentions. Do you want
Yeah.
to do honorable mentions before or after?
I don't have any
I have
honorable
no
mentions.
honorable mentions
I'm
because
a
I follow the
before
rules
guy.
strictly.
I'm a before guy because I like to,
I'm an honorable mention as well and before.
Yeah, okay.
My 5th favorite scene? Ooh. So I'm going to drop a heavy Iron Man 2 scene.
Let's go.
I'm not ready for
This
this.
is so good. Iron Man and War Machine fighting all the hammer drones in the park. That is some juicy
Back to
shit
back.
right there, ladies and
That is
gentlemen.
epic.
That is such a good scene. That was like it's what really pulled me into the superhero kind of theme.
Really?
Oh
That pulled
yeah,
you into the genre?
that
That's
Iron Man
powerful.
1
that
didn't do
scene.
it?
What?
Iron Man 1 didn't do it?
Iron Man 1 definitely, it made me, turn my head back. Like the meme. I was holding on to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, and then I was like turning back to catch like Iron Man, and Iron Man 2 came out.
That's
No
funny.
Dark Knight. No Dark Knight.
But no, that scene definitely does it for me. It's just too good to be true. That was the scene that was like, that could be me.
Too good to be true.
It could be you.
Wow.
All right, I'm going to take it off.
Kirkland.
My 5th
What are you
one.
taking off?
The shirt he's gonna wash.
I'm going to do Avengers Infinity War, Thor's Return. So when he gets to Wakanda,
Nice.
drops the hammer.
Yeah.
Just epic. Calling out
classic.
Thanos. Just, that's my number 5.
Go ahead, Travis.
All right, so I do have some honorable mentions, and then I'll give you my fifth spot for both the action and the acting, or kind of what other. So my honorable mentions I didn't have any honorable mentions in the action category. In the other category, I had the I am Iron Man moment. It's so quick, so that's why I didn't include it, but just a big moment. I remember sitting in the theater, and when he says I am Iron Man, that was just that oh shit moment. We always talk about the MCU not caring about identities, but at that point in superhero movies, the secret identity was everything. So him just ending the movie like that was just a mind-blowing, man, we're going here. And then, lo and behold, that's the entire MCU. But at that point, great.
Yep.
Killmonger's entrance, I love his scene at the museum. I didn't have enough to put in the top 5, but I just love how right away he lays down what type of character it is. He's dropping race things, slavery things, and just like that was not what I was expecting of Black Panther. I was just expecting Adventure when he starts talking about white people taking stuff from Black Panther. I was like, this is not what I thought was gonna go. So that was in there. I didn't quite make it, so Taylor might be mad, but the Vulture Spider-Man car scene. Honorable mention. It's just there's some other ones I put there. That was probably the toughest one to leave off, but that was a really great scene. Michael Keaton is scary. I'm sure someone else will talk about that more. And then this one also hurt me too, but the Peter Quill opening credits of Guardians of the Galaxy, I think the same way as I Am Iron Man and the Killmonger scene, that set the tone for you knew what Guardians was going to be. You saw it was wacky and weird, but you didn't know it was going to be like that. So you see like this big spaceship, it's all epic, scary music, this big scenery, and then he just puts in a Walkman and hits play and Redbone kicks in. You knew what this was. So those were my honorable mentions. For the actual scenes, for the action, I put the challenge from Black Panther. I love that fight scene between Wakanda and Killmonger. Just intensity, you got morals, you got tons of stuff going on, and especially because none of us thought Black Panther was going to die, but the fact that Black Panther just gets destroyed in that scene, it's great, and it's just a great scene by Michael B. Jordan, who will be popping up a few times in these lists. And then I put, this one was tough. And then for the other one, for my number 5 spot, I put You Are My Mission, the very end of Winter Soldier, when it's just Captain America and Bucky's beating the crap out of him, and Cap's trying to convince him, and he says like, I'm gonna kill you. He says I'm your friend. He says You Are My Mission, and that's when he drops I'm with you to the end of the line, and Bucky saves him. Just really emotional, and it also just told you everything you need to know about Captain America the person. So
Damn,
those are my 5s.
Nice. I wanted to preface all my things by saying, of all these movies, the only ones I've seen only once would be End Game and Far From Home, just because they're still in theaters, and then Incredible Hulk, just randomly of the old crew. I've only seen those movies once, so remembering like specifics is kind of tricky. And then Captain Marvel, I started watching it again the other day, but only got like halfway through before I didn't have time. So I've seen that movie one and a half times.
Yeah.
So yeah, some of those things are going to be a little bit like foggy in my memory just because I've only seen them once, but I'll try and rep everything as much as I can. Let's see, my honorable mentions. I put the Vulture car scene in here as well. Taylor's not as offended by this one. I don't know why. Why not?
I already got the salt in the wound.
Yeah,
It's not
sorry,
adding
The shock
anymore.
factor
I get
already
it.
happened.
I don't know why. I feel like it was a great scene the first time I saw it, and maybe even the second time, but as I've watched it less, it's become a little less interesting. I think I've liked Vulture less every time I've seen that movie, and that's probably the reason why. He's still good,
1 out of 10.
but
Confirmed.
definitely a 1 out of 10 easy. Let's see, what other? I wanted to shout out the Doctor Strange I've Come to Bargain scene where he takes out Dormammu. Such a fun and cool scene. I don't know. I love how trippy it is, and it just shows like, oh my god, I don't know how I just kicked my mic out of the way. That was really interesting.
Karate.
I kicked it, not like
Damn.
with my hand, but with my foot.
Taekwondo.
You're still all tangled
I'm
up.
super tangled over here. Thanks, Taylor. You really helped me out there.
You're
And,
tangled up.
You know what? I have 6. I just realized I have a top 6, so I got to put one more in there.
Ooh, yeah, that's not allowed.
Yeah, that's not allowed
That's
at all.
Disqualified.
a bowl.
Great
yeah, you know what?
line.
I'm gonna kick out. Oh god, this is really hard.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm
Clock's
gonna do this.
ticking.
I've only seen it once, so it's tricky. But I'm gonna put the Mysterio trippy sequence in here.
Oof.
I guess we should say
In honorable mentions?
spoilers. Yeah, in honorable mentions. Spoilers for every one of these movies. Like we're not gonna hold back here. But yeah, the Mysterio sequence is amazing, and I feel like next time I see the movie, I could see it like cementing itself in the top 5. But for today, it's not gonna do it. What am I gonna put in the number 5 spot? I think I'm gonna put the Hulk versus Thor arena battle from Thor Ragnarok. It's just such a it's fun to see like what's happened to the Hulk. Yeah, we kind of had it like spoiled from the trailers and stuff, but it's still like such a fun scene to rewatch. Shows just how powerful they both are, and then you just have Loki up there like freaking out, and the Grandmaster just doing weird Grandmaster things. It's just a great scene overall. That one's gonna be my number 5.
Okay, my number 4. We are looking at the
Don't need to cough into the mic.
No.
No.
Vulture car scene from Spider-Man.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, I just think that scene is absolutely fantastic. I get goosebumps and like it just reminds me like, if I was in high school, that could, it could easily happen to any of us. You could be in there and, the guy, your date's
happen to
dad,
anyone.
What are you talking
your
about?
date's dad could pull a flex and just whip out a Glock 17 out of the glove compartment and just, say, I just did you a favor. I saved your life. And
It
what do
is
you
possible.
say? And you say thank you and you carry on. But it's just a great scene. I love it. Like even down to the just basic thing of like being at the red light where Vulture's trying to figure it out. Is Peter Spider-Man? And then the light changes green right when it clicks with him and he's figured it out. Like so much going on in that scene that's intense. And I love how his date's totally oblivious or whatever to what's going on. But it's good. My number 4.
Nice.
Alrighty, my number 4 is the Black Panther challenge scene.
Oh,
Same one Travis said. Was that in your honorable mentions, or was that actually?
It is number 5,
Yeah,
even though I
number
think I've made a mistake and it is in my honorable mentions.
Oh, no takebacks.
too many.
Solidified.
Yeah, I kind of pulled a Dylan, and because I had a weird system here.
Hey, but I fixed it on the fly.
You did,
while
I
I
did.
was screwing with my mic. So
I
I
did-
think I did pretty good.
I had to do an end game though. I had to go travel back in time to fix
Okay.
it. So,
Oh yeah. Okay, that's fair. But I love this scene, especially just like the shock factor of how he just got his ass kicked.
Mhm.
It was great. Great
Mhm.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I bumped because I found honorable mentions. You're able the arena scene, and some people might be surprised, but I put the snap as an honorable mention as well.
Ooh.
But yeah, I bumped the challenge scene down retroactively and put the Mysterio scene in because it's so fresh. I did kind of forget about it, and I just love that scene. So actually, I would put that number 5.
Damn.
I don't talk about that much because check out our Spider-Man Far From Home review. But just everything I wanted from just even comic books, reading Mysterio as a kid, it was crazy good. I forgot it, so I
Crazy
feel really
good.
ashamed. 4 now, getting into 4. This was talked about already, but Thor arriving in Wakanda, just like the most hype moment of Infinity War. Just that build up, it was great. Just even his banter with Steve Rogers, I am Steve Rogers, that whole thing. But if you just want to count the only 30 seconds, just him coming down
Oh, yeah.
and just everybody,
The
you're-
lightning.
You're so screwed now. So that was that one, and then another a Thor scene in my 4th as far as the acting and whatnot is Thor in Infinity War when he's talking to Rocket about all the things he's lost and all the people he does, and he's just trying to seem so jovial and upbeat, and I can do it. Like he's never fought me. Yeah, he has. He's never fought me twice. And then he's starting to cry and he's starting to laugh, like he's laughing and crying at the same time. I remember that scene, and I'll talk about it again in another moment. But that was, I think, the scene I've always really liked Hemsworth as Thor. But that's where I was like, man, the MCU version of Thor is one of my favorite characters now, and he is up there in the top 5 past characters I wouldn't even thought. And up until that
Damn.
moment, it wasn't. He was always like, I really enjoy him. I like him. Hemsworth is great at this. But that moment really sold me, and I love it. It's my favorite moment of Infinity War, probably. So,
Nice.
yeah.
That's a good pick, man. I agree. I kind of forgot about that one, but it's a good scene.
There's 23 films,
It's
A lot of
it's
scenes.
3,000 minutes.
Yeah. My number 4 here is going to be not the Mysterio trippy scene, but the Doctor Strange trippy scene when he goes and he meets the Ancient One for the first time, and he just gets kind of pushed into what's the realm called?
Spirit realm.
Spirit
I don't
realm.
know.
So he goes through a lot because he also
It's an
goes to the
easy fallback.
multiverse at that point.
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
goes
yeah.
to the quantum realm.
Yeah.
So he's just out of his body.
It's very similar to the Mysterio fight scene. I'd like to have them side by side and just like I feel like that. Well, maybe not side by side. Maybe one and then the other because that'd be too much
Side
at
by
once.
side. Layered on
But
top of each other.
I just love. I love how creative that scene was and how creepy it was with like the hands splitting off into more hands and all that. And yeah, just really that was like the first time you really see the Doctor Strange like magic in that movie, right? Is you get introduced to it through that, and then from that moment he wants to learn all that stuff. It's like kind of fuels him to be interested and believe in what she's saying. So to me, it's such a powerful scene and also just super trippy and really creative. Number 4.
Great pick.
Cool.
Great pick.
Number 3. I got Thor arrives in Wakanda.
Oh yeah.
Just such an overall great scene. I mean, you already covered it. It's just it's so badass.
I covered it too, Taylor. Don't just look at him.
Yeah.
You're supposed to look at both of us.
I'm looking at both of you now. I remember after the movie had come out, I went onto YouTube and I was looking at all the shitty quality versions of it because I just needed to relive it again and again and again. It was so good.
I've done that with a certain scene from the post-credits of Spider-Man Far From Home. I've watched a lot of shitty J. Jonah Jameson camera rips
You have to.
lately.
Oh yeah.
Whatever it
You
takes.
have to.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Alrighty, we're on number 3 now,
Number
right?
3.
I'm gonna go with the Far From Home Mysterio scene.
Nice.
I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't on there first, so I had to bump one
You're
down.
welcome, guys.
So,
no,
shouts out to
I honestly
Dylan.
did because I remember
Yeah.
after the movie, I'm like, this is for sure in there, and then
Yeah.
I fucking forgot about it.
Yeah.
It's
so.
fresh. It's only
As soon
Yeah.
as you
weeks
said it,
out.
I'm like, fuck, it's gotta be on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a great scene. Great Mysterio from the comics and all
Oh,
that
it's
good
everything.
jazz.
It's
yeah.
scary. It's trippy. It's
It is.
cool. It's colorful.
So Dylan brought this up, so I guess I could phrase it a bit better. But I did
Ooh,
put the
Oh,
better
battle.
than
fuck
Dylan.
you.
I did
Dylan
put the
doesn't know how to
battle. No,
speak.
not like that. No.
One
Hang
out
on.
of 1 out of 10 talker.
He brought up the battle in New York as far as how he would frame it.
Right.
If I had to frame it, it would just be the rounding shot of them all assembling, coming
Sure,
together. Hulk going that's my secret. I'm always mad. If it's that first 2 minutes, I did kind of think about the whole thing, but if I'm thinking of it, it's that first time they are the Avengers. The whole movie is about we want to put together a team and they're not getting along. That's the first time they're on the same page. And even though we have so many, even with Portals, which I think might eclipse it, but even up until Portals, that shot has been the iconic scene of the MCU. And I think even then when I die, what am I going to think of the MCU? I'm going to think of that scene when I'm 80. It's just that first round shot because it was this moment of, man, this movie's actually good. This feels all earned and we're here. And then it was still like, we still got half an hour left this movie. So it wasn't like this great moment where it happened and, oh, there's only 2 minutes left. We got to wait for Avengers 2. It just happened. And it's like, you're going to be in a ride for the next half an hour of this movie. You're going to fucking love it. And they're all going off on each other and they're all quipping and the action and combo moves.
Yeah.
It's just Battle of New York. It's still like I think it has been eclipsed. We'll talk about other stuff, other battles, but that first battle and that assembling is just fantastic, you know. And it's just that should be on Feige's gravestone, you know, because that just made him a king. Because that just show, and especially because I always say this, you know, now it's a foregone conclusion, but back then people didn't know Avengers was gonna work. You know,
Yeah.
that's the first time anyone had ever done. We're gonna make 4 movies and put them together and hope everyone will know this. And like that could have easily bombed. It could have easily not done well. Look at Justice League, and that's not trying to be a shot. It's not easy to do that. It's not easy to get all these actors and people, and other people have tried it. So to me, that was just like this culmination of look at what we've done. So yeah. Battle of New York
Money
for the.
speaks.
It does. I feel like that was like the first time too that I just felt like, man, this is like a movie for Marvel Ultimate Alliance. This is sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. Like they got so creative with that, like how
Yeah.
all the characters work together and use each other's powers together. Like
Yeah.
that's I think the first time where you see Iron Man like shooting like the blaster off of like Cap's
Shield,
shield
yeah.
and him like launching Black Widow up into the air.
And you get that buddy romance of him and Thor in every battle. In every Avengers movie, they call back that in every war, Cap and him are like the Legolas and Gimli. They're always
Yeah.
back to back saying something. So
yeah,
it's great. And then
it
for
still holds up
for
sure.
my acting one, I put in Yondu's, I guess, death, and I wouldn't. You could add the funeral there, but I think I would just add I'd specifically say the death because that was just. It's one of those usually I can see some stuff coming. I just didn't see it coming, especially when you watch Guardians 2. They set you up of like he's only going down there with one pack. He's like says all this stuff to really foreshadow he's gonna die. But I didn't think it was happening then until the moment. I think Star-Lord, Chris Pratt just sells that scene so good, and just that line of like I may not have been your father, but I was your daddy, and just all this stuff and. Just that it's just beautiful that shot of them in space and he's freezing and it's just so well done. The funeral's really good as well, but the death it just really hits me. And it's for a character that spoilers for our characters. Yondu actually didn't make my top 15. He's an honorable mentions, but still just the effect he had and the effect he had on Peter Quill really and the franchise. Yeah, just really did.
That's a good shout out. I will add that to my honorable mention. I forgot about that one.
Great scene. So those were my threes.
Nice. It looked like you had something to say there, Taylor. Did you or?
No, I'm just chilling.
Okay, just chilling.
Chilling
My
like
number
a
3 is going to be the airport scene from Captain America:
Number
Civil War.
3.
Civil War.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's gonna be number 3 for me.
Ooh.
This was it's just when we saw like the tease of this in the trailer, it just got us hyped. And then when it was actually on screen, it just got me even more hyped. It's so good seeing like the choreography between all the different characters fighting each other for once. Everyone seems to have a moment or two in this scene, even though there's tons of characters in there. You think like this is really kind of the first big battles that like both Spider-Man and Black Panther are in, and it's just like it's still great for them as well. This is actually the first time we see like really Spider-Man
in that suit. In
yeah,
action
at
and
all.
everything,
So
yeah.
that's a pretty massive scene there. And then even just the quips and then just the character moments and then kind of the ending of it too, right? Where potentially War Machine dies in that scene, or at least it kind of feels like that the first time you watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really, really intense scene. And it honestly, there could be a case for it to be higher, even number 1, but I decided to leave it at number 3.
Not to mention Ant-Man's first fighting scene with
Yeah,
everyone.
Giant Man. First time we see Giant Man.
Yeah.
Are you
Call.
hitting my replica Batman
There's a
Returns?
Wayne Mansion right there.
Yeah, you can put it on the ground.
On my
Lightly.
Tiny houses. Check out tiny houses.
Oh boy.
My number 2 is Mysterio projector scene.
Over the
Spider-Man.
car scene. Wow.
Oh, yeah. This
Wow.
scene, this actually almost snuck into the number 1 slot for me.
Wow.
Wow.
Then it
I-
dropped to 3.
I'm very
Or 2. You're on
surprised
2 now? You're on 2
because
now, right?
that
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
on
okay.
2. I'm very surprised because that means that the portal scene or airport, one of those are not on there. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised by that.
Yeah.
No comment.
No comment. That Mysterio scene is
Great
just
podcast.
absolutely like through the roof fantastic. Like I really really like Mysterio. I love what Jake Gyllenhaal brought to the table as Mysterio, and there was so much good stuff that had another scene. I guess shout out honorable mention. I love that point when he's testing out all the holograms and he like walks into the suit and like I know he talks in the fishbowl throughout most of it, but throughout the movie, but it sounds like Jake Gyllenhaal. But that moment when he steps into the generated version of
That's
his
an
suit.
honorable mention.
This is
Wow.
honorable mention. When he
Wow.
steps into it and he talks in that sounds almost 100% like old school Mysterio from like Spider-Man 2 or something like that. Like it sounds so good. Different
video
from
game,
how
the
he
video
speaks.
game.
Yeah. Different.
Spider-Man
It's a
2
video
not in the
game.
movie. Yeah.
But yeah, that scene 100%. It's just so juicy. The dead Iron Man, all that stuff,
Ooh,
and just
Marvel
the holograms.
Zombies, yo.
So good.
Damn.
Alrighty.
Good pick.
My number 2, I'm going to do the Avengers Infinity War snap. So,
wow.
Basically, when everyone's dying, I've seen this movie probably like 5 times now, and every time it hits me so
Yeah.
hard. It's so emotionally like tearing, and it's so good. Especially like watching that and then going into End Game and then having the return of all of them. It's just like you still have those like sentimental feelings for when they like died. It's just like, oh man, it's so good. So yeah, that's my number 2. My number D.
For action, I put Silver Airport scene. I'm surprised because I still consider that one of the best action scenes of all time. I love it. Like Dale was talking about, just a combination of characters. It kind of made me think that eventually we can get like a team of good guys versus a team of bad guys, but they did it so well. The build-up was really well done, and you get to see just so many different combinations. That was my worry at the beginning of the scene, was like, oh, it's just going to be these people face off these people, but no, they almost try to get you every different type of equation. So honestly, I'll say it for number 1, but I thought that scene would honestly never ever be topped after we saw Civil War. I'm like, it's never going to get any better than that. They can't do anything, and they somehow did. And then number 2 is for the acting or other scene is Tony's funeral, just because one, just super very emotional, but another kind of like landmark scene of just when they pan out and you see all the Marvel characters there. But I think there's just even great little moments of just like Happy talking to Morgan about cheeseburgers, and you get to kind of say goodbye to every character and whatnot. So I really, really enjoy that scene. And there's not much acting there. I think that's just the symbolism of that scene, and it's saying goodbye to, you know, one of the biggest characters and the guy that kicked off the franchise. So it's a lot of like meta stuff going on as well. So those were my diz.
Your Diz. I like your Diz.
Number 2 for me, I'm going to stay in the Civil War verse here. And I'm going to do the Cap versus Iron Man scene at the, I guess after Zemo, you kind of find out he took out all those other potential Winter Soldiers. And then you find, like, Iron Man finds out really what happened to his family, and that Cap was holding it from him. And Bucky's in there too. You know, give Bucky some shout-outs. He loses his arm again in that scene. But it is just such a... Like, I remember that as well when I first saw that movie. I was just, like, shocked at what I was seeing. I thought Iron Man was, like, dead in the moment. I was like, that is crazy that he just did that. Because I forgot that his, like... the power thing wasn't...
powers
like,
the suit now.
Yeah, I forgot that it wasn't powering his
Cap
heart
committing
anymore.
full-on murder right
Yeah.
there.
Watches him die.
Yeah.
But it's such an iconic scene. It's just amazing to see those two duke it out in just a really visceral way, especially after the whole movie is like building this like brooding battle between the two of them, and then they kind of reconcile that, but then it just, you know, turns immediately after Iron Man finds out what really happened to his family. Number 2.
Number one.
Number
Taylor's
one.
favorite scene in the MCU.
Favorite scene in the MCU.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
There are some notably really well done scenes in that. But no, it's not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. today, ladies and gentlemen. It is Avengers End Game, the portal scene. It is just so good. I love it when the Falcon's like on your left and he just flies out of there. Black Panther comes out and it's just
Technically, Black Panther is first.
he is first,
screwed
but
that
Falcon
over.
calls
But he's
it.
sneaky.
Falcon calls it first.
I know,
though.
but he can't. You messed up the ordering.
Yeah.
It's
1 out
not-
of 10.
Really can't be your favorite scene then.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, that specific moment
1 out
is
of 10.
not
1 out of 10.
my favorite scene. Is when all the portals open and Doctor Strange is in the background and Star-Lord's walking out and Drax and Mantis and Spider-Man swings in.
Mm.
That is when it clicks. No, I'm just kidding. The whole thing is just so good.
Yeah.
I love it from that start to finish point when Thanos is like, you can see like him manifesting a shit in his pants about what's going on. It's just so good.
Manifesting.
It's just epic. I've listened
How do you
to
want
that.
Thanos to look in the scene? Well, I want him to look like he's manifesting a shit in his pants. Can you do that?
Feige, yeah.
Effects?
Cut the check.
But it's so good. I remember I listened to that score so many times, and
Oh,
everyone
so
just
many.
lining up. I love that you can see all of the what are they?
Sorcerers.
No, the from
The
Guardians of the
Ravagers.
Galaxy. Yeah, the Ravagers. I guess the sorcerers, and I love seeing like all the
Howard the
Asgardians come in through, and all of the Wakandans.
Yeah.
So you call Wakandans or Wakandians or
Wakandans.
Wakandans?
You had it
Okay.
first time.
Wakans.
It's just so good. Everyone's coming out. Everyone's cheering. It's like, you know what? I mean, why would Peter Parker be stressing in the future? You got all these guys as backup. It's all good.
Well, they can't always be there.
They're
This
far
was-
from home.
Yeah. Oh.
Hey, let's go.
Ooh.
I'm going to take it away from you. Avengers End Game, basically Avengers Assemble. Yeah, pretty much the exact same thing. However, I feel like for me, it really just started when Cap just like straps the shield on, kind of
Mhm.
stands up, and then it goes to like that pan shot of just like Thanos' army. I remember just seeing that in the moment. I'm like, this is the coolest like shot I've seen out of any MCU movie. Like, this is just so amazing. And then obviously you get Falcon kind of like breaking in, and then the Wakandans come in. But yeah, it's just it's so
Specifically
good.
Black Panther.
It's such like a build up. Like, we've seen so many movies leading up to this moment, and it's just like, I don't know, like before you even know that people are coming back like from the snap, it's just Steve Rogers versus the world, and it's just so epic. And yeah, I fucking love that movie. So let's go.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add for the action scene. That's number one. That was the one I talk about topping Civil War, because it's just, and the same thing. Like, for me, it was a high bar of it even topped Helm's Deep for me, and that's something I thought would never ever be topped, because that's just such an epic scene. And this was just, it was just something. It's still a scene that I feel is a dream. It's just so mind-boggling that you have like not just the main leads. You have every single character that's not dead and on the TV show. So sorry, Daredevil, but every character that's been in these movies. Like I said, even Howard the Duck is at this battlefield taking on Thanos and his crew. And yeah, I'm a huge Cap guy, so the fact that it's led by them, Kirkland top, just that shot of it's him versus thousands of guys. You finally get Avengers Assemble. All these great moments of like Tony and Pepper teaming up. Everyone's getting reunited. You get Spidey and Tony reunited as well. There's just so much good. The combos. You get Hey Peter Parker and the
so
women coming together and just kicking ass. Like it's just and if I had to narrow it down just like a 2-minute scene, it is just that opening, that Avengers Assemble. The score is phenomenal. I've heard some good scores this year, but that's still my shoe-in vote for Golden Geeks. It's a spoiler, but it's just that the whole movie's good, but that track alone is just incredible. And yeah, it's just the way it builds up and just those portals opening and just this like aura around the music, and it feels like heaven's gates are opening, and it's just, I didn't think you could, if you were to pitch that to me, if we're going to have all these characters in a battle scene with Thanos, I don't think I could even work, because even if you look at something like Big as Helm's Deep, you got like King Rohan, you got like the King of Rohan, you got like Aragorn, like Legolas, Gimli, and that's about it. That's all we follow, right? It's those 4 guys. But in this one, you got to juggle all these characters, and I think pretty much everyone gets a moment, everyone of note, and if not, they get a team up moment. So yeah, just a great scene. And even then, I should have shouted out before, even for an honorable mention, the 3-way with those 3 versus Thanos is a great scene.
Yeah.
Like that moment of Cap getting Mjolnir is just like, I stood up. I could. It's just perfect. I'm waiting for HD copies of those photos. So number one then, and then Dylan already talked about number one acting scene is is the Civil War reveal at the end there with the box. Well, it's supposed to kind of be inspired by the box from 7, but it's just great because the whole movie I'm on Cap's side, and then in that moment, that's when I'm fine. Like, oh, I don't know, because you get to see Iron Man in that movie lose his morals, and then Cap, who's standing really strong, you think he has the high ground, no pun intended, but you learn in that moment that at the end of the day he would sacrifice all this for a friend, and you've already learned that, but now to the nth degree. Like, he could still sat down Tony and told him, but you're seeing kind of like what Civil War did to Cap in the comics, something taking him and being like, this is not exactly the perfect guy he's always portrayed or everyone's thought of him. You know, he's always had this secret about his friend killed one of his other friend's parents, and just and not even the fight, it's just the moment in between Tony and Steve when he's just asking him if he knew, and Cap lies at first, and then eventually he breaks, and just the acting between those two is phenomenal. You could cut the tension. You couldn't cut the tension with the knife because it's so strong. It's crazy. So, yeah, those are my 2 number ones.
Damn. I did not have the End Game.
Ooh, let's go.
Honestly, probably because I've only seen it once, and it's.
Did you forget
it's
it?
Not. It's not that I forgot it, but just it's not as fresh in my mind. Like, I did not remember that Falcon is like the first one who like says that and like slides out
On your left.
Like, I don't know. I could not have told you that Black Panther's the first guy that like pops out and says hello.
Who's the third?
See, I don't know. I'm gonna,
Well, technically,
gonna say
it's
Star-Lord.
Shuri and Okoye.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
They come out with Black Panther.
So yeah, it's just
he's the future. Of the
I
MCU.
gotta see the movie again. I'm just waiting for it to not be in theaters, so
Disney
August.
Plus.
I can do it a bit cheaper. You know what I mean?
I'm waiting until Disney Plus.
Why?
It's gonna be on there, Disney Plus.
But like, what if it's on Netflix in August?
It
You're not
won't.
gonna watch
They
it.
I think
don't have
But
it.
I'm saying
December is when it's
hypothetically.
scoped for
What?
Disney
I'm
Plus.
saying
I would watch
hypothetically.
it, but Ant-Man and Wasp was the last Netflix Marvel movie.
Oh,
Yep.
take that.
Take
Fox.
that.
I don't know.
Take that for canceling Daredevil.
So my number one scene is going to be the snap.
Oh,
The snap. It is. I think that's probably the scene that most emotionally affected me out of the entire MCU, and that's why it's number one for me. That was the only one that actually brought tears to my eye when I saw Mr. Peter. What's up?
I was going to say which
don't feel so
snap
good.
because there were 3 snaps. I was just curious which one
I
specific.
still think when everyone says the snap,
Yeah.
they're talking about the main one.
Okay, because it could have been the Hulk snap. It could have been Iron Man
the
snap.
Hulk snap. We
Iron
almost
Man
lost
snap
the
is
Hulk.
pretty big too. I just wanted
Yeah,
to clarify.
but that's
We
like
almost lost the
that's
Hulk.
that's technically part of the end game, like the end game battle, right?
Yeah.
So I just said it's not that, but I see where you're coming from. No, it's going to be the one from Infinity War.
There you
actually,
go.
The
Nice.
snap from Infinity.
Oh, good.
And
good. I didn't-
I should specify, not when Gamora joke snaps. I'm talking when Thanos snaps,
what about that
and then
s-
half of everything dies. That's the scene I'm talking
What about that snap in Endgame when he thinks he has all the stuff, the gauntlet, and then he snaps and nothing happens?
You gotta take that
one,
into
the things-
account, too.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
They don't just love that. Oh, it's such a funny scene.
It's
Thanos
getting
is-
bumped to honorable mention. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's there's nothing else needs to be said. It's incredibly emotional to see like Tony's reaction to what's happening. My reaction, just watching myself react, is sad. What was going on with Strange, like what was he saying exactly, and all that
Mhm.
stuff. It's amazing. So that
Yeah.
is most definitely my number one.
I'm glad you had it on your number one because there was something I forgot to mention when I was talking about this. I also just love like the lack of just like music or like any
Yeah.
other sounds. It's just like a total ambiance thing, and like sure, like Thanos snaps and then he kind of like vanishes away, but then like it doesn't really hit you until like Bucky is just like, Steve, like something's wrong, and it's
Mhm.
just like, holy shit. Just you can, yeah. I don't know if you can cut the tension with a knife.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. Pretty intense.
What
What
was
was the-
screwed up that saying though, because it's supposed to be the tension,
Oh,
knife,
yeah.
and I
Oh,
thought I
yeah.
was trying to double down, but you could cut it with a plastic knife. That's how thick it is, you know. Which I still don't know. Let us know in the
I'm
comments.
confused.
You need a lightsaber
Yeah.
to
I
cut
don't
it.
want to talk about
So
knives anymore.
where were we heading to after this again? What was
Good
the plan?
question.
What have we done? We did.
We
We did
scenes.
scenes.
That's all we've done. Let's do Stan Lee cameos.
Yeah,
What do you guys
we
think?
Stanley
could do that.
cameos.
Okay.
Let's
It's
do
a
that
shorter
now.
list.
Yeah, sure. Kirkland, you go first.
Well, just chug through your 5. I think.
All of them.
I think
Yep.
so. Because
Okay,
they're short.
fair
They're
enough.
all quite
Yeah.
short.
Okay, my I guess number 5 would be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 when it's just revealed that he's a Watcher.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. I don't know. He just has a place in the world, so that's pretty cool. Number 4, Thor Ragnarok. He's the hair cutter,
Yeah.
and just Chris Hemsworth, great in that scene. He's like, "You will not cut my hair. Please,
Please
don't cut my." Yeah.
No.
Number 3, the first Guardians of the Galaxy when Rocket's scoping him out. He's hitting on that chick or whatever.
Oh, yeah, this
Class
little
A
geezer.
pervert. Yeah. Number 2, Age of Ultron. Basically, he's just like the drunk veteran. I love when they're like making him leave too. He's like Excelsior. Number 1, Captain Marvel when she sees him on the bus. I feel like I feel like this one hit the most just because he was like, I think that was at the time that he passed away.
Yeah, it was the first film
Yeah.
after. Yeah.
So it was just a cool
Mhm.
moment. I felt like that might have been the last one I was gonna see.
Just their
And,
little like acknowledging each
Yeah,
other.
exactly. It was sweet. So yeah, that's
Nice.
my 5.
That's a good list.
So I got them in different order, but I got the exact same ones as Kirkland, except for one, and I'm not sure which one you didn't have. I'm sure. Oh, now so my number 5, Age of Ultron, Excelsior, great scene. He's just like, oh, I've drunk it so much in my day, and it's great. I love that party scene as well. I should have gave that honorable mention. Yeah, I didn't give that honorable mention. I love that Ultron party scene. That is the best
Yeah,
part of the
it's
movie.
good.
So good. Thor Ragnarok, the haircutting scene. It's good because it's just such. It's probably the weirdest scene he's in, and it's good. Incredible Hulk. I love before Spider-Man. To me, that's the most creative one. Of they're tracking down Bruce's blood, and it went into some pop, and he drinks, and whoa, what a punch!
So good.
Yeah, and he dies. He presumably dies. Yeah, Captain Marvel is number 2 for me. One, for the reasons Kirkland listed, and 2, just because I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, and he's in that movie reading the script of where he's going to do the very first cameo he ever did in Mallrats in a Kevin Smith movie where he's playing himself, and just very meta. And I was very happy for Kevin Smith because he's like in the universe he's canon, so that's cool. But it was just like a perfect 90s cameo, because if you check out the Tarantino retro, I was just talking about how Kevin Smith and Tarantino in the 90s were just the biggest guys around as far as film. So it just made it's one of the most cameos that just makes so much sense. Other than number 1 for me, I love that Guardians 2 one, because yeah, you don't have to say he's a watcher, but to me that makes it great that he is a watcher, and that's why he's around. That's why he's always different people, because he's watching, he's writing all this stuff down in the history of the gods and everything like that. So yeah, it's and that's the thing, we've ranked them all before. I enjoy every Stanley cameo. There's ones where I go, oh, that's a little lazy, but I would take a lazy one or one I didn't like the pageant one, Iron Man 3, over no Stanley cameo at all, which, sucks on Far From Home. We don't have that anymore. I wish they did what Marvel Netflix did when they always had like a photo of him somewhere, or like a mural. Like he's always in the seasons, but he's not physically there. So I wish they would do that. I know they kind of want Endgame to be the last one. That makes sense. It's a big movie, but I still wish they're like just little things here and there. So
Yeah. I have a couple similar ones as you guys. The hairdresser, of course, is great. The World War II vet one from what is it? What one's that
Ultron.
from?
Ultron.
Is that from Ultron?
When he gets drunk? Yeah,
Excelsior,
yeah.
That's a classic. And the Gamma drink as well. I don't like that movie that much, but that scene is hilarious. And him as the Watcher as well, I have in there. And then, so I guess the only one I have different from you guys is when he's the delivery driver and he's looking for Tony Stank.
Mm-hmm.
That one always gets me.
This is Tony Stank.
He's right here. Yeah.
So I got a couple that you guys have already said. So my number 5, Tony Stank. I think that's hilarious. Number 4, when he's Excelsior at the party, that's absolutely just great. Number 3 is when he's in Thor and he's driving the truck and he's trying to pull the hammer out.
Yeah.
It breaks the back end of the truck. It's
Did I
so
get
it? My number 2 is Iron Man 3 when he's bidding on the girl at the pageant.
No, I just shouted that one out specifically.
It's so good. I love it. He's holding up like a 10
He's
or whatever.
not bidding on
Well, I
them.
guess voting. He's voting.
Yeah, this isn't Get Out.
He's rating them.
Yeah, rating. That's the word.
Don't add some weird
Yeah.
subplot for Stanley Canyon in that
Rate
movie.
master.
He's bidding on
I
girls.
was like, what happened in that movie? Some human trafficking
He was
going
a
on.
full-on bad guy in that one.
Yeah.
Whiplash, crazy guy.
My number 1 is Heroes in New York. You gotta be kidding me, or whatever he says from the
that from
first
Avengers?
Avengers.
What a joke.
Avengers, yeah,
Yeah.
what a joke. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Well, those are our Stan Lee cameos. So I'm gonna go first with villains of the MCU. Yeah, why not? They're the bad guys.
Yeah,
So
why
these guys
not?
get the shine.
These two.
So going number. This was tough. I got honorable mentions. So I had Ghost in there, but I wouldn't have included her because I kind of put she's in the kind of. I'll spoil. There's one character on my list that's in the villains and character realm, and she's kind of like that. She is a villain, but she kind of turns near the end, and
Yeah.
so. But still, just honorable mentions. Like I liked how they did that. I liked her effect. It's more the effect. Claw, I loved Claw so much. He was never big enough that's gonna make it in the top 10, but I just thought Andy Serkis did such a good job. And anytime a character gets killed off, unlike Quicksilver, I'm like, oh, I don't care. When Claw got killed off, I was like, I understood, but I was like, oh, god damn it. Like I would have loved to see him in so many other Marvel, like Disney Plus shows. Like I hope there's a way they could, if they do a prequel series for any character, he's in there somehow. Alexander Pierce, I really like him in Winter Soldier. He's just like. He is a good foil to Nick Fury, being that kind of secret spy for Hydra and whatnot. Big Robert Redford fan, so happy about that. And then Red Skull, I really like him. And that's where I guess I should preference too for characters, for his villains, and characters, heroes, whatever. I'm specifically just the MCU. I don't take any comic book bias because if I was doing comic books, Red Skull easily be a top 10. But I just think we didn't get enough of him in the first Avenger as far as not being a really developed character. And at the end of the day, yeah, he is just a Nazi who wants to destroy the world. But I just thought he was, you go back to our retro of First Avenger, just kind of a little generic, not special enough to stand out. And then he's back as the Stonekeeper, but he hasn't really done much, So
it's more just a cool looking scene.
I hope we see him again one day. So those are my honorable mentions. So number 10, Abomination. I'm a big fan of Blonsky. I'm sorry, Dylan, but I the look of. I liked just just the evilness when he is Abomination. But I love Blonsky even more. Of just he's looking for a fight. He's fighting Father Time, and he's just talking about he just wishes he could do so much more in a young person's body because after all the things he's learned, and you can just see it's going down on him and he can't outrun things, he can't do anything. So I really like that. And then, I think near the end he gets a little just comic booky, but I think that was the trajectory of that character, and Tim Roth does a great job. So number 10, Abomination. I hope he comes back.
I think I should watch Incredible Hulk again because I love Tim Roth so much. So I feel like I would really... I don't know. Maybe he'd go up in my list. Plus, Abomination's a pretty big character.
I was gonna say wait and see if that Thunderbolts movie with him does happen, because then it gives you a reason to. You know?
Exactly. But he did not make it on my list as of today. My honorable mentions. I have Claw in there as well. Circus is he's fantastic. It's fun to see him not as a CGI character,
not as a monkey
every once in a while. But he's just so despicable in that movie, but so badass at the same time.
You want my SoundCloud link?
Every scene he's in is just he just makes it he just expands the scene, makes it more fun. But unfortunately, he's just a bit too small of a character to make it on my list. And then I also put this one. I actually just switched 10 minutes ago, but I'm putting Dormammu on the honorable mentions instead because he looks super cool. It's a really fun scene. I obviously shouted out that scene, but that's all it is, right? It's just one scene, so it's really hard to justify putting him any higher. And I really hope Dormammu comes back in some other way because
he has to.
He definitely could.
Yeah.
I've never seen Dormammu look like that in the different renditions I've seen of him. So I'd like to maybe see a more classic version, maybe a more humanizing. Instead of just some dimensional beast.
We got the fishbowl. The two things I want is a scorpion tail, and I want the fire head. I want Dormammu just being a whole body of armor and then a fire head. Yeah. Just being, what is this? So I hope even if it's purple fire, I want it.
It's pretty wild. So for my number 10, the one I swapped Dormammu out for, I'm actually going to put Ghost in number 10, even though she does switch, because I just watched Ant-Man and the Wasp just a couple weeks ago. It's the first time I've seen it since it came out, actually, and I really like that movie again on a second watch. And I think even though she does switch in the end, and she isn't an evil villain like a lot of these other ones are, she's still just a lot of fun. The mystery of that character, the sound effects that play when she's warping through stuff, how confused they are what she is exactly, the mystery of just from the viewer, who is she even on the first time through is really fun. I really like her costume. And I think she has an interesting story, backstory wise, and I really hope she does come back in some way. I'm not sure.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
Thunderbolts.
I think Thunderbolts is where it would be, because I don't think she'd ever be a main villain by herself. I could even see her switching to a full on good character at some point. But even just the acting, what's her name again?
I can't remember, but she's from Black Mirror. She's in a couple episodes.
she's quite good. So
Hannah Von something, I think.
So I'm happy to put her in my top 10. After rewatching that movie recently.
Hannah Von something. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Taylor's next, I'll also honorable mention Justin Hammer. Love Justin Hammer.
Justin Hammer. Just because Taylor's up next, though,
yeah,
right?
Just because he's up next.
Well, who was your number 10 villain in the MCU?
My number 10 was...
No. It was or it is?
Is.
Do you have any honorable mentions?
No.
Okay.
My number 10 is Whiplash.
Wow, that's lower than I thought.
That is lower than I thought as well.
It's lower than I thought, but it still hurts me to hear. Whiplash.
I really I love Whiplash. I love how he just messes the hammer drones up a little bit, and I love how he builds his own suit. I love how he fucks over what's his pickle, and I
like his opening scene. Like when he's not his opening scene, but when he's kind of revealed as Whiplash, at the
racetrack.
Yeah, the racetrack.
Great scene. Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
You sounded sarcastic when you said that.
No,
so I had to
that's
defend
legitimately a
myself.
great scene. It's oh, it's gonna be a great villain, and then he builds a shitty suit. But
I love his suit. It's so cool when he's got Tony hooked on one whip, and he's got War Machine hooked in the other whip, and they both shoot their beams at the center part, and it blows them up.
30 seconds.
So good.
30 seconds.
So 30 seconds is all it takes.
What's War Machine's real name?
War Machines?
Yeah.
Rody.
Okay.
See, he
What's
thought
his
he had
last
me
name?
there.
It's actually Colonel.
His last name?
Yeah.
Respect the man.
It's Rhodey.
Please.
Rhodes.
What's his first name?
His first name? I don't know. Everyone just calls him Colonel
Christoph.
Rhodes.
James.
Christoph.
It's
James Rhodes.
What's his middle name?
I don't
Jonah.
Evangeline.
James Jonah Rhodes.
Damn. I'm down.
All right.
Kirkland.
My number 10. I feel like my villain list might get some flack, at least for like the first 10.
I'm
but
ready to
little
get
bit.
these are just characters that I want on my list. So number 10, starting at the bottom, Obadiah Stane.
Oh no, that's a
It's
good
not
one.
bad.
Tony.
Yeah, I just really like the whole twist on his character too, because he just feels like Tony's like number one ally for most of that movie, and then you find out that he's the one that basically got him in that cave in the first place. Just great plot twist moment, and Jeff Bridges, right? That's the actor.
You can't go wrong with
Yeah,
that.
no,
Legendary.
he's,
Yeah,
he's
Bridges.
so legendary, and I just love his voice, man. He's got one of those iconic voices.
He does.
He
But
built us in a cave
Yeah.
with a box of scraps.
I love that. I love getting to see him in Far From Home as well.
Yeah.
To me, he suffers a little bit from like the early years of Marvel
Yeah.
villains, which were just a little simplistic. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I love Jeff Bridges,
Yeah.
so he definitely goes up.
Absolutely.
In my list 'cause of that.
I have a lot of nostalgia to Iron Man 1 too, so like a lot of moments in that movie are just
That's
like
it's
they
a
got
good
a
pick.
deep
It's
spot
a
in
good
my
pick.
heart.
Number 9 for me, Winter Soldier. Just purely based on being scary, and I'm just based it just Winter Soldier the movie, not Civil War Bucky. He's just so scary in that first half of that movie when
mask.
you don't know it's Bucky. Yeah, the mask,
So
the
good.
black paint. He's, I think, the closest we've probably gotten. I'd have to sit down and think, but the closest we've gone to something like the Terminator again, where it's just this force. It's a man. Obviously, Terminator's revealed to be a robot, but when you're watching a movie, you're just like, who is this character who's just going around taking people around, kicking them off? The score that they have for Winter Soldier is also great. It's just these screeching sounds, and he just poses a great threat, because even though Red Skull was a super soldier, so we didn't see any of that in First Avenger. The fight scenes were pretty lame. So you have a guy, and even in the First Avengers, there's other beings like Thor and Hulk, but Captain America was like the hand-to-hand combat guy. So when you just see them going at that scene when they first fight in the, I think it's the second
It's like
fight.
in the street, right?
Yeah, and he whips his mask up. But there's just a moment where he's just throwing this knife around him. It's the choreography of that character. So everything they did about that character in Winter Soldier was great. I think that also makes it suffer for, if I talked about Bucky as a character, he's not my top 15, because Bucky, not really much. He's just kind of a MacGuffin for Cap to chase after. But Winter Soldier, I always was a little bummed we didn't get a little more of that Winter Soldier. I know he got his whole movie, but that was always a little bummer, because that character is just so scary and such a good look. So Winter Soldier at number 9, just for the fear factor.
That's a good pick. I didn't have him anywhere on my list, not because he isn't a good villain necessarily, but just because I don't really associate him as a villain anymore in my head.
True.
And I feel like the last 2 movies that character has been in, he's just not even in them.
Yeah, so that's why I said not Bucky.
Yeah.
I won't exclude Bucky, because
Yeah.
hopefully the show will help him out. You know,
I know. I'm
Hopefully.
excited for that. He deserves something. It's been a long time.
first 10 minutes he dies, and the show's about Falcon trying to find out who killed Winter
Yeah.
Soldier. Oof.
Another Winter Soldier.
My number 9
Spring shoulder.
is probably going to be a controversial pick.
Ooh, I
Someone
like
I
them.
hinted at earlier. I'm putting number 9 as Vulture. I'm putting him down here.
Ooh.
A little bit lower than I feel like all of you are going to have him on your list, probably.
I
and
think
probably have
so.
him higher.
I think so.
I think for me, it's like I said
I
earlier,
know
that
so.
movie, it's not that I dislike Homecoming more every time I see it. It's just, for some reason, I'm less interested in Vulture every time I watch that movie. That the car scene is still his best scene, and it is a good scene, but I still hate how the ending of it. I know I'm just bagging on him as a character, and it's like, why is he in your top 10? But the way he gets taken out really doesn't do it for me, and I don't like his look. But everything else is really good with the character.
You don't like the look? I never knew that.
I don't know. I don't really like the mechanical Spidey villains
Fair
in
enough.
general.
Yeah.
I don't know what it probably is the hype from the watching all the animated show, and I just love Vulture's look in that show. I love the bright colors, and he just I don't know. It's never really done it for me too much.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't the biggest fan of the wings in the movie, and
with the,
yeah,
I love the jacket. though.
propellers.
It's exactly. It's more of a propeller system, but I love his jacket and
With
his
the feather
helmet.
collar.
For some
Yeah,
reason,
yeah.
I really like his helmet.
But I guess the reason why he is I know it's weird. I open with some insults on him. Why he's up there number
1 out
9.
of 10.
But,
1 out of
but
10.
it's because that car scene is still really good, and it is fun to see him being kind of the leader of this sleazy group of guys who are just kind of using these weapons, and you see that he's a smart guy and he cares about his family, but he's still a little crazy. And I'm really excited for him to come back at some point, as I'm sure, as we've talked about before, the Sinister Six at
Has
some
to
point is
happen.
probably going to happen, and I'm really excited for that because Michael Keaton's obviously a fantastic actor, and he did really good in the movie. So
Yeah.
just give him more. more, like just see him more in the future is going to be fun. But for right now, he's still easily in the top 10. So
Cool.
Taylor Field.
I'm making a quick swap out for my number 9 here.
Wow.
dropping Vulture down.
No.
Hammer.
I'm gonna do a honorable mention real quick. Actually, I realized for Baron
Ooh.
Zemo,
Okay.
because I just yanked him out.
Who just got bumped. Yeah, that's why
Who just got
Damn it.
bumped? Yeah, and who I bumped in, Aldridge Killigan.
Killian. Are
Killian.
you kidding me? You still haven't
I
understood
have
it?
not got this name down yet. It's a hard name
Alex
to
Kensington.
Alex
memorize.
Kensington.
Alex Kensington. Yeah, he's just.
The one and only.
Go back and listen to our retro for that episode. That was a wild moment.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good. He's just. I really liked how it kind of came through with more like that 10 rings kind of stuff, even though it didn't really come through with the 10 rings kind of stuff. But I like that he
That
like.
makes so little.
I love the way you
so
stated
little
that.
sense.
I don't even know what that means anymore.
Wow.
I like how he was, calling himself, the Mandarin, and I loved how he had these powers, and I loved how he infected Pepper Potts and stuff, and you got a little bit of like a little dosage of Pepper Potts as a hero, which I
man.
really was all on
Let's
board
go.
for that, but like
Good
it
time.
was weird, like turning like human beings into bombs, which was kind of freaky, but
Right.
he was pretty cool. I loved how he was like he things he says, like, and he
You
became more of a
cooking-
favorite.
you,
with,
you cooking in your little turtle shell?
yeah, I went-
Cooking like a turtle in your little turtle shell?
and
this
he
guy
busted
bothering
the floor.
you?
Yeah, is this guy bothering you? Like,
Yeah,
this is such
classic
good
line.
stuff.
Such a weird hit. He's in my honorable mentions for just a meme. Like, he's in
Just a
that,
meme.
prequel wise.
Yeah.
This guy bothering you?
Kirkland.
Alrighty.
Cooking like a little turtle.
So we are on number 9.
Little
correct?
turtle shell?
Oh yeah, I forgot you started. Okay. My number 9, I got Ultron on there.
Mm.
I wasn't the biggest fan of the movie, like as itself, but I really grown to just like the look of that character. Maybe it's just like my old school Transformers type.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
He just
yeah.
reminds me of what's his name? I can't even think.
You
Megatron.
thinking Megatron
Yeah.
or Starscream?
I'm thinking I think Megatron. His
One of them,
helmet's more
Megatron.
similar to it.
Yeah.
It's just a sleek look, and I really I like
James
it. So-
Spader has his
Yeah,
voice.
great
It's good.
voice.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Mhm.
So it's my number 9.
Cool.
Number 8 is Hela. I really enjoyed Hela. I do wish she was higher because you have the quality of an actress like Kate Blanchett, but I think she just she's the last one. Abomination I liked for other reasons. Winter Soldier was scary. I think she's the only villain I have in here that I just considered was a fun villain. She wasn't too deep. Hey, Asgard was taken from me. I'm going to kill everyone with You're Not With Me. She's Thor's sister, and they're going to duel. It's not that deep, but I think it's just Kate Blanchett. You can tell she's just having such a good time playing this character, and I think it's because when you get an actress, and that's I think that has helped the MCU is now that they're bigger and have these budgets. I think a lot of the villains in the first 2 phases weren't the greatest because they had not lower tier actors, but maybe not the quality of these type of actors. So
Mhm.
something like a Hell in the past wouldn't have worked, but when you get an Oscar winner like Kate Blanchett, she's just fun, and I hope that we see more of her because she got taken out, but she didn't die. All we saw was her inserter collapse, and we'll be talking about that on a newscast with Thor 4 being announced. So I just think somewhere, whether it's there, maybe she's after Valkyrie in the future, I'd like to see her. But yeah, she was just tons of fun and just a great look.
Mhm.
Her weapons just
I
throwing
love her
huge
look.
spikes at people. It's just really, really cool. So I'm kind of hoping she could get a Loki-like treatment. Even though Loki started great, I think if you brought her back, maybe you could get more out of her. I'm not sure, but I want more of Kate Blanchett, and she's, like I said, put on there. She's a fun, enjoyable villain.
Yeah.
She's not bad in that movie. I enjoy her scenes, except like some of her scenes aren't boring on Asgard, but I enjoy her in all her
Yeah,
scenes.
yeah,
So
definitely.
Hela for me, number 8.
Good pick.
Hella.
My number 8 is going to the one and only #Save Hannibal, Caecilius,
Hey.
Mads
Oh.
Mikkelsen.
Let's go.
Yeah, this character doesn't really have backstory or depth, character depth. But what he does have is the fact that he's played by Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
go.
What he has is a badass look, the the cracked purple eyes, just iconic, right? Like
Mhm.
so good. And then like every action scene he's in is always like a really fun set piece and really cool. So even though he's a character that doesn't really get like you don't really dive into his backstory, you don't really know where he came from or who he is. He's still really, really fun on scene every time he's in there and works well, I think, alongside, obviously Dormammu's like the final boss of that movie, but he works as like a good way to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Earlier on, even though there's a few layers of villains in the Doctor Strange movie, but yeah, Matt's definitely up there for me. And I know he died, but I feel like he could have died more. Like I feel like he could come back at some point, and I'd really hope so. I mean, one, because it's Mads Mikkelsen,
They
and
better.
like they they need more Mads Mikkelsen in the MCU. Well, they don't need it, but
Yeah.
you can always
They
have
need
you can
it.
always
They
have
need
more
it.
Mads
Yeah.
Mikkelsen.
Endgame would have been even bigger. It would have beat Avatar by now
Yeah.
if Mads was in there. You know?
I completely agree.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
What do you got, Mr. Field?
Winter Soldier. Yeah, is my
Clean.
number. What are we?
Eight.
7,
Eight.
8,
Yeah.
8. Holy crikey!
Are you sure he's your number 8?
Yeah, he's my number
Okay,
8.
okay.
Yeah, I think he's just he is just like a wild card in Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Wild card.
Yeah. Couldn't put your finger on him. But no, he is a super scary villain. I thought he was super cool. Yeah, the whole choreography of that scene. Like I watched like the kind of like the film takes of it when they were like acting it out and stuff, and it's like it's all legit. The actor like doing the flips with the knife and stuff. It is wild stuff. 100% super cool. But that movie overall is just it's great, and a lot of it's because of him as a villain contributing to the story and stuff. And you just it's one thing when you are dealing with like a villain where you can't see like their face to their eyes, they become something that you can't identify, and if you can't identify what they are, it becomes something that you're afraid of. And for most of that movie, when you can't see his eyes or his face, and it's slowly revealing parts of his mask, he's obviously becoming less and less more scary, but at the same time he's getting more dangerous, which is I think a very cool transition.
Yeah.
So he's my number 8.
Even like his sound effects that play, like that little distorted
Very
noise.
cool
so-
sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a quick question because I don't remember seeing this movie when it first came out. Did we know that was Bucky like before we were going into it, or like
Like
is that
it-
for interpretation,
well,
or is it just like this is a random new
I got
assassin?
two ways. Like in the movie world, when you're watching the movie, are you supposed to know it's Bucky?
Yeah.
No, because Black Widow just says he's kind of like a ghost. No pun intended.
Yeah.
The previous formerly mentioned ghost, but he's just been around for years, and people don't really know if he's real or not. So you don't know it's Bucky.
For like the casting though, did you just see his name? You're like, oh, it's Bucky.
Well, if you knew anything about Captain America, you knew it was Bucky,
Okay.
because I've said this a few times. But Winter Soldier, when they introduced it in the comics, no one knew who it was, and there were these two rules of Marvel: you don't bring Uncle Ben back, and you don't bring Bucky Barnes back. And he was dead for a while. When all these characters come back, he was dead for a long time. And then they did the Winter Soldier run. When it was revealed that was Bucky, it shocked the comic book world, because it would kind of be like if they did Green Goblin and they took off the mask and it was Uncle Ben, and you're like, holy
Whoa.
shit!
So
Yeah,
you're saying that they could bring Uncle Ben back.
Confirmed.
Some
Yeah,
comics,
Some
I said
rules
it.
are left unbroken.
some comics have, but I think the Bucky Barnes thing was very smart because no one saw it coming in. It was a fun way to twist it like brainwash.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much purpose to bring Uncle Ben back. Like when Bucky died in the comics, it was Cap losing something, but it wasn't his Uncle Ben moment. Be like, I'm gonna be a hero now. It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
lost my friend. Where I don't know, like, what would you ever bring back Uncle Ben to do, right? And like, I don't
He'd
want
have to be a villain.
Yeah, but I don't want to see. I don't.
He
wanna
could be the new
see-
Rhino.
Yeah, he might be in this. Knowing the MCU Spider-Man, he might be. God, he might be Chameleon.
Alrighty, my number 8, correct? That's what we're
Number 8.
This one might be controversial. Mine is Ronan the Accuser.
Oh, that is
Hello.
controversial.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
Damn,
picked
wild
him.
picks here.
I knew I was gonna get some flack, but
Because the
hear
Captain
me out.
Marvel movie was
Hear me
great
out.
in that.
Hear me out. I just love his name. First of all, I love anyone that has like a title after their name. I just think it's
Accuser.
sick. Yeah, something like that. It's just badass. His look is pretty prime. I gotta admit, he's just like looks tall and menacing.
Yep.
And that hammer, it looks so sick. The way that they used him in the movies, I'm not obviously the biggest fan of, but this is just for characters as themselves, and whether I like his look or not, that's the reason why I'm going with him.
I don't remember killing your family. His voice, so
Yeah.
great. Lee Pace.
Yeah,
great
I
actor.
love his like war paint too that he's got. Those little
Yeah.
I think it's like blue. Yeah.
They're black.
He's a fun
Is it
character.
black?
I will
Okay.
say I hate his existence in Captain Marvel. That's
Yeah.
always
So
Oh, me too.
frustrating.
Oh, 100% me too.
I don't understand. That's why I swear, like, if I had a gun in my head, I swear Captain Marvel 2 is going to be a prequel, and I think he's going to be one of the villains. Just because
Okay.
that's the only reason he'd have
Yeah.
to be in that, right? Especially if he's like, we'll come back first. So
Yeah.
I feel like
It's
we haven't
super
seen the
cheap,
last
yeah.
of Ronan, and
Yeah.
I hope, because I really like that actor, and I like you said, the design of that character's look great, his
Mhm.
voice, and even then, he's not one of the worst, but there could have been done more, and I was
Mhm.
so excited when Captain Marvel, I'm like, oh, we're going to get more of him, flesh him out, and his 2 scenes on
Biggest
a fucking ship.
disappointment,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was like,
I
what are
think
you
Feige's got big plans. Big
Biggie
plans.
plans. He's some
Big
rap
plans.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronan.
He's gonna be a huge character in the new saga, I think.
I would be fine that they flesh him out. We've seen characters before that were lower tier climb up, So as long as they have a plan, they right on hell. They put him in the Thunderbolts. I
Yeah.
don't know, but You know, I'd
Yeah,
love.
just put everyone in
Yeah.
20 villains.
Hey Thanos.
Minion City is 20.
His look is so good though, and if they did manage to like spend the time and actually flesh him out, I feel like he could easily be like on my top 5
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
like biggest
Not
villains.
enough villains with hammers in
No,
in this
it's
world.
a sick looking weapon.
And we
too.
didn't get to see. We should have got to see him and Thor fight. You know, that would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That would've
been
hammer
cool.
on hammer action.
A little hammer versus a long hammer.
Yeah. Story of my life. Number 6, the penultimate person
7,
before we
I
end the
think.
We're on
top
7.
5. Oh, we're on 7. Shit, lucky number 7.
You just wanted to throw fucking penultimate in there.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it
and
a
it
few
wasn't
times.
even right.
Penultimate to number
The penultimate to the
5.
penultimate
Penultimate
number
number 5. Or no, this is penultimate number 5. This is the second last before. Number 7
I
is
hate that word now.
Baron Zemo because I don't know, that might be a controversial pick for some people out there. You could say he doesn't do much in that movie, but that's where I disagree. I think he does everything in that movie other than Tony just being a full-on prick. Baron Zemo, I loved that type of approach they took with a villain. They just took, especially if you look, I always say that Zemo in the comic books, he has this purple unitard.
Oh, yeah.
He has, I can never remember the name of, what are the swords you spar with, those little...
Jousting swords.
Rapiers.
Yeah, that he has that, and he has just like fur on like wristbands. It's like he just looks crazy. So when you get to there in the movie, it's just okay. He's just this guy, and then as it slowly, it's kind of the reverse of Winter Soldier, where it's like he's getting scarier. The more you know about him, he is scarier, but it's in the sense of you just feel more bad for him because you learn about his family and you learn about what he went through. And yeah, he's doing all this stuff, but it's another, and you'll see a vibe here of villains that I like the most. It's just villains that feel they're doing, and that's a common thing, but in the MCU, it's not that much. And this one, to me, really actually had a case to take out the Avengers, to have a reason to, where lots of these are just, I don't want to destroy the world. And I like that actor a lot. Obviously, check out our Tarantino retro when we get to Inglourious Bastards. I'm
great.
very excited. Again, I didn't think I'd be saying this, but the Falcon Winter Soldier show, the fact that he's coming back, it's
that's
so
cool.
exciting to see what he could do, whether he becomes like the full-on purple unitard Zemo, whether he is in Thunderbolts like some of the rumors have been. I would just, same thing as Rona. I want to see more of that character. So Baron Zemo at number 7. I love that approach, and he kind of breaks the Avengers apart. And I love the reveal, as I talked about earlier. I love that reveal.
Hot pick.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great pick. My number... we're on 7. Yeah, my number 7 is going to be... I think it was your number 8. Hela. Yeah,
Hela.
she's a... I agree that she's, like, definitely more simplistic in the sense that she's just, like, pure evil, like, from the get-go. But, yeah, it's like, the acting is on point. The look is so good, even when she just, like, pulls her hair back to, like, spawn the antlers.
Great
So
effect.
good.
When she breaks Mjolnir, like, she is so badass, so much fun. You can definitely tell that, like, she's just having fun playing that character. And I'm really excited. She's in Ultimate Alliance as a villain. I'm excited to see more Hela because she's just a cool character in general. Just
I'd
has such
love
a
her to be
sweet look.
playable. That would be so fun, throwing those spikes everywhere.
that'd be great.
Yeah, we should get a villains.
That'd be
That
sick.
should Ultimate
I'm not going
Alliance
to promise
4.
that.
I know, but Ultimate Alliance 4, we should get like a villains version, just villains.
Hell yeah.
Mysterio,
Trying to
Doc
beat the
Ock.
good guys.
That'd
That'd be
be
sick.
Yeah,
sick.
that'd be really, really...
Team Ninja,
Let's do it.
contact us.
Yeah.
us. We got so many ideas.
Yeah, Hela's just a lot of fun. When she brings out like the gigantic wolf just as her companion, like
Yeah.
she's just so over the top in terms of, I don't know, just being, I don't know, just having like that over top look, over the top, like all the dialogue she has too. Like she's just really intense, really intense person. So.
But just the right amount. It never feels cheesy. That's what, I
Oh,
think
yeah,
that's because
yeah.
she's good as well, but it never feels too
in
much.
a movie that's like very comical and like colorful and bright, she doesn't feel like she breaks out of that, where
Yeah.
it still is like tangible, I guess, in some sense.
Mhm.
So yeah, cleanly number 7 for me. Taylor Field.
My number 7 is going to be Ultron.
Okay.
I think he's super cool. I love his whole Pinocchio dialogue he has on the Avengers. It's super cool.
Pinocchio dialogue.
Yeah, no strings on me. I think he's such a cool villain, and I just like how he's trying to. He's got a lot of like kind of God references or whatever, and he's kind of got that mentality.
Gee, I wonder why.
Why?
Well, look at who he's based on after in that movie, you know?
Who?
Tony Stark.
Really?
Well,
I'm just
the
pulling.
whole-
I'm just pulling his leg.
He pulled it well. He's
did
mad.
pull it
He's
well.
so mad.
He almost fell over.
His little head.
almost fell over.
But yeah, no, I think Ultron is fantastic, and maybe it is those Transformer vibes that Kirk was talking about, but he's so cool. I love
brought
that
it to
he keeps
light.
like upgrading his armor, and I love when he's like talking to Black Widow, and the suit's talking, and all of a sudden he like breaks it in half and tears through it and continues his speech or whatever. It's so cool. He's just such a crazy villain, and it's terrifying to think that without Vision's help of canceling him out of the internet and putting up that firewall, he could just keep spreading anywhere and everywhere.
Mhm.
That's
Like
a
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph style. That's a truly terrifying, villain that can just teleport that fast. So, yeah, it's my number 7.
Cool.
Nice.
My number 7 is the Winter Soldier.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, same pick as Travis, and I definitely,
Wow, not Taylor.
I'm definitely
though, hey?
separate.
Fuck me,
I
right?
forgot you had. I'm sorry, Taylor.
Jeez.
But
I thought
no,
you bumped Zemo.
I bumped
He
Zemo,
said
not the
Soldier,
Winter
Winter
Soldier.
Oh, okay.
I'm specifically just talking about like Winter Soldier, like apart from Bucky Barnes, because I feel like in this movie he's definitely not like he's the same body, but like he's brainwashed, right? So he's just not the same guy. But mostly just his look. It looks so sick. The mask and his hair is just everything. Like from the point when he catches Cap's shield, I was just like, oh man, who is this guy? This is just badass. But yeah, I don't know much more to say. You kind of went over it.
Are you growing your hair out to be like his?
Should I?
You should.
Yeah, okay. I'll get a metal arm.
Yeah, I get the mask too.
How about I get the arm first, and then I'll start growing out my hair.
You're gonna have to cut off your arm though.
I'll
You could
find
build
a nice
around
metal
it.
arm.
You could build around it.
Number 6, Ego, the Living Planet.
Yes.
Kurt
Ego.
Russell, great guy, and
Great guy.
he's just
Shout outs to Death Proof, which we recently maybe you're doing on the Tarantino retro.
coming out after this,
Yeah, but I just watched the movie yesterday.
So recently for Dylan,
fresh
but you
in my
said
mind.
we, so.
Yeah.
Uh,
Speak for yourself.
I
buddy.
Me
love-
and Taylor came over and watched it.
Yep.
Luckily, the MCU, that's a lie. Luckily, the MCU had a hot streak of villains for a while, but before then, I remember it was kind of in a rut, and he was one of the shining lights. It went Vulture and then him, and it was just, man, we're killing it. And yeah, I like him because at the end of the day, his plan does kind of resort to, I'm going to take over a bunch of planets and start afresh. But it's, again, kind of like the Kate Blanchett thing. The way he sells it, the way Kurt Russell explains this and talks to Peter about his plan and whatnot, you believe him. He's not doing it in a destructive way, even though he clearly is in the movie. Kurt Russell is just phenomenal. He's so charismatic. They set up this whole can we trust him, can we not trust him sort of deal. And I love the relationship he talks about. He genuinely did love Peter's mother, but he loved a lot of other people too. And he's a very unique character that they've had. He's a very weird character. He's a full-on planet, but I love the gravitas that Kurt Russell brought to this, and I'm sad we won't see him again. But at the same time, I think his villain kind of worked for a one and done. But yeah, Ego, love him in that movie.
Nice pick. Following in the route of just being like one number behind Travis, I'm going with Zemo right about now. Yeah, he's not a character that has that super suit. He doesn't fly around. He doesn't shoot lasers out of his mouth. But he's just really well written, and I think he's an interesting character because if you look at a couple of the characters on my list, at least like Ghost or like Caecilius, they're kind of just characters that in the movie they're introduced. They kind of just like come out of nowhere, and they just kind of exist in that world now. Whereas Zemo comes about because of the events of Age of Ultron. So it's fun to see a villain that it's kind of like Stakes, right? It's just like a character that comes about because of like what they chose to do with their actions, how they failed to save the day in Age of Ultron. So it makes for a really fun villain. And then he's scary. He's unpredictable. He's weird. And it's just like it's a dynamic that's usually well in the Civil War storyline, right, where the majority of the conflict is between the heroes and stuff. But he fits so well into that mix where he doesn't feel like he's a villain that's just tacked on, but he feels like he's perfectly there, and leads to that great scene that I was talking about in my top 5 scenes where you get Cap and Iron Man finally duking it out against each other. So, yeah, definitely.
Good pick.
I think was that number 6 or 7?
Number 6.
Number 6.
Yeah.
My number 6 is the one and only Loki, God of Mischief.
Whoa,
That's low.
That's crazy.
That's
low.
low.
For me, I consider this high because like all my villains are high.
That Loki.
non top 5. That's crazy.
I think like these are definitely like my hype characters right now. I mean, I considered everyone that's in my top 10 is a character I really,
you don't have to
really
explain
like.
it. You can be on the wrong side of history.
I
It's
feel
fine.
like if you're not on my list, then that's when you need to like look at yourself in the mirror.
not even in the top 5.
Because I'm not looking at like a hype top 5. I'm like, you're on that top
Not
10.
even not in the top 5.
That's where it counts. You got to be top 10. So
No
yeah,
top 5. Not even
Loki.
top 3.
I think it's fantastic what he's done. I can't wait to see where he's going with his like spin-off from Endgame. I'm super excited. So yeah.
Jesus. It was so savage, all of that.
Wow.
All of
You
it
better
felt like
just-
all of it felt like not like it was like it wasn't true. Like you were just pandering. Like it was like a PR thing.
Yeah.
Like you were saying that because you have to. And not
You better
'cause
just-
No,
want
I'm
to.
serious. Everyone that's on my 10, like they are on there because I love
Okay.
them as characters.
Okay.
I'm not going literally like top 5 is like these are my most favorites.
I'm really
Yeah.
It is going
Top
from like
5,
number
it is,
1
though.
is definitely my
But
most
just the way you
favorite.
said, oh,
If-
that's high for me. That still is
Because
cut to my
you could
soul.
say, oh, those aren't my 5 favorite. But if we said we're just doing a top 5 villains, Loki wouldn't be in there.
Top 5? Well, I would change it up. I'd switch up.
That
mine.
makes no
Oh,
I'm
no.
kidding. If it was top 5, then I would have to obviously be forced to comply with that. But it's kind of like, the number rating versus like not doing a number rating,
You don't get to use that. You do a number rating. That's very flawed.
I'm not
That
using
really
it.
for-
I'm not using it. I'm just using it as an
But
example.
Kirkland, what's your number 6?
Thank you, Dylan.
You better-
My number 6
Oh,
is
you're-
Hela from Thor Ragnarok. Basically everything you guys said. She just brought her A game to this role, and
really
I just believe that she was an evil sister of Thor. I just love like her dark tone that she had. Like when you first see her, and she's just got like her long like dark hair. She's just the way she talks when she grabs Mjolnir and just fucking cracks it. It's so good, and yeah, she's my number 6. That's high for me too.
Making my top
Backhanded
5
compliments.
halfway point. Mysterio, Quentin Beck at number 5. I think because these reasons are just because we only get the back half of him as the villain, and we get some cool scenes. But even then, we don't get too much because there's lots of twists going on. There's lots of drones, so you don't get much of him. I think it's just more. And my lists are always kind of a combo of acting performances as well, so that I'll contribute to here and the villain and the characters. And I think Gyllenhaal did a good job, but I think what was better was the execution of Mysterio. But I think the reason he's not any higher is just because there's not too much meat to like bite off that bone, and because I think it also hurts him that his backstory is very similar to, not identical, but similar to Vulture's, as it's another Tony Stark guy that screwed him over. So for me, that's always been a little lazy, and it's not really that big of a. And that's what I'll talk about him later. If you look at Vulture, at least he's doing it for his family. To me, he has a bigger, more personal reason. Mysterio just kind of wants to be a superhero. Why? I don't know, because Stark screwed him over. Why? We don't really know. They just say he's unstable. So that's why he's not any higher. The reason he's in the top 5, though, is because everything they did with him, with the twist, the effects, everything on screen was fantastic. So Mysterio at number 5.
Well said. Number 5 for me is going to be Ego, once again, the living planet. This is definitely a literally larger-than-life character, but he's just so much fun to see the transformation from what starts as just like, it's a human. It's his dad. But then as it turns into him actually being a planet, that scene where he's just like going through his I guess it's like his home base or something, and he's just like pointing at all these different dioramas he has and explaining all of them, and you just totally understand like his twisted point of view. It's not even that it's like his fault. It's just like the kind of being he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not bound to the same restrictions that we are as humans. And it's such a weird and expansive character that I was not expecting at all. And Kurt Russell is just fantastic in that role as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely fantastic character, and really just cements so much for Peter Quill as a character. Really changes his whole trajectory as well.
Oh dear, I'm
My,
nervous.
We're getting a risky territory.
So remember, folks, all 5 of these villains are better than Loki.
Better
And I
than
know for a
Loki.
fact Killmonger is not in this top 5. So that's
He knows
scary.
for a fact.
That's scary.
My number 5, and this one actually, it was they're from Thor Ragnarok, and I had a tough time deciding between the two. And but my number 5 is going to be Hela. I will show honorable mention though, Grandmaster, because I definitely think he, for what he was accomplishing, I definitely think he's up there, and I love what he was doing in the movie.
I guess he's got some villainous intent, but
Hella
Oh
over
yeah, the
Loki.
melt stick. Well, he was
She's the better sibling.
Loki was trying to get in good with him because he was the owner of the planet, ruling it or whatever. He was I don't know. He was just he was a great villain.
But what
melting
about
people.
Hela, who's your actual number 5?
Hela, I think
You can put Grandmaster in top 5 if you want.
no,
Yeah.
Like
no.
you can do whatever you want.
No, because
You've already disrespected
I have
Loki this
the other
much.
the other slot is locked in for who I have for those characters because they're
the other
t-
slot,
the other slots.
the other okay. Yeah.
But no, Hela, I love how she looks. Like I like Loki's look, but when I'm comparing, it to Hela, I love Hela's look even more. I love the antlers. I love the green and black suit. I love the the soldier she's resurrecting. Between the two of them ruling Asgard, she did it, she was taking it places. Unfortunately, it
No,
bit
she
her.
wasn't. She killed everybody.
Sometimes, it's just you gotta make sacrifice.
Oh, okay.
Whatever it takes.
One sacrifice.
We're learning some
Whatever
more
it
things about
takes.
Taylor.
Wow, that's wild.
But no, she's just a super cool villain, and I wish hopefully we get to see more of her. Like you're saying, just throwing her thunderbolts or whatever. Just
No,
throw
I didn't
everyone
say that
in there.
about Hela.
Oh, you're throwing everyone in there, so
Not her.
Not her.
No.
Alrighty,
cool.
my number 5, I got the man Vulture.
Nice.
I mostly just like love him as like Adrian Toomes, like
Mhm.
like more so than like him and the Vulture outfit, because
Mhm.
there are parts of the outfit I do like, but I just prefer that old school look. I don't know how they would make it into a movie like this.
Yeah, it's hard.
But no, I just kind of similar to like Travis's reasoning for his list. I feel like a lot of these characters that are getting up to the top, like I can kind of see their point of view, like not just like Hela, for example, she just pops out of nowhere and just is evil. Whereas Adrian Toomes, he's trying to provide for his family. He had like a contract set up for his company. Meanwhile, Stark just comes in, takes all that over. Like it's just like he's just angry, and it's justified. And I feel so, yeah. And then that great car scene between him and Peter. Like up to that point, I feel like he didn't have like a super like menacing vibe to him. Like yeah, he has all these gadgets that he can potentially like rob and kill people with, but like up until that point, it's just like I don't know how to explain it. You just gotta watch it and you'll feel
Yeah.
it, and then you'll know what I mean. But it's great. So yeah, number 5, Adrian Toomes,
Mhm.
also known as
Nice.
Vulture.
Yeah, number 4, the previously mentioned Vulture. Love
Ooh,
Vulture.
yeah.
Yeah, him and Mysterio are pretty close, but I think what I liked about him more was the family aspect. Even you have the car scene, but just Peter's showing up to his house. Great reveal, and just oh hey Pedro, my name's
Yeah.
Peter. Oh, all right, Pedro. It's just Michael Keaton delivers that so well, but I think he also got I like about that character is there's a certain code that he has, because I love that he actually gives Peter the chance to just walk away from it
Mhm.
all. It's not there wasn't like some trick. There's no twist. He said you can leave this all right now. Just show my daughter a good time, not too good of a time, and then he'll just drop it. And even then, he finds out Peter's identity and he doesn't tell Scorpion. So that's why I like that he has this code about him. So to me, he has a lot more layers than the rest of these that I've named so far. But yeah, a great performance by Michael Keaton. I like the Vulture stuff. Yeah, I think I have some problems with how he's defeated, but other than that, I think he's definitely up there. He's definitely deserving of the top 5.
Nice.
So if I had to like tier these, I would put this like Vulture honestly would make it into like right above the top 3 tier, and he's in his own tier as like the almost god tier, but not quite there, because Vulture I think was just done perfectly, and I want to see more of him. So
Top. Wait, what are we on right now?
4.
Yeah,
4.
we're on 4. We're already in the top 5. Clearly, I knew that.
Yeah.
My number 4, I'm going to follow you guys with the Spider-Man realm, and I'm going to put Mysterio at number 4. To see this character on the big screen with that amazing look, the amazing costume, have the fishbowl and all, and to see it like done justice and be a really fun character, and the twists throughout the stories, throughout the story, I should say. That twist in the bar with Peter is like just such a good scene. I love how over the top it is. He's like a cult leader. He comes across as a cult leader. Just, these people are cheering for the things they hate. It's such a weird scene, so bizarre, but it's just so fitting for such a strange character. I love the dynamic that they still kind of represent his suit even when he's in like the VR sort of world where he walks around. He has like the mocap stuff on him as well. He's really fun character and leads to some amazing scenes, some amazing visuals, and I'm just so happy with what they did with him. And the only thing I hope with him, I should also say Jake Gyllenhaal's amazing. The only thing I hope with him is that he comes back and is still alive. Even if it's not Jake Gyllenhaal, I won't be totally offended. Just bring me that Mysterio back, and please, for the Sinister Six, we need it.
We do.
Yeah.
My number 4 is the one and only Abomination.
I'm not shocked, actually. I forgot about him because I don't care about that movie, but I'm not shocked.
I love that villain. I used to like, as far as villains go that can like take on the Hulk. I just think back in the day when the Hulk wasn't who he is now, he's just a rage monster. I just think Abomination was just super cool. I know I always wanted to see like Red Hulk make an appearance on like live action. So just these kind of like alternate versions of Hulk I just think were super cool. I remember playing like the Hulk Ultimate Destruction back on GameCube, and just Abomination, and that was super cool. Just something I always wanted.
We're talking about the MCU here. We're not talking about.
I know. I'm
Ultimate Hulk.
That's such a fraudulent list.
I'm pointing out Abomination because he's such a cool character, and I love Blonsky again in the movie as well. Just super cool, and I'm so glad that there is rumors of him making a comeback. I think that's just so awesome. Like, what's he been doing for the past few years? Like, did he get snapped? Like, what's his story? Did he get to come back? Like, what's going on?
I want to find out as well. Number 4, following the lines of my boy Dylan over there, Mysterio.
Hey.
I mean, basically everything you guys said. He was on your list, right? Number
6.
5. Okay, yeah.
He made it in top 5.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
But yeah, just the way that it was executed on the live action screen, it was just blew me out of the water. I'm just so satisfied that I have that. Like it's set in stone. They can never take that away from me.
That exists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just if you need any more information on why I love that character, just go check out our Spider-Man Far From Home review. But yeah, number 4, Mysterio.
So this was what I was talking about earlier with the God tier. This was very tough. You could ask me any day, and the answers might change between the last 3. You probably will know if you're paying attention, but it's the 3 that everyone's talked about. So maybe I'll start off with a controversial pick, but I'm going number 3, Thanos. Putting him 3. I think it's maybe because of Endgame, which I still really enjoy him there, but Endgame, he just definitely takes the more violent Mad Titan approach, and we don't get as much. And in Infinity War, he's great. He is the example of he is one of the best villains done as far as, and probably I think next to maybe one other person as far as comic books going, just one of the best villains done. You can see his point of view. You can see clearly how he's going about the wrong way, but he has examples why his plan has worked. You can see what his motives are, and it's just a great performance. I think out of all of them, performances go into all of these, but I think this is more a writing, because I think Josh Brolin's great as Thanos, but I think I'm not going to say easy, but I think it's a lot easier. He's just a very slow-talking kind of demeanor guy. You know, he's not that flashy performance. I think it's the dialogue that is given that character and the backstory that makes him so powerful, and obviously they gave him these fantastic scenes in these past 2 movies. There was such a build-up to him, and I remember I always thought he was not going to deliver. I just thought you introduced him in 2012, and we didn't get him until, 2018? That's a 6-year gap, and I always thought
that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and we saw him in Guardians, but that was like nothing. It was a few scenes of him on a chair. I just always thought, man, that's going to be such a letdown, because I always compare him to Vader. Vader, there was no build-up. You just see him right away. Oh, this is a guy with a red lightsaber, and he's scary. He's choking people. He's scary because we just met him. Thanos, you're supposed to be thinking for these next 6 years, he's scary. And credit to the Russo brothers, credit to Marcus Manfili, the writers, for delivering on such a great villain, because I think I have villains above him, but there's no villains like those 2 villains I wouldn't take away and put them in Infinity War Endgame. I think he was perfection for exactly what they wanted to do, what this story they wanted to tell. So yeah, the Mad Titan at number 3.
Yeah.
Quick question. When we first see him, was it Jeff Brolin? Or Josh Brolin.
Jeff.
His brother.
Jeff Brolin for sure.
Okay, it was Josh Brolin. Was it his voice?
Well, no, the first time Avengers, no, it was just a guy in a mocap suit. And then in Guardians, it was him. I think they did a different type of mocap, and because you can tell continuity error, he does not look, he looks like Thanos, but he's like a different shade.
Yeah.
His face is different, so it's a
like
little
more blue, right?
No, he's more like really purple.
Oh,
where now
right.
he's more like the Hamburglar.
More
and
colorful.
Then, so they like toned him down a bit.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, so they didn't. I think they
maybe
didn't.
he just over the years lost some color.
People have said
as
that
he's
yeah.
aging.
He was sitting in shade or light, who knows? But yeah, they got him for Guardians because they needed someone to do speaking lines. But up until then, he was just a guy looking at her.
Yeah.
So.
Just ominous. Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree with Travis that to me there was a clear top 3 for this, and I feel like it's probably the same for Kirkland as well. Where there was just like
There's a
there
Mysterio
is that
realm.
god tier of characters who are just so well written, who create badass fight scenes, who have an iconic look, and I think have just a lot more layers to them than everyone else. So yeah, I agree that this to me, I didn't make a tier list. I only made a tier list for the movies, not for all these other lists, but this is definitely the top 3 for me as well.
They're all characters we'd
Yeah.
like to see return over. Like they don't get like unless they got bad, but what we've got them so far, we would watch them over. and over,
I will say though, for me, the order of the 3 was like immediate, like it was obvious to me from the start, and I don't. Obviously, it could change eventually if someone kicks these guys out, but I think the order for me is much more clear. For number 3 is going to be Killmonger for me. Just a really well done villain, right? He has a message that extends past his movie, past like these like squabbles that happen inside these movies. I think it was like really important, like as like a cultural thing. I think it extended like past the movie, right? But then also just as a character, really badass. Had really like a weird look with like the weird but iconic look with those
burn
bumps.
marks.
Yeah. But yeah, he's just such a fun character. He's badass. Works really well alongside Claw. He has like the charisma that like makes it feel like he could be the king of Wakanda, even though he has like some distorted viewpoints and goes a bit too far at times. But yeah, just such a well done villain.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right on. Yeah, you were correct. Our top 3 are all the same, but the order is not. So my number 3 is
Ooh.
Loki.
Oh, you're just skipping.
I think it
Taylor?
fits. I think it fits.
Me, right?
Whoa!
Jesus.
Yeah, Logo's in your top.
Freedom
So we
of
kicked you out.
speech just
We kicked
gone
you
in the
out.
Geekverse.
Well,
Let's
you
just
know?
talk about our top 3, and then you can do
Yeah,
your top
yeah,
Walls
three.
are up.
I think it needs to be said. The narrative, right? It's the narrative.
Yeah.
If you had fucking Loki in here, I think it would have
Yeah.
worked, but you don't.
He's
I got
a Loki or
excited. I'm
Killmonger.
sorry.
He might not even have Thanos.
I'm sorry, Taylor. I got excited. You
I
can go.
agree with
I could have
Crickle's
said
choice.
Killmonger as my third. You never know.
It's not. It's not.
He's not in your top.
No.
He's gonna switch it right now. He's gonna pull up his phone.
Black Panther's gonna be like 23.
Oh well. Keep it
I'm
going.
sorry, Taylor.
Keep it going.
What, flaming you or?
No. Keep going.
Yeah, don't-
Your little
I-
love
Killmonger,
triangle
you had
here.
Loki.
Yeah, no, I got Loki in there. I knew he was either gonna be like 2 or 3, maybe 1, but just like the things that we've gone through with this character, he's been kind of a good guy, definitely a bad guy, and just like so unpredictable in the middle. Like he's just all over the place. I love his look. I love his like old school helmet he gets.
Mhm.
Like I think
Yeah.
that's from the comics, right? With
Yeah,
the
oh,
big
yeah.
horns. Yeah.
Mhm.
I just think of him Marvel Ultimate Alliance because that's like the first time I saw it on there. But no,
Please
he,
be playable.
he's
Please
so
be playable.
great. Just Tom Hiddleston is just a great pick for him too. He's just great acting wise, and I don't want to go too into it because I kind of jumped Taylor there and I feel bad, and I'm sure you guys will talk more on it. So
Yeah.
number 3.
Am I going next?
Yeah.
My number 3? Okay. My number 3 is Vulture. I think he's definitely just... I've seen Homecoming so many times. He's just
Yeah.
mounted up to be one of
Dozens,
my...
you've said.
Dozens, yeah, literally. He's mounted up to be one of my favorite villains. I love his suit so much. I really, really like his...
the Glock 17 too. You
The
like?
Glock 17 specifically.
Taylor said we could all be in that position, which is I don't know what type of teen life you led, but
It was pretty crazy. But no, I just think he's a super cool villain. I'm glad out of all the villains, he's actually one that has not been killed off because, Feige sees plans with him. So
really, I'm not saying this because I know you kind of said that, but if every villain was killed, that would be the one you'd bring back.
if every villain was
yeah,
killed
let's
off
just say
and I
every
could
villain
only
ended
bring
with
one
them being
back,
killed. Yeah.
no, I would actually probably choose Mysterio
Okay, fair enough.
as the guy to come back.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I respect that.
That's
choice.
a big question. I would have to think about more, but off the top of my head, I think Mysterio could be that guy. Yeah.
I would need to dwell on it. Put it on simmer a bit. So
I think I would go Mysterio. Now that I've thought about it for 10 more seconds.
probably Killmonger for me.
Number
I think I'd wanna
2
bring
for
back.
me. Are you done there?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, my pick would be my number 1. Number 2 is Loki. This was very tough, and I'll do spoilers. This character means more to me than any of the villains in this list because he's the only character that appears in the characters list as well, because he kind of has some good guy moments. But where the reason and I'll start with the negative, then I'll talk about how good he is. The only reason that he is not number 1, because I love the performance by Tom Hiddleston. It's pitch perfect casting, like these guys have said. It's just he's the master of mischief. You never know the trickster god. You never know what he's gonna do. They play that up all the time in every movie, and he just has great moments with Thor. That brotherly relationship is fantastic, and the problem that I have with the villain aspect, and that's where we'll get into. We talk about the movies. I was really disappointed with what they did with him in Ragnarok. I loved the good guy stuff, and that's been all. And that's the other thing that's great is there's been times where he has been on that line back and forth, like when his mother does get killed, and Thor's like, I don't know if I can trust you. And he just goes, trust my rage. So you kind of go, oh, we could trust him this time. But even then, he pulls some trickster, and that's why I love that he is a villain. Same thing as kind of a Thanos and a Killmonger. This is a guy that's been lied to his entire life. He is doing everything right. He's doing everything perfectly to become the next king, but he's not chosen to be king, and he doesn't understand why. And he just takes as, well, my father just must not love me as much as Thor. And then there's this big reveal that he was adopted and lied, and the only reason he can't go the crown is because he's a different race and whatnot, or a different species. So there's just in that first, and I think he's been great in all of them, but honestly, that's why another reason why I love the first Thor. Thor is in that movie a lot, but that's really Loki's movie. It's his origin movie. I think they just set him up to be such a great villain. So even in Avengers, when he does this whole he's going to take over New York, it makes sense because he feels he was robbed of ruling his own people. And if you look at Thor and Thor 1 and Loki for sure should have been running because Thor is just this brute who does nothing. He's just like a jock. So it's just every character, every movie, if you look, he's changing. And a scene that I've always talked about, and I'll probably talk about quickly in characters, is when his mom does die and Thor goes to visit him, and he's all cool and nonchalant, and Thor's like, enough of your games. And when he takes away the vision, and he's just a wreck. He's covered in fruit and blood because he's been pounding at the walls. They just always have taken so much care of Loki in the MCU for the most part. And Ragnarok, I think it was just because I think Ragnarok and Captain Marvel sometimes suffer from some problems that they just had to get to. Infinity War and Endgame were so close that they just had to speed through some stuff. So I wish we got the good guy redemption arc a little bit slower than we did. But he's just, every time he's on screen, he's such a good foil. Whether he's with us, whether he's against us, whether he's in the middle, you just don't know. And I think that is writing, but it's also Tom Hiddleston. And there's a reason why he's going to be the first villain to get any movie or show, because people just love him. And I don't know what that show will be about. I'm very excited because, yeah, we did get his story completed, and I really love that. But I'm always down for more Loki. He's my second favorite Marvel villain, probably behind Magneto in the comics world. But yeah, love Loki number 2. But it was tough to put him there, but I did.
Not so tough for me. I'm gonna just follow in your shoes. Loki as well for me. You pretty much said everything you could, but it's just it's the writing, it's the acting, it's the fantastic look, and then it's just the fun effects that come along with that kind of character as he's always disappearing and there's making duplicates of himself and stuff.
He better be that game, man. I want it.
Oh,
I want
let's
it.
go.
I'm not going to say much more because you said it all. Loki number 2.
Loki number 2. Taylor, it's
Are we
your
going
go.
to-
I
Be
careful
don't want
here.
to. I know. I'm sorry.
Treading lightly.
3 Loki.
He
I
said
feel
he's
bad.
sorry, okay?
I know. I accept your apology, Kirkland.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you. Yeah, my number 2 is gonna be Thanos.
whoa.
Oh, whoa.
Now I'm trying to
Because
think.
now I know who number 1 is, and that's
Don't spoil it. I don't know. No spoilers.
Oh,
no
you-
hints.
My number 2, yeah, it's Thanos. I put him in number 2 because he was number 1, but I'm just riding off a lot of hype right now.
Taylor's a big
You are.
recency bias guy. You know?
Recency.
But
I don't know. He put Abomination number fucking 4. That's the
That's very not
least
recent.
of
Well, he
recency.
watches that movie every day.
Yeah,
though,
okay,
that's
true.
at
why.
least every day. It's good to have some variety in the Geekverse. You know, it spices things
That's
up a little
true.
bit.
That is true.
Geek
We would be a
Um,
boring podcast without you, Taylor. so.
But no, yeah, Thanos number 2. He's up there because I love Infinity War. We have this calm, collected. Thanos just believes his way is the right way, and then you got Endgame, which is totally different Thanos, a younger, more bolder one, you could say, and he's got a lot of aspirations, and it's very dangerous because he's
Sky-high
willing
version.
to the sky high version, yeah, coming of age, and he's just you don't know what he's gonna do except he's gonna do it. So it's just.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
that
yeah,
could be taken poorly.
you know what he's gonna do, but you don't know what he's gonna do to do it.
Sure.
So
sure.
yeah, no, he's just he's a wild card, and he's so dangerous in Endgame, and I love his army and everything, and he just gets so terrifyingly close to resetting the world into what he wants it to be, and yeah, it's crazy. So
Yeah. Cool. My number 2, Eric Killmonger.
Eric.
Absolutely love this villain. It's tough, like when you have to put a quality character like him not number 1 on your list. I mean, spoiler alert for Travis's pick.
You
But,
don't know that for sure, though. You know?
That is true. It could be.
I haven't talked about Aldrich Killian yet.
Yeah.
But no, I
Not
absolutely love this character. I was not expecting to fall in love with him as much as I did, going into this movie. It was just I feel like for a majority of this movie, he was the main character in my point of view. He's just his purpose is semi-justified. Yeah, he's doing it kind of on the extreme side of the spectrum, but I don't know. There's just reasonings behind the things that he's doing. He's a great look. I absolutely love the golden Black Panther suit. I think that's
Golden Jaguar.
It's
Yeah.
great.
what did I just say?
Black Panther.
Okay,
Just being a
yeah,
mean
no,
fanboy.
for sure. Yeah, but yeah, I actually it makes me think. I want to have that costume as the Black Panther character in Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
That'd be cool.
Let's
yeah.
get it. That'd be sweet.
That'd be sweet.
But yeah, you're gonna talk about him, so I'll just dish it off.
Dish it.
Number 1, gotta put in the Mandarin. Love the Mandarin. No, it's Killmonger for me. It's tough, and I think it's almost because you look at something like I just said with Loki, where there's a film that kind of hurt him. Killmonger's just in this perfect little bubble of he had this movie, he was a one and done. And I do think I understand 100% why he was killed off. I think it just works for that story. But when a villain or an actor or character makes you want to see much more of them, they've done their job. And I remember with Killmonger, I already talked about the scenes earlier. Just that initial scene told you everything about that character. He's so abrasive. He's so in your face about stuff, especially in this day and age that we talk about race all the time and past and present and what could be in the future. And he doesn't let anyone skirt by the issue.
Yeah.
And I love that they used such a real world issue for his plot, because even then with Thanos, I can't relate to being like, man, what if we killed half a clone? How are the resources, right? But I can. And like, I'll show him out. Like, I can relate to a friend, one of my best friends is Kyle, and I can relate to problems that he talks about to this character. Like, out of all, even that's, I mean, like the Joker, and that's why I've always compared him to the Dark Knight Joker. It's, you can understand Killmonger's reasoning more than any other supervillain ever, and it's also just double backed by a phenomenal performance. You never know. With Thanos, it is true, you don't know what he's going to do, but you still feel something coming. With Killmonger, there's just this chaos inside him, and when he kills people, he just... It's strange where you'll get scenes where he's crying with his dad, very emotional, but in the next scene, he's just a complete psychopath. And the fact that he pulls that off between the writing, the directing, and the acting is crazy. Because on paper, this character shouldn't work. There's juggling so much thing, the race issues, the power, and even then, just the death scene that he has with Black Panther. He chooses to take his own life. They just add so many layers to this character, and it's a thing that I remember even throughout, like, yeah, he's going to kill some people at the end, which, you know, is pretty bad. But for the majority of the movie, I'm like, I'm kind of on his side, you know, especially when you learn, similar to Loki, he was just left by, like, terrible origin. He was left in the streets of Harlem by himself. Nobody, like, no one there. Dead dad. Like, he has this whole legacy that's taken from him. So just it's just such a 3D dimensional character. It's crazy. So, yeah, Eric Killmonger is number one. It was tough. Those three, like I said, any day you could ask me no more, I might change it, but just phenomenal. And I'm still salty to get any acting award nominations. But you know what? He won a Golden Geek, so I was happy about that.
He won a Golden Geek, and that's not
what's
easy
more
to
important.
do. You got to earn that. My number one is pretty obvious at this point, but it is going to be Mad Titan himself, Mr. Thanos, the big purple guy that we all know and love. I mean, we've heard a couple people talk about him here, but he's just, like, as Travis brought up, like, just how early on he's, like, hinted at or teased, and the fact that, like, he comes onto the big screen and he actually, like, fulfills, like, all this hype that's been building up towards him is pretty amazing. But I think the reason he's number one for me above these other two is because of just the iconic dialogue. I think there's so many lines of his that just stand out in my brain, just the way they're delivered, just the weight that they have. Everything he says is so, like, well thought out and, like, well spoken, and it just makes it so interesting. But then you also just get, like, this great emotional backstory for him with the Gamora storyline. You find out, like, about, like, his how he does love something, but it still, like, is this distorted view, and how he feels, like, so similar but yet so different in so many ways. But then he also is just, like, this incredibly badass character when it comes to the fight scenes.
Oh yeah.
In Endgame, I gotta see that movie again, obviously, but it's fun to see a different version of him too than we just got in Infinity War. But yeah, I love Thanos so much, such a strong and powerful character. He's had such a great storyline, and obviously it's done now. He's a character that I feel like a lot of villains, like, you can always see them come back, and there's, like, a reason to. But Thanos, I think it just shows, like, how well done a character he is, that he's had a beginning, middle, and end, and we don't need any more. Like, it was the perfect storyline, and yeah, love Thanos.
Still got to throw down my hashtag Travis told you. Thanos and Steve Rogers will be back one day. Guaranteed.
Maybe.
I think Thanos is just so much money on the table. They're going to bring that purple guy back. Might be in 10 years from now.
There's a lot of big, like, Marvel characters. Like,
there is,
Doctor Doom, like a Galactus. Like, there's other big characters they could build up to eventually.
There is, but that
Yeah.
snap, you know, pulp culture, just...
Pulp culture.
He's coming back.
Yeah.
Just you wait.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't he too attached to the Infinity Saga though? Like, wouldn't they just kind of want
Those
to drift
stones
away
can come
from
back
that?
too. Like, it's just,
I'm
how
sure
many
he's
think
been
they'd
part
bring
of
the
many other storylines though in the comics.
He
Baby
has,
Thanos.
but the way I use for examples, like, you look at the Tesseract and Captain Marvel, how it just randomly popped up, and it's like, oh, this story's about the Tesseract. I think stones could come again, time travel.
But those
you
are
know.
all part of the Infinity Saga, though, right? So I mean,
Doesn't matter.
You can see them popping up
I'm not
in,
saying how. I'm just saying one day you will see him again.
interesting.
Yep.
Okay, my number one is Mysterio. I am just all about that hype right now for him. Just I think he was fantastic. I'm super choked that he is killed in this movie.
Yeah.
It's very disappointing. But I just think he was fantastic. I love that they threw him in as an actual former employee of Tony Stark. I love that he was just kind of ridiculed, and I love, like, what you guys were saying. Like, he's kind of like leading this kind of like cult almost feeling, like, group or whatever. And His suit is great, and I just love what he accomplished. I just think, just himself and 2 of his drones, just how he just managed to really screw over Peter Parker, and leading up to the point where he gets whacked by a train is just absolutely nuts. Because, I mean, it just goes to show, like, he could do that to anyone except Doctor Strange. I'm convinced Doctor Strange is the only, he's the kryptonite to Mysterio. So
I'd be down for that movie.
Yeah, 100%.
It'd be a quick movie.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, that's my number 1.
Cool. My number 1, big purple booty daddy.
Yeah.
Thanos. Yeah, this character, I feel like leading up to it, other than like his quick little cameos that we got, like the end credit scene, the end credit scenes, I just didn't know much about this character, and for him to just become like one of my favorite characters, not just villains, like one of my favorite characters of all time. It's just crazy. Like his look, I'm so glad they fixed it because he was looking a little outdated back in like those first end credit scenes. But no, Josh Brolin's like voice too is just like perfect pairing for it, I feel, and his dialogue, like what Dylan said, it's just so like it just sticks with you, and it's just like there's so many like quotable moments I feel like you could take from that movie, and there's just so many like good things. Yeah, he's like a big menacing titan that could probably like he fucked up the Hulk, just like straight physicality, like I don't even think he had 1 stone at that time.
No, he didn't use it. That's
he
what
didn't have his
director
glove.
said. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
so
he had it, but the director said he didn't use the stone. So
was he wearing a glove though?
He was, but he beat
Okay.
Hulk hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, just fucking man mode him.
Not
Like
easy to
just
do.
crazy. Like you take all that out, and he's just like a very like smart individual. He's very like well thought on all of his plans
He's a
and everything.
tactician,
Yeah, exactly. He's just so crazy. And then there definitely was like a switch going from Infinity War to Endgame, just like the different Thanos that we see. Maybe it's just because it's like a younger version of Thanos, but it's just I like both versions like in their own right, and it's just what a phenomenal character. Like that'll stick with me till my end days, till my end game. So,
Ayo.
but
To
yeah,
your end game.
Thanos number 1.
Thanos.
Dylan, you want to kick us off with your 15 and your honorable mentions? We're moving into top characters now.
For this, we
of
did
the
a top
MCU.
15 because there's just so many characters. I made a top 10. I was like, I'm not satisfied. I immediately messaged the boys, can we do 15, guys? Please. I need this.
I'll allow it.
Let's see. So, some honorable mentions. I'm going to put Nick Fury up there. He deserves a shout out. Not quite enough because I think it just hurts if he doesn't have a movie or it's really focused on him. It's really been the year of Nick Fury though. He's popped up a lot in the last few movies we've seen. So that's nice. Curious to see what he's doing in the future with that potential sword stuff out in space. The other shout out I have for honorable mention is for Shuri. I think I could see with another Black Panther 2, when that comes out, I think I could easily see her jumping into this list at that point in time. But for right now, I just need a little bit more to chew off before I can put her in that top 15 slot. There's so many. I'm not going to show any more honorable mentions. Number 15. This was my, I think I have a very solid top 14, but this 15 slot, honestly, it could have been those other 2 I mentioned. Could have been other characters. But as of today, it's going to be an unexpected character. It's going to be Rocket Raccoon. I never thought a raccoon would be somewhere in my top 15 of MCU characters, but he's just been such a fun character, such a weird character. I think it's impossible to really put him on this list without Groot, but it's kind of a cheat answer. It's kind of 2 characters in one, but I think the reason he's up here is because what it started out as like just a simple sassy character has shown that he actually has like emotional value to him as well. We've seen that in Guardians 2 as well as End Game and Infinity War. He really gets like a lot more dive into that character, and he's a lot of fun. I would not have expected like pre Infinity War that who's not going to get snapped, right? You would have think, they're going to keep Peter Quill around. He's going to be the one who hangs out for Endgame, but it was actually Raccoon, and they made it work.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
My number 15, right off the hop, is Korg. I think he's just super cool. I love him in Endgame reprising his role, and I just thought his introduction was fantastic. Like his simple, hey man, I'm gonna hop on a ship, welcome. It's just super chill. He doesn't have anything pissing him off. He's playing Fortnite all day. It's just great. And I will shout out Meek as well. Piggybacking with him there. So
We need a Rocket, Groot, Meek, Korg movie.
That would be something.
That would
else.
be very fun, actually.
Yeah.
And quick question: it's Taika that
Taika
does the voice.
Waititi
Yeah.
does Korg.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay, that's what I thought. My number 15. is the raccoon.
Hey,
Rocket. Let's
nice.
go. Very similar to Dylan. Also, just quick backstory for those that don't know. First time I watched Guardians, I wasn't a fan of it, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know
1
why.
out of 10.
I just didn't. Yeah, like probably. Maybe 2. Let's not go that far.
Holy shit.
But yeah, no, it was weird. I was just, for some reason, I remember like looking back on the film. Like I didn't see it in theaters, so maybe that was it. It was
Uh-huh.
just, maybe I was watching it late at night and kind of missed some things. But I don't know. I just didn't understand why everyone was just so like, just falling in love with all these characters. But since then, I have seen these 2 movies now a few times and just grown to love like all the characters, but specifically Rocket, especially like Dylan said, like these last 2 Avengers movies. I feel like he's just gone through such like changes. And before, like what you said, he just was kind of like a comedic relief character. Like he had just, I don't know, it's like vulgar comments he would say every once in a while. But like when you see like the emotion that he went through in like End Game, the little like back and forth he has like with Nebula as like the last like Guardians kind of that are like remaining. It's just, I don't know. He just went through a change, and for some reason, I just fell in love with him more. So yeah, he's number 15.
I had that effect with Drax, or the first time I saw it, I didn't care for him, but I've grown to love him as well.
Same thing, but I think it was for all the characters because for whatever reason, I didn't like that movie the first time I watched it.
Crazy.
Honorable mention, I got Nick Fury. Obvious reasons. He's been in a lot. I think we got the biggest shine of him in Captain Marvel. But he's just always there, but never good enough to be a great character, in my opinion. And plus, even the comics, he's never one of my... He's just supposed to be kind of a guy to lead the
What
adventure.
about Nanite Nick Fury?
Sure as well. Same
Ignored.
thing. Yeah, same thing. Could be top 15 or in the future. I think right now she's just kind of comedic relief, but I think we could get some more emotional beats from her in the future. Talos. I love Talos. We've only seen him this year, been introduced to him, but every time he's on screen, I'm loving all his stuff. So if we do this at the end of Phase 4 again, there's a chance Talos could sneak us into top 15 because he's just so funny and such a fun twist they took with him. And then this one hurt me, but I couldn't clue her was Wasp. She just almost about made it, but I just don't think there was enough development for her, and there's just other characters that I like more. And I just kind of went with it too as far as these 15 of I've either seen lots of movies or these bottom 6 are kind of lower characters that haven't been developed much. And I go, who would I want to see the movie most of? I love Wasp. I want her to be in the Avengers, but there's just a few more characters I put above her. So it was close. She would almost be in the top 15, but had to get a bump for Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is number 15 because love that character. Love the actress. Elizabeth Olsen's great. I just feel we still have not got enough from her. I think we're going to get that with the Vision and the WandaVision show. But I liked her setup in Ultron. Really liked what they did with her in Civil War. And Infinity War was a big standout for her. I love the love relationship with Vision. Not even the comic bias, just what they did there. That scene when Vision gets killed is heartbreaking. She just sold that like $1 million. I'm excited to see her adventures. And even in an Endgame, she has one of the best lines of just like, you know, like, do you know who I am? And then Thanos, I don't know. I don't even know you. You will. And just like, she's scary. She has heart. It's I hope they expand that character more. So that's why she's 15, because I feel they could do some more with her. But number 15.
It's a good pick. Number 14 for me is going to be the one and only Wasp, as you just mentioned. Yeah, even just hot off watching Ant-Man and the Wasp again, like I really, really love that character. She's a lot of fun between like the cool special effects that, I mean, Ant-Man movies just bring inherently, but you know, she's great at like those action shots as well. But then also just like seeing, I guess she like you really get more layers to that character in the second movie. Obviously, I mean, she's in the title in that one, but just seeing this dynamic with her mother and the fact that she might still be alive, and then just like wanting nothing else in the world but to find that and bring her back. It's such a fun story to see. I think like above all other characters, like I really, really want her to join the Avengers next. I want to see her more in those like crossovers and just see what that character would be like. See those like action scenes with her in there as well. So I'm pretty hyped on that character, and I'm excited to see what they do next with her. Whether it's, you know, Ant-Man and Wasp number 2 or Ant-Man 3. I don't know.
I think either Ant-Man and Wasp and then like a subtitle.
Yeah.
Like
either way, I hope she becomes, you know, one of the Avengers at some point. Because I think she's actually one of the original Avengers, as far as I know, like in the comics and stuff.
She's not
like Ant-Man and Wasp, aren't they original?
She's one of the first few. The original was Hank Pym, so she kind of has that ties. But she was in some of the first rosters.
Yeah, not this Wasp. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also excited to play her in Ultimate Alliance. She looks really fun.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In Ultimate Alliance, do we know? Very quick sidetrack. Do we know which Wasp it is?
I
it
believe
Janet
it's
or Hope?
I believe it's Hope.
Okay,
I believe.
good to know.
Yeah.
My number 14 is Gamora. I think
Nice.
she is super badass. I loved her in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I am glad that she is not permanently killed in the MCU, and I'm glad they brought her back. Yeah, I think she's just a super cool character. I love her kind of dynamic with Nebula. I loved her kind of the build-up relationship stuff that she had with Thanos, especially in Infinity War. They kind of highlighted a bit more into that, which was super cool. But yeah, she's a cool character. She's insanely badass, and I'm really excited to see her story and what they're going to do with her in Guardians 3 or Thor 4 or whatever they're going to play that out with.
No idea
So,
now, actually.
Yeah.
Cool.
14.
Thank you. My number 14 is Hawkeye.
You all right? Why were you expecting us to... You had a strange look over there, Kirkland.
Because I was ill prepared.
No.
I felt like my turn just kind of snuck up on me, and I kind of forgot who my 14 was. But yeah, no, Hawkeye. He probably wouldn't have even been on my list if it wasn't for Endgame. It was one of those characters. He was all right. I just wasn't biggest Hawkeye fan, but just like the dynamic that he threw in there, like with his family and like the emotional ties to it, is just I ate that up and I loved it. And he's got some cool gadgets. So.
Cool gadgets
Yeah.
for sure.
14, the newly introducing listener review if you want tons more, but Captain Marvel, she made the list. I just fell in love with the character right away. I loved that movie. I think I gave it like a 9 out of 10. I have some problems with it, but none of them were with her and her journey as far as her character, and that's it. I just love that character. I was, that was the trash totally. So before I did that hashtag, for the one they were like, "Oh, we're doing Captain Marvel," I was like, "Oh, Brie Larson has to get it." And when she did, I was very excited. I was very happy with what she did. I'm just excited to see more. She just brings something a little bit different. She is cocky, but not in the same way as Tony Stark is. She's not like that arrogant cocky. She's very confident. But yeah, I'm excited to see more of her adventures. I'm excited to see her probably lead the Avengers for the next few years. So
Nice.
yeah, I am a big fan. So number 14.
Number 13 for me is going to be kind of two characters. One, Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. This one might be a bit lower. I'm curious where you guys are going to have him on your list. I think for me, like I'm going to exclude Incredible Hulk, right? Because to me, that's like it's so weird that the recast there, like for such a main character, it really makes me feel like disconnected from that movie. Like I see them as like two separate characters. So I think that's one of the reasons he gets brought down a bit, is because like that technically is part of the Hulk, and I really don't like that movie. But the thing is, I think everything with Ruffalo's Hulk, I think I like every scene that he's in, but I feel like there's sometimes where we don't get to see all that development. Like there's a big change that happens in Endgame for the character, right? When he essentially like finds that balance between him and Hulk and is like the Professor Hulk storyline. Like we don't really get to see that. It kind of is just explained away in one line. And I feel like that's a lot of the character, is some of his development is either quick or like we just don't get to see it. With that being said, every scene he has, I really like. I think he's a really fun character to see. Sorry about that. See the Brainiac stuff between him and Stark as they're just theory crapping on things. To see, the Ragnarok version where he's just like super cocky and just kind of a dick generally. And then just to see him like team up with the rest of them as the regular kind of guy who's just trying to find that balance between him and Hulk is really fun. Another character as well that I'm really curious, like what his next stepping stone is. Like, is he part of the Avengers? Yeah. Is he just like in those movies as more of a mentor role? Is he, I don't know, when like the rights become active again and they can make another solo movie?
They can't.
Ever?
Well, they could, but
like
they'd have to
right?
pay, there's no contract. They have to pay a lot of money to get it.
Okay, so I don't know.
It's an indefinite, just like
right.
They either got to keep putting them in these team ups or they got to pay Universal a lot of money, and it would have to be like a lot of money because why would they give that up, right? So
yeah.
I don't think we'll ever see a solo Hulk. We might not even see a solo Hulk in our lifetime, to be honest, or we won't be till we're seniors. I really think so.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that kind of sucks, but. I don't know. Either way, I like everything about that character so far.
I wonder, and I wanted this answered, I wonder how TV shows work in that contract, because it's a distribution deal, which means if they put out a movie, Universal gets to put that movie out and get some income. But I would think they might have a loophole with the TV show.
Like a Disney Plus show or something?
Yeah, so I think there's a chance, because you don't have to distribute a TV show. So I wouldn't be surprised in the next few years if we get I don't know. Well, actually, I would honestly take a half-an-hour comedy Professional Hulk. If it was we're just doing a comedy of Bruce Banner, like trying to get back into life after Endgame, I'm down. Number 13, Taylor.
Number 13. I'm gonna go with Drax. I really, really like him as a character. I think he's hilarious. I put him over Gamora just because I really enjoy his storyline is very much, black and white. His parents were killed, and he just kind of shifts the blame onto the next person.
Wasn't it his like
It
family
was
and
his
daughter?
family, not his parents.
Oh yeah, not his parents.
You can't blame that's how most superhero storylines are.
the orphan
So,
route.
Yeah, I can't blame you.
Batman's trying to recruit him. Hey, I got this mansion. You put
Yeah.
on these tights.
So yeah, I like how he just kind of shifts it from originally it was Ronan, and then he just shifts it over to Thanos. I actually don't really know who is responsible for killing his.
No one
Yeah,
cares.
they kind of gave up on that storyline, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know?
But he's great. I love his sense of humor. His sense of humor really, really speaks to me. It speaks volumes. I'm just really big on that moment of you can't see me, I'm nearly invisible kind of stuff. And yeah, Drax.
Why would I?
Nothing goes over my head.
Why would I rub my finger across his throat?
All right, my number 13 is Yondu.
Yondu.
I did some thinking on this one, and that character, he's just grown a lot on me from Volume 2. It just, I don't know. It might just be like his death scene and how it kind of caught me off guard how emotional I was watching it. I was like, wow, I really like this character, and he was just, I don't know, coming from the first one, he's kind of just a dick, and he's not the villain, but he's. What would you label him as?
Anti-hero.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Yeah. So, but in Volume 2, he's definitely helps everyone out, and
Mary Poppins.
that hair is so sick, and I love his little weapon he uses.
Yeah.
The whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that just what it's called?
I think there's some combo jumbo name.
But yeah,
Big
I love
nerd.
it, and that actor, I really like him because coming from the first one, I really like the actor playing the role just because oh man, he does the dick role so well, but this one is just wow. He's my daddy.
Number 13 for me is my nipples hurt. Rocket. Rocket. I love the humor, but really I love the heart they give this character. I love the back and forth him and Star-Lord have. But yeah, it's the heart that they give him. Just little moments. He could easily be fun comedic relief, but even in Guardians 1 when Drax calls him Rodin and they get this big stare down and he's crying in the bar I don't know what I am, I didn't want this. So yeah, he's such a good character. Wouldn't think he'd be on there, but and all his interactions are always good with whoever it is, whether it's with the Guardians in Endgame. Some of the back and forth he had with Tony was great, just you're not the only scientist. He's just such a good character. So Rocket at 13.
Nice. What are we at? We're at number 12. This one, I feel like I might be the only person who has this character on my list. I'm going to put Nebula up here.
Ooh.
The blue android. I've always liked this character from the beginning. Even in Guardians 1, she's pretty simple. She's just a really mean-spirited kind of evil lady. But she really gets developed quite a bit in Volume 2. Becomes kind of part of the team. Kind of reconciles that relationship with Gamora quite a bit more.
From Mortal Kombat with the 6 arms, I'm Gore.
And then I think I was just surprised at how much I loved the interactions between her and the rest of the characters in
Endgame.
In Endgame and in Infinity War, I guess even a bit in there as well. But yeah, that the sequences with her and Tony at the beginning of Endgame are really intense, really emotional. And then even the scene with her and Rocket is just also really pulls on the heartstrings. So for a character who started out quite one-dimensional, I think it's just awesome to see how much she's grown and how many more layers she has to her now, and how she's really a character with emotional depth. But I just really like that actress as well, and I love the look of Nebula, just the blue android. She's great.
Mm-hmm.
Excited to see her in the future.
I'm really disappointed. I was really hoping there might be a slot for her in Ultimate Alliance. I would have thought she'd be a good playable character.
At least she's boss. We get to fight her. At least
I
she's
know.
in the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So future.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4. Put her in.
What are we on?
13.
12.
12. Okay.
That's what I said.
God.
Yes, you did. I'm gonna go and put down
Valkyrie.
I think she is.
Whoa.
I'm surprised by that.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised too.
I really, really, really enjoyed her character in Thor Ragnarok.
I thought you were gonna say Men in Black there.
Men in Black.
Is your list
crossed my
only
mind.
Ragnarok and Guardians so far? I think it is.
Yeah, it is
Korg,
too.
2 Guardians.
It's a good fat.
Yeah.
I like
Honorable
fun fact.
mention for her. Good shot. out there.
Yeah, she's so fantastic, and I loved her comeback in Endgame. I was
Yeah.
wondering okay, what happened to her in Infinity War? I hope nothing bad. And sure enough, her flying around with Peter Parker in tow with the Infinity
So
Gauntlet.
good.
Just
So good.
so awesome. I loved her. Yeah, just on a Pegasus. Just like the flashbacks from Ragnarok.
Pretty
was sick.
majestic, yeah.
Very majestic.
Very majestic.
So I think her development as a character has really come a long way, and I'm really happy she's leading New Asgard now.
Queen
so.
of Asgard.
Queen of Asgard,
Yeah.
yeah, super
Yeah.
cool.
I'm super curious what they do with that character. That's like one of the biggest question marks I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident it'll go well because she's just a really great actress, and like her in
Yeah.
that role, it's just
I just
I'm
mean
excited
like,
to see more.
like what like obviously it'll be the next Thor movie,
Yeah.
but I'm just wondering like what the storyline will be.
Will she though, or could she be doing something on her own?
What do you mean on her own, like a solo
A
movie?
Force or a team up movie.
Mm.
I could see them spinning her off into something else. Like
The
Yeah.
Revengers.
Thunderbolts.
what?
The Revengers.
The Avengers. Yeah, but
That's the thing, right? Like she could go in so many different directions.
she's on Earth.
She's
right
on
now.
Earth, yeah.
Well, I guess she's been on Earth for 5 years, so that'd be nice to hear. So
Oh yeah, I wonder how that place is doing.
Yeah.
yeah, so there's lots. I think she will pop in Thor 4 first, but I wouldn't be surprised in the future if she starts getting her own stuff, kind of like how Falcon's gonna get his own stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
My number 12 is Bruce Banner /
Nice.
the Hulk. Yeah, this character, I don't know. I felt like growing up I wasn't the biggest like Hulk fan, and then like those two Hulk films. So there's the one that's tied to the MCU, and then
Yeah.
the one before that. I don't know. I feel like it just didn't help like my feeling towards the character itself. But like in Avengers, it's more of the same. So like I didn't have like I don't know like sentimental attachment to the Hulk himself. But I feel like the more I've seen of just like Mark Ruffalo as like Bruce Banner, I've just grown to like that character more and more. And I know Travis isn't the biggest fan of, or maybe I should rephrase that. You prefer the old school Hulk over the Professor Hulk, but for me, I just absolutely love it. Probably because I'm just seeing like Mark Ruffalo, like big and green.
That's a
And it's
very.
just-
I gotta get into that. It's a very leveled statement you put in there because that's.
yeah.
I don't know. There's some weight to that. I don't know if
Okay.
that's entirely.
That's an after
true.
9. We'll go
I
into
don't
that.
know. No, that's gonna get into when I get to Hulk.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
snap.
Spoiler alert, it's on
Yeah,
your list.
seriously, wow.
But yeah, no. What number are we even on? He's number 12 on
12.
the list. There you go. I love him.
So Dylan, you're not alone because number 12 is Nebula as well for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's go, Nebula.
I liked her enough
Let's
in
go.
Guardians 1. Guardians 2 was. That's the movie that made me care about her. And then it's also, you look at Infinity War, you kind of have, it's like Thanos and Thor's movie. Endgame, you could argue, you got Cap, you got Tony. Third place would be, I think it would be Nebula's movie. She is a main
Yeah.
character in that movie. It's really about her and her journey with Gamora, with Thanos. Just did such a good job. And I always thought she was for sure going to die. I'm so glad she didn't because now with them tracking down Gamora. But you talk about a character that's changed quite a bit. Just a full-on, not even just from like, I'm not a big fan. Just like she's just a full-on villain, wants to kill her sister. And the second one, she still has that left over, but she sees that she's just becoming this monster. And then even then, she can finally talk to Gamora of why she feels this way. And then in Infinity War and Endgame, she just feels like she's trying to make up for sins she's committed. She's done all this bad stuff and she knows it. So she's just trying so hard to track down Thanos, to get Thanos. And she's very cool character. Loved. We got double Gamora in Endgame, or double Gamora, or fuck
Oh
off,
my
Travis.
God.
Double Gamora, daily double.
Nebulos.
Double Nebula in Endgame, and it worked. I think that was the perfection as showing her journey because one, great job by the actress to portray such different characters in the same movie, but you saw exactly where she was in that Guardians time frame to Endgame, and she's changed so much. So yeah, number 12. So I'm excited to see where
Nice.
she goes.
Me too. We're almost to the top 10, not quite there. Someone who was aiming hard for top 10 but missed for the first time in his life, Hawkeye, is going to be number 11. I really like Hawkeye. I've always have. I think once again he suffers a little bit from the Bruce Banner thing where there's like some big development that happens from Infinity War to Endgame, but we don't get to see that unfortunately. So I'm excited for his show. I think that'll dive. I don't know if it'll dive into that timeline, but I'm excited to see more of that character because some people don't like the stuff in Avengers 2 where they go to his family's farm and just kind of chill there. But I love that stuff because it just dives into his character and you get to understand his perspective and why he doesn't want to show up to all the other bullshit that's going on in the rest of these Avengers movies. But he's always been just a really fun character. I love the dynamic between him and Black Widow as well. It's a really, really good storyline there. And he's just a unique member of the Avengers, I guess him and Black Widow both, because they're not super OP, right? And they have to use their powers well. They have to be careful. And even to see him as a pseudo, like I guess a Winter Soldier type of villain in Avengers 1 was kind of fun as well when he was mind washed by the great Loki. So
Yeah.
I love Hawkeye. Big fan.
My number 11 is going to be the Hulk. I think he was definitely an interesting character in Avengers End Game when they kind of spliced the two together. A lot of funny sequences that happened with him with that. But I personally like the get angry Hulk from like the first Avengers a little bit more than what they did now, especially like Ragnarok Hulk. I really like that where he kind of like just took over, and I love the two kind of like not fighting for dominance, but like the kind of banter they have, you know, with each other, and that's why I like Thor Ragnarok kind of because Bruce Banner he had such like little control.
I'm like a smoldering fire, and you're like
Yeah.
a little.
It's so good, so good. So yeah.
Cool. My number 11 is Nebula.
Oh, he
yeah.
upped us.
Yeah,
I'm happy by all this Nebula love.
yeah, me too, actually.
Mhm.
So when you said,
Taylor, you gonna continue it later?
I think he's no, he has one more
Top
guardian,
dog man
and
out.
it's not
Oof.
her.
He's gonna Loki her.
but yeah, no. Unlike what Travis said, I wasn't the biggest fan of her the first time we saw her. I don't know. It was probably just like a little too extreme for me. Just very, very angry and like didn't really understand her motivations. She was just
Rage monster.
yeah, exactly. But no, like seeing her transition through just her movies, specifically in Endgame when she's just in it a lot. Like just the stuff that we get to see with her and Tony, her and Rocket, just like the dynamics that she has with like the different characters. Don Cheadle, blanking what his
War
Rhodes.
Machine,
Yeah,
James
there you go. I was
Rhodes.
aiming for his real name. But yeah, we just get to see like a lot more of like a human Nebula, even though that's not technically what she is. She's a little more cyborg, but and then getting to see the double Nebula, that was really cool too, because like what Travis said, you get to see her like in the beginning and then her character change because they are just so different. So
Yeah,
and
well
then
said.
shouts out on her for doing like the two different actings because it's
And wearing that fucking makeup.
no kidding. Yeah.
She shaved her head for the first movie as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Wow.
And she
Yeah.
grew it back for.
Yeah, I think they were like, we have a
Jumanji.
way to do this
Jumanji, yeah.
without you having to shave your head.
She's
like,
great
okay.
in Jumanji as well.
She is
Nebula.
great in Jumanji.
But yeah, it was a big moment at Comic Con. She wore a wig to Comic Con, but she didn't tell anybody. And mid panel, she took it
Oh.
off, and it was really cool.
That is cool. Shouts
Yeah.
out to her.
Yeah,
Dedicated actress.
almost my
she's gonna
top
be a
10.
big star. She's gonna be a big star. Yeah.
Also in your favorite movie, The Circle. Do you remember her character in that
Oh
movie?
God, I fucking
Uh,
I forgot it till now, Dylan.
So this one was tough. If you listen to our rankings about a
She's
few,
good
I
in
think it
that
was
movie.
2 years ago now. There's a lot of characters missing from the top 10, and a lot of that shifted after Endgame. And this is a guy that dropped out of the top 10. It hurts me so much, but I got to put Drax the Destroyer
Ooh.
at number 11. The reason I say it because maybe it is because I wish they gave him a moment with Thanos or something, because that's how we meet him, right? He's lost his
Yeah.
family, and they do just kind of drop him. I'm not sure if that was some tweet business going on.
A lot
That,
of tweets.
but like, and I honestly don't think that was. I think it's just because Gunn was brought back. Now it's been revealed way longer before Endgame came out. So I think that's the only disappointment I have with them. That's why I didn't crack the top 10. But as far as humor, I legitimately think I could say 100% of his humor hits with me in all the movies. It's just, I love that type of humor, whether it is and it is different. He gets a bit more kind of potty humor in the further movies, but even the kind of, things always going over his head, just being this, what would be the word I'm looking for to describe his humor, as far his naive humor and misunderstanding things. And then I also love him. He's just this bullheadish guy, especially in Guardians 1, who just wants to fight. He brings Ronan to him. So yeah, I love Drax so much. It really hurt me, but I just couldn't put him in the top 10 because Endgame changed a lot of things for me and a lot of characters. So yeah, number 11. Sorry, man.
Nice.
Sorry, Batista. I love you.
Not enough, clearly. You know who I love? I love all these characters in my top 10. I love all in the top 15, I'm going to be honest. But
I can make it 25 and love them. I love
Yeah.
a lot of characters.
there's a lot of great characters in these movies. That's why we had to do a top 15, right? But we're dropping to the top 10 now. This is where it gets real.
That's right.
And my first real pick is going to be Black Panther. A character that I think will definitely climb up the ranks with like each subsequent movie he's in. His introduction in Civil War that movie's crazy how like many characters it balances, but also introduces like Spidey and Black Panther. It's an interesting story in that movie because he's pretty quiet and like reserved in that movie. You don't really get a lot, but you just get that badass look, which is just iconic. I love his costume so much, and that's like the first time I really had any experience of Black Panther the character. Like I can't really think of another time. Like maybe Ultimate Alliance.
That's about it. Yeah.
Which we would have played before. Yeah. So I had just a tiny bit of knowledge of him. But then, you get to dive more into his character in his movie, and he still is like a reserved, more calm character, whereas I think a lot of like your Tony Starks and stuff are really like over the top and I don't know, just really intense characters like personally, but he's always a bit more calm and reserved. So I think that's why it'll take a bit more time for him to climb up that rank in my list. But yeah, I think he's such a fun character to see, and I am excited for Black Panther 2, and I'm curious if he'll show up more in like Avengers movies and whatnot.
I think he has to be in it. I
think he's an established Avenger at this point.
Yeah, it has to be. He's He's the biggest North American movie ever.
I forgot about that.
He's huge. So I think if people you don't think Captain Marvel, Black Panther is gonna be Avengers, look out, they're coming. So sorry, Taylor.
Actually, my number 10 is Black Panther as well.
Nice.
I think I'm very excited to see kind of where they go with him, because he was definitely like a major highlight for me in Infinity War, and a major highlight again in End Game. He brought the troops.
In End Game. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he
brought the troops.
No. Like he
I was surprised they snapped him off for sure.
I think they did. I've always had that in mind, that they did not know how big Black Panther that movie was going to actually be. I think if they retroactively said it's going to be your biggest North American movie ever, yeah, we'll find a spot.
He would have done the snap.
We'll we'll switch Hawkeye for we'll switch Black Widow for him. Like I think that's why. And the other, like I said before, but I think that's the main reason why. Back to our joke, he's the first one that comes to the portal, and there's just like a full-on 30-second zoom in on T'Challa, just kind of letting you know like he's gonna be your next Steve Rogers,
right.
So
I guess that's true. I mean, I just take it as you lose a lot of these really like heavy characters that we really start to get attached to in Infinity War, and he was definitely a character that people really get attached to. And when you see him gone, it's like, oh my god, like that was Black Panther, but.
It was
Black Panther.
Oh, wait, was that him?
But when he comes back in Endgame, it's just great, because I think over the years that passed, I think he definitely developed a really good relationship with Captain America. So I think
what you mean in Infinity War?
I guess in Infinity War,
Endgame, he was just floating around the Soul Stone.
They had a good time for those 5 years. No, but
Steve.
Yeah, I think they had a good relationship build, and I just think he's a really cool character. I've come to really like him since his debut in Civil War, and I'm very excited to see where they go with him. I definitely want to see more of him. So yeah,
cool. My number 10. I almost swapped this for my number 9. Actually, like in the heat of the moment. That's why I just stuttered.
I just actually rearranged mine a little bit. To be honest,
I just deleted all mine. Nice.
Oh, damn.
But my number 10 is Drax the Destroyer. Following, I just love people with titles. Clearly, Ronan the Accuser. But no, just same thing Travis said. I think basically every single like part of his humor just hits for me. Like anything that he said. Like I think retroactively. Like looking back on it, if they did do the change of what I kind of wanted in the first place, whereas when he first comes out of the portal, like in game, I wanted him to just yell Thanos, like exactly what he did in like Infinity War. I just thought it'd be great, but like retroactively, I feel like it kind of takes away from like how intense that moment is. I don't know if there's a comedic way
for that moment.
yeah, exactly. But no, I love his super just naive humor, like you mentioned, just not being aware of what's going on. His just ridiculous things like, oh, you can't see me because I'm so still. And he like just eating his chip. It's just so good. And yeah, it just hits home for me. Batista was excellent as him.
Excellent. Why Gamora? Number 10, Black Panther. T'Challa coming in with those 3 or those 2 over there. Sorry, Kirkland, not part 3.
That's right.
Yeah, this character, I think they did such a good job in Civil War distinguishing him being different. I always say the best example is when Hawkeye shoots the arrow at him and it explodes, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Clint," and he goes, "I don't care." And that to me set the tone for. It's almost like Killmonger. It's when they both get that tone-setting moment of you just know. And even then, his father dies. He doesn't quip a single time in Civil War. And then when he is more happier, a little jovial, and he does quip, if you notice in Black Panther, it's only with people he knows, his family, his sister, his former lover. Like even in. even in Infinity War, I don't think there's any of that with any characters that aren't in his close tribe, and that's why I like it. It's a way to show that unless you're close to him, you don't really get to see the full T'Challa. He just has this gauge up, and that movie, well, you're going to talk about a little bit, he just did such a good job leading that movie. I love the power scene, probably the astral plane when he comes back and he has to kind of put down his father and tell him he was wrong. And I think it's just because the Chadwick Boseman is just a very talented actor, and I think I'm still so surprised he's like in his mid 40s, and
Yeah,
Really?
That's actually crazy.
yeah,
Holy
yeah.
crap,
He looks
I didn't
so
know that.
young.
He
you know?
looks very
Black
young,
don't
yeah.
crack, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
but
right.
I'm very excited. It's one of these things where it sucks that Steve won't be around, Tony won't be around, but it's just when I know, okay, if he's gonna be in Avengers, some of these crossovers, they're just finding great actors and good characters to replace these other ones, and I can't wait to see him interact. I can't wait to see him lead. I can't wait to see Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
I just think there's so many possibilities, and with an actor like Chadwick Boseman, I think they got they got a good path ahead of them.
Mhm.
So
Definitely.
number 9.
Number 9 for me is going to be Captain America, which probably, I mean, I'm guessing all of you have him on your list. I know Travis probably has him in like number 1 slot or something, but I'm guessing you guys have him on your list.
I can't judge by the shirt.
And I'm definitely a bit lower on it. I love Cap. I mean, like I said, I love all these characters. He has so many iconic scenes. The scene, as I mentioned already, my top 5 with him against Tony in Civil War. Even just like him leading that whole side of the Civil War in Endgame when he picks up Mjolnir and is just fucking things up. He has so many iconic scenes. He's a fantastic character. I think the reason he's a little bit lower is because I don't really care much for the first Avenger, the movie, and even Captain America 2, which is a lot of people really put it high. For me, it's not a very memorable movie, and I think maybe like part of it is because him as a character. It took a while for me to really get attached to that character, and yeah, in the first 2 movies, I just didn't really care a whole lot. So that's why he falls a bit lower than the people above him on this list.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
My number 9 is going to be the one and only Ant-Man. I guess the one of 2 only Ant-Man.
Yeah, you're right.
Not the only.
Not the only.
Is he the highest Ant-Man on your list?
Yeah.
That's
Shout
good.
out to
That's
Hank
good.
Pym for
Yeah.
honorable mention as well. I love Michael
Yeah,
Douglas.
true.
Good honorable
Yeah.
mention.
Good
yeah.
shout out.
And I think Paul Rudd just delivers his role so well. He's absolutely fantastic. I love him, and all the roles that he's done throughout all of these Marvel movies, especially in Endgame. I love how he's kind of like the hero. He's the savior who literally saves the day.
It's his idea.
It's his idea, yeah. So easily
Time
number 9
heist.
slot. Time
Cool.
heist, yeah.
It's funny. You looked at me when you said that. I feel like Taylor's might be peeking at my list because my number 9 is also Scott
Are you
Lang.
copying Kirkland?
man.
You better get in my house if that's
Yeah, this
Time
character, his humor is just so great, but I feel like he really just like solidified himself in my top 10 because of like the emotional stuff that I saw, like in Endgame when he sees, forget her name now, his daughter.
Is it Katie?
Her last name is Lang.
Well,
I can help you
I'll
out that
look.
much.
I'll look, but I think
Okay,
it's,
I should know. I watched this movie a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
My bad.
I think it's Katie.
I thought it was like,
Oh my God.
I
They
didn't think
wouldn't
it-
have heard that, so
I
you
don't
didn't
think
have
it
to
was
react, but
Katie.
that's fine.
I don't think it was Katie, but anyways, it's irrelevant. But yeah, just
Wow.
like seeing that like little emotional things. It's not something I think I need, or I thought at the time I needed from that character because he is just like a comedic relief. He's just a lot of comedy in game, but it was surprising, and I really really liked it. And Travis still hasn't found out, so I kind of
Well, I thought you were talking. I didn't
Well, she's
wanna-
not going to be on your top 10. You don't even know.
She
her
is
name.
not on my top 10. She's I almost said she's my number 9, but it's her father is my number 9. But yeah, Scott Lang, number 9. Let's go.
Oh, there you go. It's Katie. Fuck you.
Is it actually?
No, it's Cassie.
Yeah, Cassie. I knew it.
Yeah.
I thought
So,
it-
number 9 for me, the Hulk. So only one here for me getting in the top 10. Kirkland, I think
I gotta
maybe.
stay.
Yeah, you gotta stay for
I
this
was
one.
going-
Maybe
yeah.
misquoted me because as far as Hulk goes, I've loved every interpretation of him. I love the mean, angry Hulk. I think my favorite Hulk is Ragnarok Hulk, where he can talk and he's just like a big baby, and I love that. Like Hulk sad, like I love all that. And Professor Hulk, that humor talking about Drax in that movie, 100% all worked for me. I still laugh anytime I just think about Professor Hulk. I want more of it. My
Hulk
issues
out.
Hulk out. My only problems why he's not higher is I'm not a fan of this Bruce Banner opposed to Edward Norton's
okay.
Bruce Banner. I think maybe it's because we never got a solo film of him either. I just think that they've made him a little goofy at times for me as Bruce Banner, and that's what I've never been the biggest fan of. And Mark Ruffalo's a good actor. He does what he needs to do well, and I still like Bruce Banner as a character, but it's kind of similar as like some stuff in the Spider-Man MCU where it's like, not the biggest fan of this take. So I liked the more serious scientist route they did with Edward Norton. Edward Norton's well, actually, they're both big dramatic actors, so I don't know what the deal is there. But yeah, that's why he's not higher, but I love everything they've done with the Hulk, and I definitely am happy he's alive, and I want to see more of him, so... What?
That was funny. I'm happy he's still alive.
I am, you know. I just, I
That snap could have killed him, right?
it could have, and you know,
And it didn't.
he's a professor somewhere. So
He is number. We're on 8, right? Yeah, number 8.
Number 8.
Striking down from above is going to be the God of Thunder, Thor, for me. Very similar, I think, for the same reasons as Cap. I think the reason he's down here instead of a bit higher in the top 5, for example, is because Thor 1 and Thor 2. I don't really care much for the character there, especially Thor 2 is just a god awful movie.
no spoilers.
But even in even in Thor 1, I didn't really care much for him. I understand that it takes him like he develops more into the character he's now, and he starts out as kind of a simple, more kind of meathead sort of character. But I didn't really care much for that. It wasn't really that interesting to me. But he's grown on me since like just a tremendous amount. Like the showing, like seeing, that scene when he comes down in Wakanda and he's kind of just popping off is really fun. I love Ragnarok as a movie. It's just so much fun to see that more humorous side of the character. And yeah, he's really, really grown on me. And I feel kind of mediocre on the Fat Thor storyline. We'll see.
the dude Thor.
Yeah. The dude Thor. We'll see what Asgardians Galaxy is like. Because I've definitely grown to be a big fan of Thor, and I'm always down to see what he does next, and whether or not he's probably not going to be doing much of the Earthbound Avengers stuff, but he'll come back for the big team ups, I'm sure. But I like where this character has ended up, but it definitely took some time to get there.
Yeah.
But easily in the top 10 for me.
Taylor Field.
Mr. Field.
I'm doing a quick change.
Wow.
Did you forget about Thor?
He's putting in
No, no,
Cassie
no.
Lang.
Yeah, Cassie Lang. My number
Kirkland,
8.
you're number 8. Go. No. Yes.
Number
That's why
8
there's a
is
stop there.
gonna be Star-Lord. Yeah, another Guardian of the Galaxy thrown in there. I really, really enjoyed everything he's done. I think he's just. I think
Even when he screwed over half the universe.
Yeah, but
It's
it was
his
meant
fault.
to happen, though. Doctor Strange knew
It was
gonna
the
happen
only
and he
way.
let it happen.
That's
so.
what he says, you know.
There's only
He's
one.
bullshit.
There's only one way that they would win out of the 14 million, and it was, Chris Pratt.
It was
scoring
what
out
happened.
seen the movie.
Star-Lord.
I've seen
And
the
then
movie.
when it actually happened the other way, he's like, "Wow, I did not see that coming.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not
He's
the
like,
one."
that wasn't the one. Where
Shit, that does it too.
That's how Thanos is gonna come back.
Yeah.
They'll be like, I thought it was the one. Strange like, no.
I didn't give you enough credit, dude.
But yeah, I just think he's got great chemistry with all the other characters. I love it when they finally combine the Guardians with some of the Avengers in Infinity War. I think it's awesome. I love that dialogue when he's like, "Is Footloose still the greatest movie of all time?"
It never was.
Never was. That's just so good. It's just fantastic. So
Who is
Yeah.
my master? What am I supposed to say? Jesus.
I love his suit too. I love his trench coat. I love his mask. He's got his dual blasters. He's one of my favorite people I want to cosplay as.
I remember Taylor was so mad because in the Guardians 2 trailer, it was all him in his mask. And Taylor's like, man, he's going to be masked so much. It's like, he's not really going to be in his mask
Big
at all.
letdown.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
gotta let that go.
I think he's got one of the coolest masks like in the MCU. It's just
Mhm.
the circle eyes. For some reason, they do it for me.
It's great.
He's
Yeah.
top 5 MCU cosplays I want to do.
Okay.
So who was the
I'm
character?
excited to hear that list.
Who is the
actually,
character you
after
picked
9.
again?
For my number 8,
Yeah.
Star-Lord.
Who?
Who?
Excited to do that.
Oh.
All right, number 8. I got Doctor Strange. This character, I don't know if it's a surprise to anyone, but I felt like he's a little bit lower on my list. Like he did break the top 10, but like I feel like the reason I like him is just like his uniqueness and like mysticism that he has behind him. Like his movie, spoiler alert for our Marvel rankings. I feel like I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but just like the ambiance he brings is just the all-knowing man.
Mhm.
It's just like I don't know how to explain it, but anyways,
Much like me, right?
yeah, that's another list. I'll send after 9, but yeah, that's my number 8.
Mm-hmm.
My number 8 is Spidey. He's dropped down quite a bit. If you
Wow.
listen to the first rankings, he was in the top 5. I think it's because it's just other characters moved past him. He's not really moved down. He's kind of stayed the same. And if you look at Far From Home, he doesn't get that much character development because to me the story of Homecoming is he's dealing with Iron Man, and then he completes the mission without Iron Man. He goes, I don't need to be the next Iron Man. I can do this without Iron Man. And then Far From Home is just kind of that over again of, I don't need to be the next Iron Man. I be Spider-Man. So not luckily, but Iron Man's dead. So hopefully Spider-Man 3, he's just Spider-Man. But I feel like Spider-Man 2 or Far From Home was just, again, I can be my own Spider-Man. So I don't think much has changed with him. He's great. I think the biggest reasons why he's high is honestly Tom Holland. I can talk about how I like Spider-Verse better or some of the Tobey Maguire ones, but I think Tom Holland is a perfect Spider-Man, and I can watch him in all these. And I've always said I like him better in the crossover movies for me. If this was a rankings for Marvel characters, if you listen to our 4-year, he's a top 5 Marvel character for me. But on the MCU, which I was also very mad in my top 5 slot, I forgot Frank and Deadpool. I was quite disappointed when I listened back, and I was really disappointed in myself. So
What do you
in
mean?
the top 5 superheroes,
Oh,
I totally forgot, and Punisher definitely would have been number 5 for
Really?
me. So
Damn.
shows maybe he's probably not number 5 because I fucking forgot him. But when I listened, I was like, oh my god, Frank. So yeah, Spidey for me at number 8. I hope he climbs in 3. I really want that to be just a solo Spider-Man about his journey. You know, it kind of is, but I don't want more Iron Man stuff. I want something with
It's a
just
different
Peter.
kind of Spidey, this MCU.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My number 7 is going to be following Taylor's pathway. It's going to be Star-Lord. Peter
Who?
Quill. Are you gonna
Great,
do that
great
every time he's
execution.
brought up?
Yeah, I am.
I agree.
I'm taking
I
off
think
my
you
list.
should. I think you should. It was well done. I love this character. I think the first Guardians is such a. It's a movie with a bunch of weird characters in a weird
Oh,
place
yeah.
with weird stuff going on,
Much
and
like
you
the
need
Geekverse.
yeah exactly like Geekverse, and you need something. You need something normal or like familiar to latch onto, and he is definitely that. Even though he's still a wacky and funny character,
As normal as we can get.
yeah, he's still he's the character that you can relate to the most, and it's fun to experience the movie from like the perspective that he's kind of the protagonist of that movie, even though it's about all of them. But he really like leads the way in such a fantastic way. I love his guns, and I love his mask, his little rocket boots. He's just such a funny character. I love how attached he is to music. I really identify with that personally. And I think it's interesting that in Guardians 2, where like it maybe should be a really big story for him, but it feels like it's more about the other characters, even though the main villain is like so entangled with him personally.
Mhm.
It's kind of weird. I look at it. It's kind of I don't know. I don't know what to think about it actually. Like
Yeah, I've always said I think the problem is he just has to do a lot of listening in that movie.
Right.
And he just has to. It's just a lot of him thinking. What should I do?
You can't get the interesting backstory of Ego without him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it makes him just kind of on the sidelines. But he's still fun in that movie. He's
and I
still
think
great.
Infinity War
And he
brought
still
him
gets
back up.
great moments, like particularly more with Gamora, because that's a more established like relationship at that point. And then, man, it obviously bothers me him in Infinity War because he fucks it up. With the glove, but he's still
But he
fun
would
to
do
see.
that, you know?
It's still fun to see the great team up. I love the dynamic between him and Thor. They're just trying to one up each
it's
other
the
constantly. I love Star-Lord, and I'm excited to see his next movie.
Indubitably.
Number 7, Taylor.
Number 7 is going to be Doctor Strange for me.
Who? No, I'm
Who?
joking.
I love the. Gotta do it every time. I love the, it's as close as I'll get to. Well, no, because Iron Fist is close to Chakras too. But Doctor Strange.
No, he's not in the MCU. Don't worry.
I love me some Chakra
You got
interdimensional
Shang-Chi
stuff.
coming up though.
Huh?
God
Shang-Chi.
damn, don't even.
Shang-Chi.
Don't start this. I don't want to start
No.
this, guys.
Not
So
today.
excited for
He's
that.
Chi in
We
his
don't have
name.
time for that today.
Yeah.
But yeah, Doctor Strange. Absolutely think he's awesome. I went and I picked up his Blu-ray DVD digital
Okay.
copy bundle. It was on sale.
Bundle.
Yeah, it was on sale at Best Buy. I was like,
Okay.
yeah, I'll pick that up. $9 from regular like 30, because Marvel movies are still really expensive. So
Disney bucks.
yeah, Disney bucks. I'm super happy that I own it. I think Doctor Strange is cool. I love everything
When did
he
you
does.
buy Doctor Strange?
Before Endgame came out.
Okay.
Yeah, so probably like a month and a half, 2 months ago.
I was just still surprised you buy anything knowing Disney Plus is coming, but
I like to hold things. I'm a physical man.
Earlier
Sure,
today, you were talking
okay.
about buying PlayStation 3 games before you owned a PlayStation 3. But you also said games, like multiple, like more than one game.
Yeah, Uncharted 3, Infamous 2. I can recite the list, but that's another cast. Anyway, so Doctor Strange, in Infinity War, he just delivers when he whips out, like 1,000 copies of himself and just all the whips and stuff like that, and he's whipping out his like energy sword against Thanos. Super sick. That's just cool. It reminds me of almost like Elder Scrolls when you use like conjuring spells, you conjure up like weapons and just go to town. Just fantastic. He's just super cool, and I love the dynamic he has with Tony at the beginning. Again, like I'll do a shout out. Wong is definitely one of my favorites too. I think he's an awesome character.
Yeah.
So great stuff. I really can't wait for Doctor Strange 2.
I'm curious if Ned is on his list.
Oh God.
There's a chance, and it's just hurting my bowels.
You never know.
Number 7, I got Star-Lord. Let's go.
Hey,
Number 7,
the
boys.
7 boys.
You're close.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God!
Nobody
you're
heard that.
Fucking up
Whose
my
phone
house.
was that?
Nobody
That's
heard
yours.
That's not my phone.
Yeah, it is.
that. It was mine.
Oh no.
Whose phone was it?
It was Star-Lord's. And Star-Lord, man, just I like everything about this character. I feel like Chris Pratt was just like a perfect casting for him.
Who?
I'm done with you.
No, I'm not.
I'm gonna
oh,
mute.
Shit, I didn't
I'm gonna
mean that.
mute.
Did you say Pratt?
Pratt.
Oh, I swear I heard you say Powers. So I was like, who the fuck
Chris
is
Powers.
Chris Powers.
Well, you did say
Whoa.
Jeff Brolin earlier, so I thought
That is true.
Yeah, that,
I'm not the best with names.
I wasn't memeing when I said who again. I didn't. I didn't.
You
mean
said
that.
it in the
exact
accent
same
I
way.
know. I know. We're fucked now. I can never say it again.
But I feel like, man, that mixtape that he listens to,
It's a fire.
it's
mixtape.
opened up like a new like era of listening for
A
me.
whole new world.
Yeah, like
I listened to them today. Actually,
I used to be
both
like restricted to like specific genres, but now I go all over the place, and
that
thanks to
welcomes
him.
you to the
Experiment.
80s and the
But
70s.
but yeah, that character, you get to see some emotional stuff, like kind of when he just talks about like the tape and the meaning that he had like from his mom, and then the ego stuff. Just basically his interactions with all the characters, like not necessarily only the Guardians, like when he first meets like Tony, and like it's just like that whole like scene is just so great. But Star-Lord, I could go on and on. He's great.
Number 7 for me is Ant-Man, Scott Lang. This is a character who was not in my top 10 before Endgame. It's Paul Rudd. He's great. He delivers on the comedic beats. Even in Ant-Man and even Ant-Man and the Wasp, he delivered on some personal with the father-daughter. He had a great dynamic as we haven't seen the MCU. But I think it was just Endgame where we're talking about Nebula in there. He's also one you could say is one of your main characters. He does so well, and I think for me what really sold it was the scene when he sees Cassie again, like 5 years older, and just I didn't know Paul Rudd had that type of acting in him. It just was so good, and he is very comedic in Endgame, but it's the most serious we've ever seen him. And I didn't know if we could fully get that from Paul Rudd because that's not the type of roles he does, and he really adds some new dimensions to Scott Lang in Endgame. So that's the main reason why I've always liked him, and I think if we did a top 15 before, I would have put him there, but top 10, almost top 5. It's because of Endgame. It's just that emotionality stuff, and I'm excited to see. I hope we get a third one, and I want to see more and where we go. So number 7 for me. Now we're on to 6.
Yeah, my number 6 is Ant-Man, following right after you guys. I'm a massive Paul Rudd fan, as was established in the very first ever Geekverse
That's true.
episode. Go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
That was our first tangent. Was like Paul Rudd.
Yep.
That's how it all started.
I can only imagine how much of just a shit fest that episode
It's
is.
fun. to
Actually, I
listen
wasn't
to.
even on that.
Nope. You
They were
missed
on
it.
the-
It's
you were
probably
on
one of
number-
our best.
You were on
Yeah.
number 2.
Yep.
Okay.
Number
You were
2.
on number 2.
Close.
I love Paul Rudd. I like both the Ant-Man movies. The first one it's a more simple story, more simple I guess movie in general. The second one is a little bit more dynamic. You have like multiple layers of villains going on. You have characters coming back. You have some established like some relationships that have been changed because of Civil War, so not even something from the first movie. So a really interesting movie, and I love to see just like all the different types of him. Yes, he is like comedic, like generally, but it's fun to see just like him on house arrest at the start of that movie. It's fun to see him as like a burglar in the first movie. It's fun to see him like part of the Avengers in Endgame, even in Civil War, just making an appearance just to help out however he can and being
You're
just
Captain America.
just a fanboy. Yeah, it's fun to see as well. But I think what's so interesting about him is like between all these 23 movies, all these characters, we don't really have tons of strong like parent and child relationships. Like we just talked about like Star-Lord, I guess, and his dad, but that's different because that's like planet son, you know. But to have like the classic father-daughter relationship, like just a simple classic storyline, like that's who you get it from in these MCU movies is from Scott Lang and his daughter, and those scenes are always so good together. And yeah, to get the emotional scene in Endgame when he comes back and she might be gone. He doesn't know what the fuck is going
Yeah.
on. It's really, really fun to see. I love this character so very much.
What are we, number 6?
Six.
Yep.
Number 6. My number 6 is going to be Pepper Potts.
What the
that-
fuck?
That's a left field
That's
pick.
wild.
Yeah.
I never would have
Fuck.
thought that. That's crazy.
Respect though. Shouts
Yeah.
out to Pepper.
Wow.
I'm a really
Tyler
big
Briggs
fan.
is really happy somewhere.
What?
Tyler Briggs is happy somewhere. He's a big
He
rescue
just
fan.
went sky high
Yeah.
after that.
I'm
Whoa.
a Sky High, yeah. No, I'm a big Pepper Potts fan. I really enjoyed her in like the first few Iron Man movies, and even then, like I loved her roles that she would reprise, like in Spider-Man: Homecoming, that brief little thing at the end. I thought it was great. Again, in like the first Avengers, thought she was great there. And when it finally came down, like in Iron Man 3, I thought it was fantastic to see her in more of like an action role and what she was doing and fighting and stuff, which was cool. And then finally, when we got to see her in Endgame, and then she's rocking that armor, just was the cherry
It's a
on top.
sick armor.
It's
So
a sick
good.
suit, and I was super excited to see her and Tony going to town in their suits and stuff, and just
Some nanotech.
Let's
Oh,
go.
they've done that a few times for sure.
but it was just of all the characters to send Iron Man off into the beyond, it was her. She was there, and that she really delivered on that scene. It just really makes you tear up too when she's saying like, it's okay, we're safe now. It's a really heavy
You could
scene.
rest.
Yeah, you can rest. She carries it, and
She
she's
carries it.
easily number 6 for me.
Gucci. Alrighty. My number 6 is T'Challa, the middle-aged man, which I just found out today. That kind of
Older than Jesse Plemons.
that blew my mind.
Believe it or not.
Poor Jesse.
But yeah, he's basically everything that you guys already said on him. Is just it's an interesting thing because like when you first see him or like get an interaction with him on like other characters, he's not very like vocal. He's very like reserved, not just I don't know. He doesn't seem like he puts off that like energy that someone like Tony Stark or someone would be. Like he could just be like the life of the party. But it's fun getting those little like brother sister like chemistry stuff with him and Shuri, and obviously like the other characters that are like buddy with him, like his Wakandans, and but yeah, I don't know much more to say. I love his look. I think it's probably the like. If we did a list of like favorite suits, he's probably up there,
Yeah.
like for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Especially when you get like the purple like kinetic energy stored out. It's just so sick, and yeah, I love it.
Nice.
Wakanda forever.
That's a great pick.
Wakanda forever.
Thank you.
Number 6, he was already talked about, was Star-Lord.
Oh,
Who? Yeah, I was waiting for it.
I'm not that smart.
They already said what you need to know. I think the biggest reason why he's up here, and I just realized it this year. I didn't do it the 4-year, but maybe the 5-year. I was going to ask like, what MCU character do you see yourself the most in? And Star-Lord's definitely it as far as just many things. As far as music, I'm not the same as Dylan, but as far as the connection to music. But as far as anyone that's known me in the past, I always have headphones in. I'm a big headphones guy.
it's very rude
I
when
can
you're trying to
confirm
talk to
this.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the guy who worked at Target with you,
That's how I would
could never talk to you because
Yeah.
you just sit there alone listening to music.
Yeah, like I use a podcast too, but a lot of times just use music to zone out, just kind of whether working out, at work, getting home. And then just little things like he is this kind of guy, he works out, he's buffer, but he's just such a doofus and he makes mistakes and he wants to be cooler for school. That reminds me of me. All his like dating gallances he gets in reminds me of like my former life and whatnot. So there's just so much I see in Star-Lord. I'm just like, I just realized it one day after Endgame, like, fuck, like, I'm Star-Lord, and you want to be like Cap or Thor, but I'm like, no, I'm the guy who, like, fucks up the entire universe, and you think you're doing right, but, yeah, that's the main reason why, and just Chris Pratt does a good job, just so many people are quippy, but he has just such a charisma about him that he does it in such a different way. It's such kind of zany, out there humor, but he grounds it, and he could be just a douchebag character that you hate, but you love him. He's the lovable douchebag, so that's my number 6. So, Dylan, we're getting into the top 5.
We're in the top 5 territory.
Let's go.
This is going to be a controversial pick.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Is it Pepper
you guys
Potts?
will probably understand it's not Pepper Potts. Another female, Scarlet Witch, is making it into my top 5.
I knew she was giving me her
Yeah,
top
yeah,
5.
yeah.
Let's
Let's
say
go.
you won.
I just love these like magic, weird kind of characters. So there's spoilers. Gonna be another one somewhere in my top 5. Who? I don't know. I'm not sure. But Scarlet Witch is definitely in there. Her cool red magic is it's awesome to me. But I think, for a couple movies there, she was kind of just chilling. But then it was really with, honestly, I guess.
It's
even-
Infinity War.
Even as early as Civil War, like you kind of get this dynamic between her and Vision,
Yeah.
but then in Infinity War you get more of that where they're off doing who knows what, and then even Endgame she has like kind of that one pretty iconic scene, I would say, as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
fighting off Thanos, showing how strong she is. I mean, it makes sense. She was kind of spawned from a Infinity Stone herself, right? Or her powers were, at least. So,
Or so we think.
yeah, or so we think.
Ooh.
A character that I'm really excited that she has a TV show coming out,
Oh,
so we can
yeah.
dive more into that backstory.
Can't wait.
And a character that even like down the road, like obviously Quicksilver's dead, but maybe they bring him or like another incarnation of that character back, or maybe someday we eventually get that Magneto in the MCU and we get to see her father, and that would
Oh,
be.
could you
fucking
imagine?
I'm your
sick.
real father.
I would love
Yeah.
that. So I love that character so much.
Yeah.
I'm glad that she's around. I'm glad that she's in Ultimate Alliance finally.
Oh,
and play as
yeah.
that
Let's
character.
go.
And just super stoked for her TV show.
Super excited. Yeah.
Taylor, Loki popping up in this top 5.
You never know. I will say, if Quicksilver didn't die and we got more time with him, he easily would have been top 10, maybe higher up, because I really
Wow.
loved his character a lot. I will give him honorable mention.
I'll give him a
for
non-honorable mention. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
He was definitely one of my favorites about Age of Ultron. But my number 5 is Thor, easily number Thor, and I just think he's come a long way from those earlier films.
Which you love, but you've gone back on. You know,
I'm a little bit all over the place with them.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But he's quite a character. He's just gone through such a crazy redemption storyline and what he's trying to fix, because the whole universe is all fucked up, and he's trying to get a grasp on it, but he really can't. And then he really lets himself go, and so I will see how he redeems himself from that. But he's just such an interesting character, just going through this intense struggle, and I'm really excited to see more of dad bod Thor, I guess is the term people
I hope
call
he starts
him,
working
or-
on
I don't think you'll see Dad Bod Thor.
No?
No, I
Okay.
think in the next movie he'll be back. He won't be fully back to shape, but he'll be not like that same size. I think next movie is going to be about him getting back.
He'll be doing
into-
some push-ups.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I would like to see him with the short hair again, because I really love that kind of take on Thor. It's really cool. So he needs to run into like
An eye patch.
another barber or something like that. I didn't mind the eye patch, but I definitely don't mind like the two different colored eyes with like the short hair. I think it's just a cool this Thor has been through
He's
some
had a lot
shit.
of different looks for sure.
He has.
Yes.
Like I can only
He
imagine.
was really like airbrushed in Thor 1.
Yeah.
I can only imagine when he pops up in Wakanda, like you haven't seen him in so long. And last time you see him, he's got same colored eyes and long hair and nice armor. And now he's got like an axe made out of wood, different eyes, short hair.
The
like
armor was still the same. Still nice. Still nice.
yeah. Was it the same armor from Avengers 1 or
No,
Avengers Age of
no,
Ultron?
Same,
Oh,
same.
Just bugging you.
But different.
But different.
It's
Okay.
still same.
Yeah, my number 5.
All right, my number 5 is Thor. So I'm gonna,
Yeah,
I'm,
there
gonna
we
jump,
go.
I'm gonna jump on the Thor train. This character, the first 2 Thor movies, I'm not the biggest fans of them. Like Thor 1, it's all right. It's not one that I go out of my way to like rewatch.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I feel like I don't really have to go back. But he's definitely going through some like crazy changes just in the last few movies, like Thor Ragnarok leading into Infinity War and End Game. Just a lot of changes there, and I've absolutely fallen in love with this character. Like I feel like if I was rating him before then, he might have been like 15th or like lower tier. Just I don't know. Like I do really like his look, and the whole like the God of Thunder stuff is really cool. I think he has one of the coolest weapons like in the entire like MCU, Mjolnir.
True.
I'm about Mjolnir specifically. Like I know is it Stormbreaker?
Stormbreaker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stormbreaker's it's sick, but I feel like Mjolnir's just a little more iconic.
Mhm.
And
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Plus, that's not his weapon.
Mjolnir or Stormbreaker?
Stormbreaker. Yeah.
It's not his weapon.
Belongs to somebody else.
Okay,
Maybe
that-
we'll see him.
after 9.
It's a beta ray bill after 9. Yeah.
But yeah, just Chris Hemsworth too. I feel like he's just a really great actor for that role, and I don't know, he's definitely just coming a lot more fleshed out, and I'm digging it. And I am a fan of the short hair, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm also a fan of the dude look, but like not permanently. I'm
Tom Franco look.
the Tom Franco look. I'm happy with it for like
Tom
the end
Franco's
game.
fit. Come on.
Especially like
true.
just the shock factor it was, and like the comedy it brought. I know, like it's a little divisive. Is that the
Mhm.
correct word to
Yeah, it
use
is.
there? It's a little divisive. I feel like some people don't love it. Some people really love it. I feel like I'm a little in the middle on it.
Right.
But
The Big Lebowski look, I should have said.
yeah,
Didn't you say the dude look before?
It's the same thing.
Well, he said the dude look, and I was like Tom Franco because the long hair surfer look.
Okay.
But yeah.
Jesus.
Number 5 for me. This is a character that's had a rocky road in the MCU, and with me is Hawkeye. breaking the top 5. I love this character in the comics. So going into Avengers, I was like, man, I can't wait. We get introduced to him in Thor in a nothing scene where he's in some drawbridge, or he's in some tower with the archery. So I'm like, oh, that sucked, but whatever. Avengers, here we go. Gets mind controlled first 5 minutes. Like, oh, they're really doing me dirty here. And then there was like a bright spot as far as Ultron. We got him fleshed out, his family. Civil War, I wouldn't say he stole the movie, but he just had some great comedic scenes, and he was just like popping off, and that's all he was in there for, was just to be like a cool, funny badass, and he provided that. And then in Endgame, we just get, obviously you get Ronan, so you get to see just this like tortured soul, and even though, yeah, Hawkeye wasn't like the nicest guy in the world, but he wasn't the way he was in Endgame. You know, that's just a broken man. And to see somebody that, especially in Civil War, was quite quippy and kind of fun with the flow. It's just broken down, and I love, and that I think that opening scene in the movie just let me know, okay, we're gonna get some really good stuff with Hawkeye, and we did. All the stuff from when they time travel, and he's volunteers right away because they say, oh, you might die. So he won either the two results he wants is, oh, he wants to potentially go back in time and for sure travel and see, oh, it works, and get my family back, or he's just fine with dying. And there's multiple times. That's why he goes to Vormir. That's why he tries to kill himself. Like, he just has a death sentence. And it's like, if you really break down his storyline in Endgame and the amount of people he'd killed, they talk about like, oh, like, I don't know if he could come back from it, but it's really dark what happened to him and what he did. And his show is easily my most anticipated. I love Hawkeye, the character. So, yeah, I'm so happy he's alive. But I think it's because it's definitely Endgame, because he was in my top 10 when we ranked him a few years ago. He's made top 5 just because Endgame, I think, yeah, they just did a wonderful job with him. So, yeah. Clint Barton, number 5.
Coolio.
That's a good pick. I just totally blanked. Yeah, my number 4 is going to be Black Widow.
Wow, that's high.
Yeah, it is very high,
Wow.
and I think the reason for that is, I mean, she's been around she's been in a lot of movies now. I think we had this discussion recently. Do you remember, like, how many movies? I think it's like 7 or 8.
Iron Man 2 was her first appearance, right?
Yeah, she's been in a lot, and Travis is counting on his fingers right now. But she's always been a just really effective character from the writing of being
She's
like
been in 6. 7
movies?
if you count Thor Ragnarok, the screen, but then she'll be in 7 with Black Widow.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought it'd be more than that. That's still a lot of movies.
Iron Man 2, Avengers, Ultron. No, I was wrong. Winter Soldier, so
Yeah.
it is 7. And then Civil War and the 2 Avengers movies.
Right,
So
right.
it is 7. So there you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I've always loved this character. She's always been a lot of fun. She has a great look. She's great looking, you know what I mean?
Ayo.
But also just the acting, the writing is always on point with that character. But I think when I was really considering this list, and I was wondering I knew she was going to be in my top 10, but I think the reason she ended up being so high, Gwen is just laughing at what I'm saying right now. Come on, it's good points.
No.
Don't laugh at me. I think the reason why I put her so high is I was thinking about it, and I really feel like she is like the emotional glue of the Avengers. Like, she is really the character that Hawkeye can most emphasize or empathize with. That's what I was looking
and
for.
confide in.
Yeah. Same thing for Cap, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could say Bucky, really, kind of, but I think she does that a lot as well.
Bucky's a little off sometimes.
I think from Iron Man, she's a character that really kind of sees, like, at least in Civil War mostly, but also in the first Avengers, she really understands that character and can relate him to other characters a lot more.
Yeah, that's true.
And then even for Hulk, right? She is by far the character that is like the most emotional depth for him. And so I think for me, that to me is the biggest reason, is because she really brings out a lot of great things in other characters, and it really just fits the character perfectly, of this character that just has so much charisma and like outsmarts characters just with her words, because she doesn't have this nanotech suit. She doesn't have the ability to turn into a giant green monster. She doesn't have the ability to control thunder. So she just has to do it by like being a badass assassin, but also just through talking to people and convincing them of things. So
Yeah.
I think she's always been a fantastic character, and I'm excited for her movie, although I'm really curious where it is in the timeline.
Taskmaster, come on.
Yeah, I'm
Pretty
excited for
Yeah.
that Taskmaster.
You made some good points about the glue. I didn't think about it that way. That's good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My number 4 is going to be the one and only Captain America. I think he is, a Star-Spangled Man, and
Great song, by the way.
yeah, he's just incredible character, for obvious reasons. I mean, we've seen what he's gone through, so I don't know. There's not much I really can, cover with this character, just from his journey has been so incredible, and the relationships he's built with all the other Avengers, and I'm really happy that he finally got what he always wanted, which was just, a peaceful life with Peggy Carter, so...
You got the dance.
He got that dance. Yeah, I'm sure many
Maybe
more.
a little bit more.
A little bit
Ayo.
more.
He
Going at it
he
in their
got
suits,
nothing.
if you know what I mean.
Poor Steve, the whole life.
Poor Steve.
Alrighty,
Steven.
my number 4 is the one and only Carol Danvers.
Oh,
Captain
That's
Marvel.
high.
That's a high
Number
score.
4.
Oh yeah, I am a big Brie Larson fan. Like, I hadn't seen her in too much, but like specifically like 21 Jump Street, I thought she was just like a fun character,
Yeah.
and then I kind of just started following the actress from there. And when Travis did the bold "Travis told you so" on the Brie Larson casting, I thought that would be absolutely amazing, and I was very very happy for it to come true. And yeah, no, maybe it's just I really really like the actress, the character, and I really really like that movie. I don't know. She's just so badass to me, and her look is just phenomenal. And
Got that short hair in Endgame.
yeah, what's that?
Got that short hair.
Yeah,
in Endgame?
exactly.
Yeah.
That was one thing.
Mhm.
I remember watching it, and like when we
Hi,
left,
Peter Parker.
yeah, just so many quotable moments. One of my favorite Stan Lee cameos in there is just a lot of good moments. So yeah,
Nice.
number 4.
You got something for me? You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door. Number 4, as I was talking about him earlier with the villains, Loki. The reason I put him in there is just because I think he has enough good guy moments and kind of helping out our heroes to kind of justify that. And even then, you got Thor 1 and then Avengers. But then after that, he is always in the middle, but still he's like helps Thor's out in Adventure. He kills some bad guys. So I already talked about him villains, but he's just such a great character. He's a character that's why, like I said, I think that's why he's getting his own show. You just always want to see what he's going to do between writing and acting. So yeah, I put him up there. I already talked about him villains, so that's why I'm not going to talk about too much, but I love the Loki character. And I wish we almost would have, his story was complete as the good guy term, but I wish we got one more movie of him being a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even then when I talk about Thanos and Cap, there's still a chance he could come back. I think we're going to talk about it in our Comic-Con cast, but I think Kid Loki is a big chance of happening as well. So I don't, I for some reason think, I don't know what they're going to do. It's such a popular character. Maybe that's how. Maybe it's just the TV show. That's how they do it. But I think he's popular for a reason. So yeah, Loki, he's the only villain that gets in the top characters because I think he's just that fleshed out. He's
Yeah.
that well developed. So
If I included villains on my list, he would have been in there for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Top 3.
Top 3 for me is going to be Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
Penis Parker.
Penis Parker. I just love this character so much, and even though I wouldn't say this is my favorite version of Spider-Man, it just goes to show how much I love that character. I think he's the best. Like Tom Holland is the best live action Peter Parker,
But
but
Andrew
I just love
Garfield's
that animated
movies.
show, man. That animated show is Spider-Man to me
Yeah.
now.
No.
I just love that show so much. So yeah, even though it's not my favorite version of the character, I just love that character so much. The look, the different like styles he has, but I mean, I guess he just has like different suits throughout. But it's so fun to see those, and it's fun to see him like his dynamic with the villains. It's fun to see him like figuring out his suit. It's cool to see like the different type of Peter Parker. A lot of these things are new for me in terms of this character. So it is fun to see, even though some of those things rub me the wrong way. It still is always a good time, and I think he's amazing in the like as Travis said, like he's amazing in the crossovers. That's where he stands out to me the most.
Mm-hmm.
I love him in Civil War, even though he's only in there for a small amount of time, and I love him in Infinity War as he's climbing up to that ship and just risking it all. So I love me some Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
My number 3 is going to be Rocket Raccoon, and I'm gonna shout out Groot here too because I see them kind of like side by side, but I'm
So
not.
you don't have a slot for Groot?
No, I'm just
Wow.
honorable mention.
I thought he would have his own slot.
Racist against trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate trees.
You hear that, trees? We lost all our
I
tree
hate all
fans.
They're gonna
trees out
find
there.
you.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so. I'm counting on it. No, I just kind of put the two together, but I'm
Counting
putting
on it.
Rocket in the slot just because I really like Rocket's journey, and I loved him in Endgame. I thought it was
He's a
great.
little bit more dialogue, I'd say, than Groot.
Just a bit, not
Just a
too much. I can
He has more
understand with
meaningful.
him. I can relate with Rocket, so
Oh,
because he talks. I can't really relate with I'm Groot. It's
Yeah.
hard to kind of understand
I
that.
can't
Because he
translate.
talks. It's-
I didn't take that elective like Thor did, but
No.
no, Rocket's just great. I'm so happy that he's got that look with the scarf and Endgame and stuff. Just looks so
The
cool.
scarf.
And his dialogue with Star Lord is really really good. Ooh, they missed it. You see that?
What happened?
I'm not
Oh.
gonna say it again
Ooh.
because damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. My number 3, the other Captain America.
Ooh.
This character, when he was first announced, might have just because he was all about America, and I'm like, I'm Team Canada. Where's my Captain Canada? I just didn't really care for
you
it.
don't want Captain Canada.
I kind of avoided his movie for a while.
Ooh.
Not because I was trying to boycott it because I didn't like the character. It's just it wasn't that interesting for me and didn't want to spend money at the time to go to a movie. But
So many
this
reasons.
character, I feel like he's like out of everyone, I feel like he's probably gone through like the biggest change in my heart for just how much I love this character. Like from where he started to where he ended up, like that's gonna be one of the characters I miss the most. And just his charisma, the fact that he's never giving up. He could literally do this all day, and just I don't know. He just if I was if I was in the war, I would want him to be leading me.
Right.
He just had so much like I don't know, just.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna pass it along because I know Travis is gonna go off when we finally get to him. So
I
yeah.
don't know if I really should. I've talked about Cap so many on these casts, before here, but Cap's not my number 3 because Thor is my number 3. This was really tough for me when I get to number 2. I'll tell you who that was, and I went back and forth, but I gave number 2 the edge, and I'll talk about that when we get there. And I already talked about Thor. I think we've had such a journey. He's been like a kind of cocky beefhead, jock-like guy, but I think it was Thor Ragnarok. He delivered the funny, and I also was just so impressed with Hemsworth between Ragnarok, Infinity War, and Endgame. And even Endgame, when they did the whole dude Thor, I was taken aback by it at first, but as I've watched it now, it has settled in with me, and I like it, and I like the approach that maybe some of the humor is a little too much, but for me, I just like the idea of him dealing with depression. If you think about this character who's literally a god, has been brought down by this, and I love the stuff about dealing with Thanos and not even saying his name. He's just done so many changes, and Hemsworth himself has done so much. But as I referred to earlier, it was, I think, really Infinity War that I felt this guy can actually lead. Like, I'm happy he's alive because, yeah, we got other people like Black Panther and Carol, and we're missing Iron Man and Captain America. But when Thor was kept alive, and I was saying that before, they need to keep him alive. After Infinity War, it's like, this guy could lead us for the next phases, and I think he will. I think that's why you got Guardians and Thor 4 coming out, and it's just great. And this is, if you would have asked me a few years ago, he would have been a lot lower, but that's tribute to Hemsworth and maybe Taika and whatever, but not maybe, definitely Taika, but also just what the whole team has done with that character. So I'm excited to see where he goes. I hope we kind of get a redemption tale for him in his follow-up movies. But yeah,
Nice.
number 3.
Open your mind. We're entering number 2.
Ooh.
I'm dropping the mystical, the
Let's
sorcerer supreme.
My mind is
Doctor
open.
Strange. I just love this character so much. Like conceptually, he's got that really cool look. I like that he just has a cape that is like sentient.
Yeah.
He's got the cool powers. I love the look of his powers. I love the trippiness of the character. I identify with the journey of going to Nepal to find yourself. I think that's always been really interesting to me. So even though, and I love it. I love his movie a lot. I think a lot more than like anybody else really when it comes to the MCU rankings and stuff like that. But I love that kind of character. I love the trippiness. I love the magic of it. And then I just like all of his appearances in all the other movies. He's in like the team up movies. It's been only in just like small increments here or there. But in Ragnarok, it's kind of just he's kind of just funny how he's kind of like trolling with them a little bit and messing with Loki and whatnot. I think in Infinity War, it's really fun to see him team up with Tony Stark and kind of match that intellect and make him think in different ways. And then in Endgame, I was disappointed. I actually wanted a little bit more of an Endgame. I feel like he only has like that one moment where he's like holding back that water and then he's throwing out the one, which is a great moment nonetheless. But and it makes sense, most of the characters kind of come back. You can't really give everyone a moment, but I'm super excited for whatever they do with Doctor Strange number 2. And I don't think he'll be in these like Avengers movies. Maybe he could pop up to help out quickly, but I don't think he'll ever be part of the team just because he's got his other more important stuff to do, quote unquote. But I love that character so much.
Me too.
My number 2 is going to be the web-slinging Spider-Man. I think
Thanks for looking at me when you said that. I appreciate it. You affiliate Spider-Man with me.
Vibes. Yeah. He's just such a cool character. I love him, and I love Tom Holland playing Spider-Man in these movies. It's fantastic. I love his debut in Civil War. I think that was absolutely awesome. So much hype from that. And Homecoming, it's definitely, something I really, really love. And Far From Home, I love it even more than Homecoming. And I can't wait to watch that dozens and dozens of times, so that'll be good.
Cool. We're on number 2 now, eh? That's
are.
crazy. Yep. My number 2, the man that led us all off on this crazy journey, Tony Stark, Iron Man.
Tony Stane.
I just kind of have like personal bias for my number 1. I'll go there.
I wonder who it is.
But yeah, just Tony. I don't know much more to say. Like before we got to like the first Iron Man, I just wasn't that interested in like that comic book hero. It was just I don't know. It was just Marvel Batman in a way, just super rich guy, kind of makes his own powers, right? Like he's not born with like web slinging ability. I guess Spider-Man's not either, but he's just so like just oozes out like charisma. He's able to just like be the just life of the party, and at the same time can formulate strategies on just being a smart superhero, whatever the hell you want to call him. Fuck, the guy found out about time travel, so that's pretty crazy. And
he figured it out pretty quick too.
Yeah, it didn't take long.
No,
he was inspired by his daughter. That's what I'm gonna give it to him.
Possibly throwing out some ideas.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, I'll pass it along.
Number 2 is Iron Man for me. He
you.
just got the bump over Thor because of Endgame, the same way Infinity War did wonders for Thor. Iron Man didn't need any more wonders, but the way he's handled in Endgame, just a great send-off, but just his family life with him having a daughter, that adventure, him and that scene with his father is great. Endgame to me really delivered, and I think I've always kind of had Iron Man in the top 3, top 4, but it put him at number 2 just because I love seeing different sides of him, and I definitely love Phase 3 Iron Man more than 1 and 2 just because that very first movie is a great movie, but then after that I felt that I've always said that up until Civil War, I would never say that Downey was phoning it in or anything like that. He always brings it 100%, but I never felt that they were writing him to have anything that meaty. He was just being written as charismatic Tony Stark for most of Phase 1 and Phase 2, and it wasn't until Phase 3 when they really started again too, and that's what Civil War is supposed to do of, hey, this guy to me, like in Civil War, he is an antagonist. He's the same way as Baron Zemo. He's doing some really shady stuff. And there's multiple occurrences that happen now, even with Far From Home. There's multiple things that he did to kind of hurt this universe, but that's why it makes perfect sense why he sacrificed himself to kind of make up for those sins and try and help out the people that he failed. Great relationships with everybody, great charisma with everybody, whether it's Cat, whether it's Pepper, whether it's Spider-Man. And Downey, it's just he's the GOAT, because without him, we wouldn't have had any of that. Performance doesn't work. Even then, I always talk about Iron Man. He was not a nothing character, but he was nowhere near the level he is now. So he will be missed, but not as much as my number 1 pick when I get to him.
Nice. I'm following directly in your guys' footsteps, your iron boots, if you will.
Iron
Man's my number 1 pick. To not rehash anything, because you guys made all great points that I completely agree with. I think for me, it's just like from the very beginning, he, like Robert Downey in the acting role, like he just nailed it from the very beginning. Whereas characters like Cap and Thor that I love now, it took over 2 movies like of their solo movies that I didn't really care much for them. It took a while for me to grow, for them to grow on me. But Iron Man from the very beginning just had me. I always loved that character. He was so much fun. The charisma, the fact that he's an asshole, all of that. And yeah, he's just grown to be such a dynamic character. And he's had, once again, a beginning, middle, and end as well. He's had that send-off that was so very perfect for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those are good points. I like it.
My number 1 is, Iron Man for sure. He's just...
4 in a row? I mean, you guys had him at number 2, but
very consistent.
Nice narrative.
Yep.
He's just. I remember watching his superhero movie back in the day. It was just one of those like first superhero movies that really just pulled me right in. Just I loved it, and it's just hard to believe that like over 20 movies later, and this is how it ended. I never could have imagined this, in that first movie, that this is where it would turn in or what it would turn into, and. His send-off was, perfect, and, the whole... Even though we just had, obviously, Spider-Man Far From Home, I feel like any movie that comes after that, there's still going to be that, like, empty void there thinking, this is a universe now with no more Iron Man. Mm-hmm. When you're watching other movies like Doctor Strange and, like, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, you can think, Iron Man is still out there in the background somewhere. Yeah. So it's just sad, because he's definitely my favorite hero out of all of them, and knowing he's gone, it's just... the light is a little bit more dimmer now in the room.
It's like true. The thing you mentioned, like any movie after Far From Home is gonna feel like a void. I feel like the solo movies not so much, but like the next Avengers, where like you see these like what's the word I'm looking for? Team ups. Yes, thank you. Holy, this cord is murdering me. Like the next team up, I feel like it'll just be weird not seeing like Robert Downey Jr. on there. So but that day will come. Hopefully, hopefully Kevin Feige's not done.
No, just getting started.
Yeah, just getting started. My number 1, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. This character, ever since I can remember, like anything, I feel like he's just been part of my life. I grew up watching like the '60s TV show. I think is that the original cartoon?
It's the original cartoon.
Yeah, I absolutely fell in love with it. The theme song, just so iconic. I had Spider-Man sheets, Spider-Man
Oh.
shoes, Spider-Man
Still
paint.
now.
Oh yeah,
They're
No.
nice shoes.
Shay threw them out.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
meant the sheets. Yeah,
The
he
sheet,
steals
yeah.
the sheets.
No, the sheets. Yeah.
No, but
You gotta
my
keep those.
I remember my parents, they like painted Spider-Man on my walls for me for one of my birthdays, and it was like
Damn.
the best moment ever. It was just, I don't know what it was. It just, I was totally drawn to that character. I have huge fear of spiders, so it's kind of a weird dynamic there.
It's the
but,
Batman thing. He has a fear of bats.
Yeah,
you know,
so there you go.
yeah.
You've modeled your whole life around Spider-Man.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I'm going for that
You
Tom
are,
Holland hair.
You are the Peter Parker of the podcast.
Yeah, and but this specific one, I think it's just like what Travis said, like the Tom Holland effect. He's just such a perfect like Peter Parker in my eyes. Like he's got a Queen's accent. He's just like very like awkward and like just like looks like just a kind of a geeky character, but at the same time he just pulls off those like perfect quips as Spider-Man. So for me, I feel like being Peter Parker and Spider-Man is so important to like build like a good solid character, whereas like I compare it to like the Toby series. Like for me, Toby was a great Peter because he was just like very awkward, same sort of thing, just kind of nerdy. But like as Spider-Man, like his little quips, like at the time I loved them because it was just Spider-Man.
We're getting
But-
any Spider-Man.
yeah, exactly. But like looking back on them, it's like, man, there's some weird things he's saying here.
I'm the sheriff in town here.
Yeah,
All right,
just
Spider-Man.
stuff like that. It's like, okay. So I'm really glad where we are, and but I do agree with you, Dylan. I think like the ideal Spider-Man is probably those animated series ones.
Oh,
but,
so good.
Check out our retros.
but yeah,
Yeah, number one for me, no surprise, Steve Rogers, Captain America, because we just talked about a bunch of characters, and for me, we talk about like the next team up and whatnot. And Iron Man, very important character, but I don't think it's the level of Captain America for me. Especially, I love him in the comics, but even these movies, we have a lot of scientists, we have a lot of quippers, we have a lot of assholes. But I've always said Steve Rogers is the heart and soul of this franchise. He's the thing that everybody would want to strive to be in real life. If you're that hero, he wants to have that code. He wants to protect his friends. He wants to protect the people. And he's so selfless. Out of anybody, the most character in the MCU. Think about it when you think about all the stuff Tony done to try to make up for what he did, all the stuff Thor's lost. If you think about all the stuff Cap has like given up, and that's why he gets that, which I was not surprised, but I was just like, it took me off guard that I always thought he would die just because it's just he's a tragic character in a way, because just even his first movie, it just ends terribly for him. Think about it in a real life perspective. If you crash, think you're gonna die, and then you wake up like 50 years later and everyone you know is dead, and this woman had a life of her own. Like even right off the bat, it's just like he's a man out of time. There's so much stuff, and then this organization he was a part of his whole career is turned on his side. You know, the Bucky stuff, like just a thing after a thing, and that character could become a villain. That character could break, but it's because he just has that willpower. He has that strength. He has that character in himself to stay, to be that flag bearer of the Avengers, of America, of the world. And and even when something's not right, he will still go against it, even against the law. If he gets some the government, he will do what he has to do. So, and I think there's many things that will, like I mentioned earlier, I can do this all day, or I'm with you in line, but they nailed an end game of just him staring down Thanos, and that's because other characters would do it, but he just does it so confidently, and you just know that like even if he's gonna die in that second, he's still gonna try and take 2 or 3 guys down with him. He's just like just the tenacity of that character. He's everything you'd want to strive to be a hero. So, and that's the one where I think if you think about everybody, and that's why like he has some humor, but it's very innocent humor. Like, oh, I understood that reference or whatnot. You got Thor, you got Black Widow, you got Banner. As you look at that core Avengers, and maybe Black Panther will kind of take his slot, but there's not really a character like him. They maybe will try and make Sam like him, but even Sam's very comedic. He's very much on his own. I think he's probably the most unique out of the 6. So, yeah, Captain America, Steve Rogers, number 1 for me.
Nice characters list, guys.
Yeah. So,
I'm surprised none of you had Black Widow.
she was on there, but I had to bump her.
Really?
Yeah, I made some
me too.
rearranging.
Liar. I think maybe after the movie. I just think I've never got. I think you made some good points with the glue. I just still felt I've never got enough of her. But and I also don't have any females in my top 10 just because they've just never got too much to shine, in my opinion. So hopefully that changes in the future here with all these.
Soon
movies time. Taylor, you start number 23.
Did you guys all do
I
tier
did. I
lists?
did tier list.
I did tier list. Are we like going like?
Yeah. How do we want to do this?
Do you just want to name them off back to back kind of thing, or?
Up to you three. Doesn't matter to me.
We can just do I'll do my list.
Maybe
The
maybe
tiers.
for the bottom ones at least. Like your
Okay.
bottom couple tiers, we could just.
I didn't do tiers.
You didn't.
No.
You just did ranks.
No one told me to do tiers.
No, you weren't expected to.
I know.
I thought I asked you all, and I thought you said yes. I don't know. We could just
Never.
do them in order, I guess, and then
Okay.
just say when your tier breaks are. Maybe.
Sure.
Sure.
Oh, okay. So are we just gonna choose one movie and then pass it on,
Were
and
you-
then I'll be like, that was the end of my tiers, or just read off my tiers?
Like for example, now that we're entering the top 10, this is a new tier, the whatever tier.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. You can do it however you want.
Okay. Taylor, lead us off.
Okay, I'm just gonna run through all my movies here. That's the
You're
plan?
gonna run through all of them.
Is that the plan?
That's not exactly the opposite.
Okay, I'm
of
gonna
what
run.
Dylan
I'm
just
gonna
said.
run
Nope.
through just one tier. Then.
That's what he said. We're gonna go tier
Do
by
your
tier.
lowest movie.
Lowest tiers.
Lowest tier.
Lowest tier. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so I got Spirit of Vengeance tier.
What?
Why is it that?
Why is it so low?
Because you
It's
like
Spirit
the
of
Spirit of
Vengeance.
Vengeance.
No. Spirit of Vengeance tier is like at the bottom.
Oh,
I know.
Okay.
That's what
know,
I mean.
but
Like,
you
so
love
why
it.
is it at the bottom? Because you like.
That's
You
love
think
that
that's
movie.
good. You think that's good content. And that's always your nickname.
In this case, it's not. I called that as like the low tier.
Okay.
What
I
the
was very
fuck? I'll let you
confused
have it.
because I forgot these guys are doing these naming tiers. So when he just said Spirit of Vengeance, I was like, why is he putting Spirit of Vengeance in this? Okay, so
Okay,
you're-
well, if you want, I can switch it up.
you don't know. You don't have to. It doesn't-
I have a backup called "I'm gonna eat your stinking soul" tier, and that'll be that's what I'll call it.
and when you say the title and also describe what it qualifies to be in this tier?
Yeah. So this soul tier is basically the lowest of the tiers, and to qualify for this, I mean, it's just
You have to not qualify for the other two.
yeah, you have to not qualify for the other tiers. It's just they're movies I've seen many times. They're not like golden prime movies in my opinion. Like I obviously have a lot of other ones that I favor. There's over 20 movies to pick from here. So, but to break us in on the soul tier is Thor: Dark
I haven't heard
World.
that phrase since I was 16.
Thor: Dark World.
Thor: Dark World.
Why would it be
just
higher on your
don't-
list?
I don't understand that. You love those movies and they're rated higher than some other ones. It's
It's
Captain
it's
Marvel.
oh,
Not
no,
surprising.
no
Not
surprise
surprising
in
at all.
there. Big hater.
Misogynist.
Yeah, wow.
Thor 1. And Captain America.
Can I ask to make
The
this,
first one.
Yeah.
to make this cast even longer? Why is Captain Marvel in between Thor and Thor 2? Is there a reason, or did you just not want to put it last to go against?
It's definitely not going last. I mean, when
I-
Captain Marvel came out, I went and saw it twice in theaters.
Mm.
With Thor: Dark World, I don't even think I saw it in theaters.
'Kay.
No, I must have saw it.
So the only reason Captain Marvel's up higher is just because you saw it in theaters twice.
No, it's got scrolls.
Okay.
And
Respect.
Dark World has dark
Respect
elves.
the scrolls. How many tiers do you have, just by curiosity?
I got 4.
Okay, how many do you have?
I have 6.
I have 7.
Okay.
Maybe
Maybe do like.
I was just curious. Yeah. Okay.
You can do whatever you want.
My D tier, so I don't
Okay.
know if you're familiar with letter grades, but that's
am.
not very good. I got Thor: Dark World and the Hulk. The reason the Hulk's on there is just I literally have not seen that movie since like around the time it came out,
Right.
which would have been
It's been
like
a long-
what 2007,
over 10 years.
2000. I don't know when it came out.
Long time.
I'm looking at Travis. He's not even listening to
I think
us.
2000,
He's checked out.
9.
What were you asking?
2009.
The Incredible Hulk. When did it come
The
out?
Incredible Hulk was 2008.
2008.
Is
Two-
that the same year as Iron Man?
Yep.
Oh wow.
Same
okay.
summer, yep.
Same
Same
summer.
summer?
Wow.
Yeah, it came out 2
It's a
months
bold,
after.
bold
The
move.
hell? That's wild.
Yeah,
Forgettable.
It didn't pan
But
out.
but those are just the 2 movies in my D tier.
Okay.
Sorry,
So
I was just
that's fine.
counting because I don't have a tier all of a sudden, so I'm having to,
You don't have
go
to
on the
do
spot.
that, though.
Well, then if we're going in tiers, what am I supposed to do? I'm just going to leave my whole list here. This is the passable tier. As I've said, there is not a single bad movie in the MCU. You can call me a shill. That's all fine. You can suck it. I think they're all,
I
passable.
like that.
They're,
I like
like,
it a lot.
they're just like I said, this is the passable tier, but I don't think those are bad movies. It's just they're fine. I can't label them good because good is my next tier, but this is passable. Thor: Dark World at 23, and then Iron Man 2 at 22. Just passable. Has some problems. And if you really want to hear all like in-depth thoughts, I didn't even promote Thor, Iron Man 2's shitballs, Taylor. When I say shitballs, it's like in the context of like other MCU movies. As a movie itself, fine movie, but when you look at what we've gone, holy moly, I want my bird. What was I gonna say? I can't remember now. Oh, if you want, we didn't plug this up full on, but we did Marvel retrospective for Infinity War. So we've done in-depth, like over hour, 2 hour reviews on all these movies. So we're just gonna give little blurbs of movies here. But if you're like,
Yeah.
oh, what do you really want, or why?
Plus,
is
like our results of all of our previous lists, kind of, should come together for this.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
if you go like, oh, why is Iron Man 2 ranked so low, Travis? There's a review there for
Yeah,
you in the
sure,
future. So next tier, or your first bottom tier, Dylan, what's the name? of this
My
tier?
bottom tier is called the Thor Dark World tier.
Let's go.
And it features Thor Dark World and nothing else. I'm gonna do my next lowest one because this order is fucked. This one is called the Needs Nanotech tier. The reason it's called that is because these are 3 first origin movies for characters that
Ooh.
really could have used some Tony Stark nanotech, whereas he popped off in his first movie. These
Yeah.
guys did not. So from the bottom, it's gonna be the Incredible Hulk, followed by Thor 1, followed by Captain America 1.
Wow.
I like your titles for your tiers.
I don't love that one. Do you have a better one name for that?
Not really.
I was
'cause
trying to think of like a reference.
I just have letters
Yeah.
as my tier grade, so I kind of feel uncreative.
Yeah.
You and Taylor are
Either
popping
way,
off.
they need some nanotech.
So what were the nanotech ones again?
Incredible Hulk,
Yep.
Thor, and then Cap. The first.
the origins.
The first ones, yeah.
The origins.
The early,
Origins.
the
X-Men
Dark
Origins.
Ages.
Yeah. The
Go ahead,
Dark
Taylor.
Ages.
So when I'm done all my tiers, I'm gonna read them in order so you guys can actually understand it. Because going from this way is not gonna make sense. But this is the "Do you understand me" tier.
I do not.
It'll make sense when I read it out later.
All right.
So the "Do you understand me" tier is Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Age of Ultron, Avengers 1, and Black Panther.
And this is still going like up
These
order,
are from
right?
bottom?
I read that. Oh shit! I read that wrong way. Black
I had
Panther,
a feeling.
Avengers, Age of Ultron, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Guardians 2.
I had a
it goes
feeling
in that
Taylor would
order.
never rank Black Panther.
The only one
that
in
high.
there that's absolutely shocking to me is Guardians 2. After you praised those characters a lot
Yeah.
in your top 15.
And still Black
You'll-
Panther so low. That's like your
That's crazy.
That's like the 3rd or 4th worst MCU movie in your
That's-
opinion.
Scary.
That movie got nominated. That's the first
I
comic movie
could
ever to
be
get
tempted-
nominated for an Oscar.
Looking at this, I could be tempted to swap it out
Don't
with
be
Ant-Man and the
tempted.
Wasp.
Oh,
like
one
legit.
slot up. Oh, it's
No,
not the
two.
fourth. It's
Two slots.
It's not the 4th worth. It's the 6th worth.
Sex
6th
worth.
worth.
The sex word.
Sextet.
Who?
Yeah, so there you go.
Alrighty, my next letter grade up. So I was D. Now this is C.
Okay.
I got Iron Man 2, Thor, the original, Avengers Age of Ultron. Not terrible movies, but just not quite like to the quality of like
Sure.
the next one's up. So that's my reasoning for that one.
Okay.
This
And
is just
better than D tier.
Better than TQ.
This is just simply put the good tier. So these are movies I like. I rewatch a lot more than obviously the passable tier. Got so it went Thor: Dark World, Iron Man 2. Now we're jumping on, going up. Avengers: Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Captain America: The First Avenger, Iron Man 3, Spider-Man: Far From Home, and Spider-Man: Homecoming. End that list. You can go to the review of that, but the reason why Homecoming is above, just because I went with. They're like the identical films, score, and how I feel about them. Different problems, different likes. But I just like the high school setting a bit more. That's why I got that bump for Homecoming. I don't think I can. People know my past on Age of Ultron. I fucking hate Ultron. He annoys the shit out of me. Yeah, and Doctor Strange. I really like some of the stuff in there, Mads. But I really hope we get more Infinity War Doctor Strange in the sequel. I don't want as quippy. I don't want Doctor Strange making Beyonce jokes. I want what we got in Infinity War, just like, hey, if that kid has to die, he'll die. It's like, oh shit, So I want that type of tone. So we'll see. But that was the good tier.
If he dies, he dies.
My next tier is massive. There's like
I thought that was the title of it.
there's
This
nine
next tier is
nine
massive.
movies in this tier.
Holy
Um,
moly!
and
it's almost as many.
I'm
as
actually so the reason the very bottom one of this I'm going to spoil it first is Iron Man 2, and I feel like I should bump it down to the Needs Nanotech here, but then it doesn't make sense, right?
No.
And so I feel like the naming is kind of stuck there, but I'm actually going to kick it down. I'm going to
Well,
kick it down
there's
to
no
that
nanotech
tier.
in Iron Man 2, right?
There
So
you
it
go.
works.
So I'm going to kick it down there. So the rest is part of the perfectly balanced as all things should be tier. It's called that because these are like from here on up. I like these movies. These are good movies. I will gladly rewatch them. All of these movies in this particular tier have things I like and have some things I don't like, and that's why they're in here. So from the bottom, Iron Man 3. This one might be controversial. Captain America: Winter Soldier, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man, Spider-Man: Homecoming. Ahead of Spider-Man: Homecoming, Spider-Man: Far From Home, Avengers: Age of Ultron, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp, which
Okay.
I feel like maybe could be higher, but then everything after this is in the top 10. And I didn't think it was quite top 10 worthy. So yeah.
And like, sorry,
I just blasted through 9 movies. I know.
on your like title for the tier, is that just like they're really good movies and they don't need?
What
like,
the title?
No, I'm just curious, like your reasoning for why
Oh,
they're in that tier.
Because they're like perfectly balanced, as in there's things I like, there's things I don't like. I mean, realistically, there's more good than bad,
Okay.
so it's not perfectly balanced. But I thought it was a fun name.
I like it.
But yeah, there's just they're not as pristine as the movies in the
Right.
top 10
Okay.
necessarily, but they're like clearly above. Like I enjoy all of these movies.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah.
So we moved on to I'm gonna let him out tier.
Oh no, it's gonna let him out.
So we got Ant-Man, the Incredible Hulk, Thor Ragnarok, Iron Man 3, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Infinity War.
And if this is confusing for the viewers, at the end when we reveal our tier, I want to quickly do a 23 and up. So
Yeah.
also, like for the,
We'll
I
do
can
that.
make an average nice easily at the end of
Okay.
the cast, so I can put it together and see what the Geek First MCU average is, like the films. So, Kirkland, what's your next tier?
My next tier is B, so
Okay.
I'd be happy with a B if I got it. You know,
Yep.
I got the original Ant-Man, Iron Man 3, because I recently rewatched it and I liked it a lot more than I thought I did the first time.
Oh,
And
you
then-
watched it? Look at
Yes,
that.
I did. So I do have full 23 movies. And then I have Doctor Strange in there. They're all good movies, but I mean, they're no A's.
Yeah.
So
There's no way.
you can always strive for an A,
Mhm.
but yeah.
This is the pretty to really good tier. So Thor Ragnarok, Thor Ragnarok, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Incredible Hulk, Thor. I'll stop there. Yeah. I mean, the only notes I have here is Thor Ragnarok. I just always got to shout out. That is maybe next to like the End Game and whatnot. And then Infinity War, my most rewatchable MCU movie. That's the one I put on all the time. It's just dark because I have some problems with Loki and some story problems. But the humor in that movie, the Grandmaster, it's my birthday. Like, I can put that film on every day of my life and rewatch it. So it pains me it's not in the top 10, but every time I watch it, I go, oh, I remember why it's not in the top 10. But from a rewatchable humor standpoint, damn, is that movie good. And I cannot wait for Thor 4 Taika coming back. So,
Taika.
yeah, that was the pretty to really good tier.
Mhm.
So,
My next tier, this name's not as clever or interesting, but it's just rounding out the top 10, just the top 10 tier. So these movies were clearly in the top 10 for me, up in that echelon of quality and a step above the perfectly balanced tier. This is going to be Iron Man 1, Thor Ragnarok, and Black Panther. Just those three.
just those three.
Yeah.
I like it.
So this is my final tier. It is a total of 1, 2, 3,
I still have
4,
two more
5,
tiers.
I have
6,
Me
7
too. I got
movies.
4
in this
more
tier.
tiers.
Oh, God.
Maybe you should do 2 next time.
Okay, well,
yeah, that's a good idea.
no, that's
So-
a good idea.
This
Maybe
is,
just break it in half. I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't end right now. How many more movies do you have?
I
have
could go
2
in front of
tiers.
them.
Maybe, yeah. I'll wait on mine because, yeah.
Okay.
Mine are all
I'll go ahead
solid
of
in the
them.
tier. I don't know how to break them up.
So
Right,
I'll do my next tier is A.
Yeah.
So great, excellent. I got Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain America, the original,
Mm-hmm.
and then Homecoming, Spider-Man
Wow,
Homecoming.
Captain First Avenger up
That's
there
pretty
quite
high.
high.
Yeah, I've seen this movie quite a few times, and I actually really like it.
Nice.
I don't. Basically, going back to when I was explaining just Steve Rogers in
Mhm.
general, I just felt like the more I see of him, and then like having like the knowledge of like the current Steve Rogers, like the End Game, Avengers, all that stuff, the Civil War stuff, I feel like it's just boosted like my enjoyment for that character. So I don't. And then
Mhm.
I love his just World War II like setting, like him and his homies, his little band of
little
misfits
homies.
he's got.
Yeah.
Bucky back then Peggy Carter. Come on now,
Ew.
let's go. And then my next tier, which it is suiting that I am doing two back to back because this is A plus, so
Mhm.
Oh.
better than an A. Captain Marvel, Spider-Man: Far From Home, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Captain America: Winter Soldier. The reason I did Far From Home more than Homecoming, I feel like it's just like the Mysterio. I
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
absolutely fell in love with him.
Yeah.
And that movie easily could have been like S or S plus for me, but the fucking reveal of Mary Jane knowing that it was Spider-Man absolutely killed it for me. So there you go.
Yeah, that brings it down a bit. Doesn't
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, this is the fantastic or outstanding tier. There's only 3 in here. You got Captain Marvel, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and the original 2008 Iron Man.
it? Damn. Nice.
Damn. Hot damn.
My next tier is the Awesome Mix Volume MCU tier,
Let's go.
which is a mostly fitting name. At the bottom of this tier is going to be Doctor Strange, and then we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, followed by Volume 1. So Guardians Volume 1 is making it into the top 5 there. So I have my last tier is 4 movies. So.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last tier is the scraping at the door tier. So when you read these down in order, it's scraping at the door. I'm going to let him out. Do you understand me? I'm going to eat your stinking soul.
So that's...
I get it.
Oh, yeah.
The Spirit of Vengeance all makes sense.
So this tier is going to be Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Spider-Man.
So you didn't tell me what qualified in this tier. Like, this is like the best of
yeah.
MCU? Well,
I don't think that needed to be said, to be fair.
I
It's
like
my final
from
tier.
Taylor,
Like, these are
though.
the
From
best.
Taylor, I want to know.
But it's my final tier, so yeah, fans, it's the final tier. That's the good tier.
Good.
See?
No, but it's a scraping at the door
He
tier.
produces gold. That's why I
Scraping
asked
at that
Phil these
door.
questions. We only got like 40 years with him till he goes back to his home planet. So
only 4 years. Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Spider-Man Homecoming, Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Endgame. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I first saw Far From Home, I was totally juggling, like, this is my new favorite. Like, I think this is, like, topping Endgame. I'm so hyped right now off of this, but then I took a deep breath and, like, kind of collected myself and thought, no, that portal scene, that was really good.
Yeah.
Iron Man, all that stuff. So
Where was Homecoming on your list?
Homecoming was right before Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2.
What number is that?
It is
why I
top
don't do
5.
tiers.
Top 5.
So my top 5, is Homecoming, Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, and then Far From Home, and then number 1, Endgame.
Damn. Killing it,
Yeah.
Iron Man and Spidey.
Oh, I love that Iron Man. Everything in there has Iron Man in it in one shape or form.
Yeah.
yeah,
And he was your number 1.
Great,
Makes sense.
Spidey.
Alrighty. Above A+ is my S tier.
Right.
This is the original Avengers, which I recently rewatched, and it's awesome. Guardians of the Galaxy, the original Iron Man, and then Captain America Civil War.
Oh.
So I don't know if should I just go for my
Yeah.
S+.
Sure. I feel like Guardians is a lot higher than I thought it was gonna be for you.
That's
a lot of rewatches.
that's
a comeback
So
right there.
I feel like that's the biggest just redemption story for me. Like
Yeah.
it would have been below D tier probably.
Wow.
The original, but no,
Down
I
with Thor
love it.
Ragnarok.
There's I actually love that movie now. So
Yeah.
I don't know what past Kirkland was going on, but he was in a dark
Maybe you were
place.
sleepy
Maybe
that day, right?
maybe
Yeah.
maybe I fell asleep and I thought it was a different movie. But anyways, so above that is my S+ tier. This is the God tier. This is Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers End Game, and Thor Ragnarok. And
number-
I absolutely love it. I didn't do it in order, if that's what you're asking.
Oh,
That's
you
just
don't
my
have a
S+
number-
tier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was okay.
You thought I liked that
wondering.
more than Endgame?
Just wondering.
Great movie, but
Yeah.
not quite Endgame. But yeah.
Not quite.
So wait, do you not have a number one? Because you're gonna throw off when I want to do an average. Of
I can
like-
do it.
Okay.
I'll-
Just send it to me
yeah.
later. Just
Oh, okay,
Or
I'll send
after
it.
when it comes back around to you. Yeah.
Okay.
This
That's going
is
to be on the spot.
Yeah, I think
tricky.
I'm gonna send it to you later because I might have to think on someone's.
Okay, you can read them off. What was I gonna say? So this is my just God tier. These are all movies that I've given 10, and for some reason or another, I think they're just perfect MCU. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, if I can get my picture up. Volume 2, Guardians of the Galaxy. The Avengers, Avengers Infinity War, Black Panther, Captain America Civil War, and then Avengers End Game. Only notes to go there is Guardians. The first two Guardians and the Avengers can really go back and forth all the time. I just went with Avengers because it's a bit more of a heavy, high stakes. If I had to go, what was just the best solo movie of any of the MCU? Black Panther is easily that. Because I think with Civil War and Endgame, you have to watch previous movies to enjoy those, or at least to that level. So that's why if I guys just go, what is the best MCU movie you could watch by itself? I think it's Black Panther with everything it's covered. Check out all our reviews I've talked about many times. But just, it's the most matured MCU film, and it's just kind of a combination of everything I love. Civil War was tough for me to bump, but I think Endgame, I think The Dark Knight and Logan are the best films that are based on comic books. But if I had to go, what is the best comic book film that really is just like a comic book on the screen? That's Endgame, and it just delivers a perfect finale. And that's why at first I was like a little uneasy on some decisions, but it just, I talked about in the review, it was the smorgasbord buffet effect. There was just too much good for me not to put it number one. It was just a perfect finale, which you could easily drop the ball and bungled it. So that's my list there.
Nice. This last tier is the I Love You 3000 tier.
Aw.
I love these movies. These movies are the toppest of tiers. They are the god tier. Number 4, Avengers. Number 3, Avengers End Game. Number 2, Avengers Infinity War. And number 1 is still my man, Civil War. Staying strong. You know, I have to say, Endgame I've still only seen once, and I'm really curious how that number ranking would be affected when I eventually see that movie in August or whenever it drops, whenever I can watch it again. Because I could see it bumping out Infinity War. I could see it even claiming that number 1 slot. I don't think it'll go down. I can guarantee you that. So, overall, man, it's fun. It's fun to rank these movies. Yeah.
All say is you guys didn't delete your lists yet at all?
I still have
got
mine.
mine.
You delete yours, Taylor?
No, I got it.
Okay, then just keep them
You
and
want
send
us
me
to
those
quickly-
later tonight.
Okay.
So yeah, because
I'll
then
just
I
do
can
it
do the
like- yeah.
averages there. So
Okay.
that's why you go to our social media on Facebook and Twitter, because I will be tweeting those out at some point and posting them. And Taylor, where else would we find everything else for the Geek Verse? Thank you very much for tuning in this episode, fans.
Yes,
Blaze,
thank you.
long one. Yeah, that was
Another
a
long one.
long, hefty
Over 3
one,
hours.
but a good one.
3.5 hours.
3.5 hours.
3.5.
Damn. It's a thick
Ooh.
episode.
The Infinity Saga deserves it, you know? We're not going to do this ranking ever again until
No,
the
yeah.
end of Phase 4, and then that's going to be a 6-hour cast.
6 hours. So, ladies and gentlemen, with your internet connection, you can find us in the search bar. Type in Geek Verse Space Podcast. You're going to find tons of stuff. You know, you're going to find links to Stitcher, to Facebook, all social medias. But, you know, one importantly, you got to go to the Patreon. Because right now you can get a couple extra episodes of that new show Player's Perspective, which is super hype. And, yeah, so there's a bunch of other stuff, too. There's what, the Hobbit retros are on there still?
All 3 Hobbit retros are going to be on there for a while. You got the Tarantino retros. They're going to be released in public soon, but you can get about 4 of them up there exclusively right now. Clone Wars retro, which doesn't come back to public till August.
Is the
So
Batman fan cast up there?
it is up there. Yeah, that's going to be up there till August. That one's a really good one. You should tune that, because if you think today had some wild picks in this
Holy
one,
shit.
Juicy
there's the
stuff.
most wildest fan cast I have ever heard. I'm not going to spoil it. So
Yeah.
that's one you're going to want to either. That is worth the $1, but if not,
Just for that moment alone.
yeah,
honestly.
if not, you can head over. Just go down to the links all below, whether you want the video or audio feeds. That's where we are. Thank you very much
Mhm.
for tuning in this episode. Have a good Comic-Con weekend. Check out all the other stuff we're doing this weekend, and we promise you won't be bored.
Bye-bye. Thank
Peace.
you.
Bye.